Yo Shinobi fam, welcome back to Just a Shinobi. Today, we're diving into one of the wildest what-ifs. What if Naruto drops his unforgivable act? Part 1, so buckle up for some serious action and twists. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button for more mind-blowing Naruto scenarios. Check out the other videos on the channel, share them with your ninja squad, and don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps this shinobi going strong. Thanks for meeting me. I know it's late, stated a blue-eyed blonde. No problem, Gaki. But what is this about? Questioned a potential future Hokage. Naruto let out a short sigh. I know this is a thing. I'm a child and you're an adult, but for the first 7 years of my life I was referred to as Demon Brat so often I thought it was my name, so if you aren't all that interested in saying my name, then can you at least find something else to call me? Sorry, Naruto Tsunade said with a visible frown. So, is this round 2 in attempting me to come back to the village because I real? Before she could finish, Naruto interrupts. No, what you're doing is brave, even if no one is willing to admit it, Naruto said in almost a whisper. Tsunade, obviously surprised, does not know how to take this. She was not expecting this, and seeing her utter shock, Naruto continues. Yes, brave. You ever notice that no one ever labels an act cowardly when it's what they want you to do? How is that possible? Almost makes you think people label things in accordance with their own self-interest. Seeing Tsunade's continued surprise, Naruto can't help poking a little fun. What surprises you more, that I know a word like accordance, or that I'm aware of the concept of self-interest? Naruto asked through a series of chuckles. What the hell, ga Naruto? Where was this you yesterday? You looked like you were ready to fight me when I trashed the Hokages and the village, so why the turnaround? It's simple, that was for Jiraiya. It's an adaptive strategy. If people don't show me the real them shortly after meeting them, I won't show them the real me. Jiraiya wanted to act the super pervert instead of the shinobi I knew him to be, and when he trained me for the Chunin exam finals he was mostly interested in the fox instead of me. He made his choice, so I gave him what I give everyone else, the hyperactive loudmouth. And what have I done to earn your true self? People can fake being bitter and jaded, too, Tsunade says as she finally takes a drink. True enough, and who knows, maybe you're just trying to get a better deal before you agreed to be Hokage, but Jiraiya filled me in on your history and your sense of loss felt very real. If you can fake that, then I'm impressed. Okay, I think we've gotten a little off track here. Why is my self-imposed exile brave? Tsunade asks. Before answer, Naruto takes several moments and stares down into his drink, then states, because you're free. You served your village, but when the cost was too high, when you had suffered enough, you broke free of the system. It can't be easy for a Senju to leave the village started by their clan. It couldn't have been easy for the most powerful kunoichi in existence to walk away. The old man used to talk about the will of fire a lot, and he may have believed it, but it was also self-serving. You walked away because you had enough when almost everything in your life would have told you to do otherwise. You didn't do the easy thing. I don't care what anyone says, getting out is brave. I wish I were that brave. Naruto, what happened to you? Why do you wish to leave the village so badly? Jiraiya made it seem like you wanted to be the Hokage, and it isn't easy to fool seasoned shinobi, so what gives? Tsunade-san, how much do you know about me? Naruto asks. Not much. Mostly just Jiraiya's impression of you, but I also know about the fox, which I'm guessing you assumed since you already mentioned it, Tsunade said with a smirk. Yeah, I figured you did, and even if you didn't, I'm just not sure I care to keep the worst kept secret in the elemental nations anymore. But yes, I housed the fox, and because of it I am not particularly popular in the village. That's actually putting it mildly. I'm actively hated. By the civilians, by shinobi. I was isolated from most everyone in the village, and honestly that was preferable to the occasional bouts of physical abuse I'd experienced, Naruto expressed, matter-of-factly. Surely there are some people who cared for you and you them. Jiraiya mentioned you and Sensei were close, prodded Tsunade. Ha ha ha, Tsunade-san, you may want to stop relying on Jiraiya's intel, it isn't quite accurate. I was, once, close to the old man. I truly saw him like a grandfather, and believed he saw me like a grandson until I noticed he'd continually lied to me. There was also the fact that I've seen how he treated his actual grandson. What he showed me is pity, and what he wanted was for me to ease his guilty conscience. That's not genuine affection, that's being used, and he was entirely too comfortable with using me as long as he could dress it up in pretty words. Naruto said, barely holding back a sneer. Did you know I didn't know about my burden until the night I became a genin? Not only was this information provided to me by someone who wanted and attempted to kill me, but the emotional shock could very well have, if not for the intervention of my academy sensei. The old man's justification for not telling me is he wanted me to have a normal childhood, but that clearly had failed. I was kicked out of an orphanage and had to get my own apartment before I was old enough to join the academy. How is that normal? The best I can come up with is the old man thought if I knew how unfair the villagers were being, then maybe I wouldn't want to protect them. Maybe I'd stay a civilian and eventually leave. But he couldn't have that, no. No matter how sincerely the old man felt for me, if it came down to it I was a weapon and property of the village. Sensei had his faults, Naruto, but I think you may be drawing conclusions on thin evidence, Tsunade retorted. Really? Have you ever met someone who believed in the concept of the needs of the many outweighing the needs of a few than the old man? Because I haven't, and that's the only way his inaction to stop my suffering makes any sense. I don't want to hear any bullshit about he was a tired old man. If that's the case, he would have had Jiraiya track you down years ago, but he didn't. He spoke so much about the will of fire, and how everyone in the village is like family, but you know what? Sometimes families sacrifice for one member of it. Sometimes the good of the few does outweigh the good of the many. He never saw it that way, but tellingly, the good of the many seemed to never require a sacrifice of him, said Naruto. Okay, I can see how you could come to that conclusion, but what about this sensei that helped save you? Surely his intentions were pure, right? To this, Naruto laughs again and then replies, my sensei, Iruka, believed he was doing me a favor by managing to overcome his initial hatred of the fox and thus me. He wanted a pat on the back for managing to treat me fairly, and buying me ramen every once in a while. However, said sensei that cared oh so much never caught when the other instructors were teaching me improperly, if they taught me at all or screwed with my tests. He accepted that I was a dead last with potential I just didn't try hard enough to tap into, and just like the old man and Jiraiya I decided to give them the fool they wanted. Besides, Tsunade-san, would you credit someone for managing to see past your gender to treat you fairly? No, I wouldn't. You've got me there, Naruto, Tsunade said as her frown deepened, which Naruto noticed. I'm sorry, Tsunade-san, I didn't ask you to meet me so I could depress you with my sad little life. I just wanted to point out that regardless of what you've done since you left the village, staying away wasn't some betrayal of higher principles. And while the village does need a new Hokage, did Jiraiya ever ask if the village was deserving of you? I doubt it. I often wish I could leave, especially now. I have very few reasons to stay, most of them based around fear. Fear of the hunter Nines, fear of the gang of S-class shinobi hunting me, and just fear of the unknown. I feel like trapped, and I couldn't try to convince you to come back to something I dream of escaping. Tsunade takes several moments to digest what Naruto has just told her, having trouble organizing her thoughts but feeling the need to know the boy has some comfort. She asks, Naruto, is there anyone in the village who cares for you and you them? What about your classmates? Jiraiya. Damn it, Naruto chuckles before he responds. Jiraiya mentioned how a class full of clan heirs is talented and close. They are close to each other, for the most part, but none of them are my friends. As I said, the academy sought to make me look like an idiot, and because there was no punishment for doing so, I became an easy target for bullying. Anytime you needed a self-esteem boost, just go mock Naruto since that's what he's good for. So they too got the fool. Yes, I could have been closer to my actual personality, but why would I? Most of them didn't actually want to know me, and my being seen as an idiot was safer than being competent. A stupid demon gets to live. With an unshed tear, Tsunade asks, was there anyone you cared for? Naruto immediately looks away, debating whether to divulge this or not. Taking a deep breath, he answers, yes, there is. And she cares for me, but she finds herself in a similar situation, so acknowledging her feelings could potentially result her being further harmed by her clan. If you don't mind, I'd rather not say any more about it, to which Tsunade nods. That's a lot to take in, Naruto. I get why leaving seems so attractive to you, but you are still a current Shinbai of the Leaf. Wasn't your mission to bring me in? Why are you trying to fail? I truly meant what I said, Tsunade-san, about you being brave, but that's not it, entirely. I may be wrong about the old man's intentions, but I can't trust in his benevolence, not anymore. I guess I'm just not in a hurry to find the next person who will lie to me about my past or sacrifice me for people who hate me. Ultimately, the decision is yours, and if you do come back, I hope you can make some positive changes, but I wouldn't bet on it. After hearing this, Tsunade lets out a mirthless chuckle as she sees Naruto take his leave. Right before he reaches the door, Tsunade calls out, Naruto, you said you wanted to leave, especially now? What happened to make your desire to leave greater than it was? Naruto looks genuinely shocked at the question. Taking a moment to collect himself, he asks, so, Jiraiya didn't tell you? Seems like he left out something important. The reason I want to leave the village is because of what happened during the Chunin finals. War is hell on everyone, Naruto, so I can imagine the invasion was too. Before she could finish, Naruto interrupts. No, not the invasion. I'm talking about the actual finals. I can't believe you don't know this already, but during my match of the finals I did what many see as unforgivable. What's that? Tsunade asks. I killed Sasuke Uchiha. Chapter 2. Tsunade sat at the bar, trying to digest all of what Naruto had told her, desperately trying to make sense of it. The name makes sense now, she thought. In 24 hours, she had been asked to return home, to lead and protect a village that is seemingly quite different than what she left. Tsunade was the opposite of naive, Leaving through war will do that, but even in her justifiable bitterness, she never thought Konoha would fall so far. And to think, being visited by a certain snake wasn't the most alarming event of the day. Clearly, she needed to talk to Jiraiya and get a better picture of the village and a certain blonde-haired, blue-eyed genin. Just as she finished her thought, the Toad Sage himself sat beside her. So, how much of that did you hear? Tsunade asks, never taking her eyes off her drink. All of it. I followed him here. It isn't safe for the kid to be left unattended. The way the kid tells it, it rarely has been, stated Tsunade. Jiraiya sighs, as if a lifetime of poor choices are coming to a head. Mistakes were made. Sensei believed in the village and their ability to recognize what Naruto truly was. I wanted an out, and being the spy master gave me the perfect excuse. The kid suffered, and while difficult, I want to make it up to him and his parents, but apparently I haven't even met the real Naruto yet. Too bad, he seems like a sweet kid. I'm sure you'd like him, replied Tsunade. Way to twist the knife, Haim. Glad your shinobi skills haven't dulled. Jiraiya offered in an ear grunt. So, what happened at the Chunin finals? Of course I just met him, but Naruto didn't strike me as particularly bloodthirsty. Was it the fox's influence? I don't know. I was prepping for the invasion, and after that, Sensei and I were getting things ready for his retirement. I just know that Naruto killed Sasuke, and that essentially ruined the invasion as planned. Wait, what? How could that have possibly affected the invasion? The Uchiha was a target of Orochimaru. He wanted the kid for his Sharingan. When Naruto killed Sasuke, not only did he ruin long-term plans, but the snake became enraged and darted to Naruto in an attempt to kill the kid. Initially the invasion was going to be Suna and Oto, but once Suna saw their Kazekage being impersonated, the senior Jonan put 2 and 2 together and turned on the Sound Ninja. Also, because he never got to fight, the Suna Jinchuriki did not have the chance to unleash his Bijou, which we deduced was a major part of the plan. Jiraiya explained, I've yet to be given a reason to return to that village, if even their protectors are grossly mistreated. I'll see you tomorrow morning, Jiraiya, if for no other reason than to help Naruto. He clearly could use someone to talk to about the Chunin finals. And with that, both Sannin returned to the inn. Okay, that makes some sense, I guess. Why does Naruto believe killing the Uchiha is unforgivable? Tsunade asks. That's a much longer conversation, but the quick version is that the civilians treated the Uchiha like a tragic prince that was suffering beyond anyone's understanding. Being a pariah already, and I'm assuming Naruto feels like a marked man, Jiraiya said. Tsunade frowns briefly, which doesn't go unnoticed by Jiraiya. Well, is there anything else you can tell me about Naruto? Talking with Naruto leads me to believe you don't know your new apprentice very well. Low blows Tsunade. And yes, it appears my initial impression of and to Naruto left something to be desired. Sensei suspected that the kid was being sabotaged, and he wanted me to see if there was some potential there, and keep an eye on the seal Jiraiya offered. What do you mean, Sensei suspected sabotage? He's the Hokage. How difficult would it have been to find out? He is the Hokage, but he's also bus. Bullshit. He's too busy to stop a child from being actively hurt, set up to die in the field, and you think an excess of paperwork makes this okay? No wonder he doesn't trust you or Sensei. No wonder he wants to leave. Tsunade said solemnly. I know. Sensei just told me the kid was the most forgiving person he's ever known. I thought I could start a relationship with him and eventually tell him the truth and hope he'd understand while helping him improve how the village sees him. I knew he hid his hurt, but clearly I don't know how much of his true personality he hides. It's getting late, and I'm both too tired and too sober to solve this. I need to talk to Naruto tomorrow morning, and I'm assuming you'll want to, so why not call it a night? We can discuss returning then as well. In the distance he hears what sounds like someone finishing breakfast for the day. With a mischievous grin and all the stealth of a prankster king, he makes his way to the kitchen. Seeing his targeted blissfully unaware of his presence, he makes his final approach. Upon reaching her, he snakes his hands around her waist and kisses her gently on the cheek. Good morning, Mrs. Uzumaki. Good morning, Mr. Uzumaki, she says with a grin. I didn't hear the kids this morning. Where'd they get off to? Oh, they're with their aunt for the day. So we're all alone. I'll have to thank Hanabi later, but as for now, what should we do with this bit of free time? Naruto asks, grin widening. Why? I don't know, but I am open to suggest. Before she could finish, Naruto starts to kiss her neck. Why is it every time we get some time away from the kids your impulse is to make another one? Hinata asks, a smile matching his own. You wouldn't understand. Oh, is this a guy thing? No, not at all. I think I have a particular weakness for moon-eyed, indigo-haired beauties. Apparently there's no cure, lifelong ailment, the doctors told me. Since when does the great Naruto Uzumaki go to doctors? Something about this doesn't add up. That should let you know how serious I am, Hina-chan. The consensus was that while no cure, I should likely indulge the impulse as often as possible to prevent any negative consequences. Hinata, turning toward Naruto, oh really? Well, if it's doctor's orders, several doctors, Naruto interrupted. Right, if several doctors have prescribed this, then I'd be remiss if I didn't aid in your treatment. All you have to do is wake up. What? Hinata's smooth, angelic voice was replaced by a gruff bastard's that doesn't know not to interrupt dreams about his Hinata-chan, apparently. There will be retribution, Naruto thought before surrendering to consciousness. I said wake up, Naruto. You're too young to need this much sleep, stated Jiraiya, as he shook the young genin. Looking beyond irritated, Naruto gazed meets Jiraiya's. You know, the fact that I have sunk a kunai in your head speaks poorly for the both of us. I don't think anyone should be allowed to insult the great Jiraiya like that. So, how about you create a shadow clone and kick your own ass so you learn some respect for a great shinobi, and I'll be here sleeping when you get back. My lack of training will be punishment enough. Naruto's diatribe was met with snickering from two unfamiliar voices, causing him to immediately sit up but relaxing when he sees it's Tsunade and Shizen. Letting out a small yawn, Naruto greets the two and then turns to Jiraiya, with a barely hid scowl. Why did you wake me up so early, pervy sage? Turning to Tsunade, did you agree to come back to the village, Tsunade-san? No, Naruto, I'm still very much against returning to Konoha to be the Hokage. Jiraiya and I just wanted to talk to you about some of the things you said last night, particularly regarding what happened during the exam. Oh, Naruto said, mildly surprised. I figured Jiraiya would have filled you in after I left. I assumed he was listening to our discussion. Am I right? How did you know I was there, Naruto? Not even seasoned sensors can pick up my cloaking jutsu, Jiraiya stated in disbelief. I didn't say I knew you were there, I said I assumed. I made no attempt to hide my leaving last night, nor did I make it difficult to find me, so I figured you'd want to know where I was going and what Tsunade-san and I discussed. That's not really a Nara-level deduction. Okay, kid, fair enough, but this is something we need to resolve. Why did you hide how you really were? Why did you hide how smart you are, and what else are you hiding? I met you outside of onsen, peeping on women. During our first training session you stated what you'd mostly be focusing on is summoning and me utilizing the fox's chakra. Against my objections, I might add. If you weren't giving me the bare minimum in instruction, you were mocking me for my lack of progress. In any of that, what would make me want to reveal myself to you? And on that note, what are you hiding from me? Naruto says, no longer bothering to hide his scowl. What do you mean, what am I hiding? Why did you agree to train me? I told you, Gaki, I see talent in you, Jiraiya answered. Bullshit. Bullshit, you saw talent in me? Once again, you were more concerned with the fox chakra than improving my abilities. Add to that, the only talent I've ever demonstrated was for infiltration and trap making. That'd make Anko Mitarashi an ideal sensei, not you who has been a frontline fighter most of your career. You forget I'm the village's spy master. I just don't forget I'm a war deterrent, and they never give me that long a leash for fear something would happen or I'd escape. So, Jiraiya, why did you agree to train me? Jiraiya was now at a loss for words. Should he reveal his ties to Naruto now or wait? With a heavy sigh, Jiraiya sticks with his story. Naruto, listen, I truly believe you have talent. Even outside of the Bijou chakra, I think you can be a great shinobi. I'm sorry our time before the finals wasn't what you wanted, but that chakra is too potent a trump card to not develop. Naruto's eyes become glacial as he asks, what good is a trump card if it's your only card? What good is utilizing the fox's chakra if all my other skills are shit? Unless your concern is training a weapon and not a shinobi. But before Jiraiya could respond, Naruto's facial expression adopts an appearance Jiraiya is more familiar with. Don't worry about it, pervy sage, Naruto says at an ear shout. With your help I'll be a kick-ass shinobi at no time. Watch out, Bachan, he says to Tsunade, because if you do accept the hat I'll be there shortly to take it from you, Databeo. Naruto, please don't do this. Tsunade says. Don't do what? He wants the truth but won't provide any to me. Fine, while you're here I won't, but Jiraiya, I'm not an idiot. You have precisely two reasons to train me. The fox and a connection to my past. I know Sarutobi knows who my parents are. I suspected you do as well. What could be so dangerous about telling me? They must have been important. But wait. Blonde hair and blue eyes. There was someone famous who had those features. Would explain how he had access to me. When Naruto says this, Jiraiya stiffens while Tsunade's eyes widen. He continues, but wait, there's no way I could be his child. No way the village would claim to revere him and yet systematically abuse his legacy and spit on his sacrifice, right? So, that's just a coincidence. But wait. Why would want of the Sannin bother with me? Wait, didn't he train? Realizing that Naruto has known about, at the very least, his father for some time, he looks away in shame. I've suspected since I became a genin. Your reaction just confirmed it. I guess Sarutobi's bullshit reason for not telling me is out the window now, but don't worry. I'm not going to go spouting it. It wouldn't be good for me to do so, but if you wish to continue to treat me like an idiot, Jiraiya, I'll play the part. I don't have the leisure to turn away people willing to teach me, even if they aren't teaching me the things to make me a better ninja but a tool of the village. Naruto. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry, okay. Is the only thing each of the shocked adults are able to say. I said okay. I've had a month to come to terms with this. I'm not saying I necessarily forgive you, but actively being mad at you harms myself more than it does you, and I don't like walking around angry all the time. Waste of a life, so if you can agree to be real with me, I can do the same for you. Yeah, no problem, Naruto. Maybe later I can tell you about both your parents, if you're up to it. Of course, sensei, but I think we may be being rude to our guests. Tsunade-san, you stated you wish to discuss my Chunin finals match. May I ask why? Tsunade pauses for a moment, then proceeds, well, honestly, I don't know. It just seemed to be weighing you down, and I know how things like that can change you. It's not good to hold on to it. Oh, makes sense. I don't mind telling you about it. Honestly, it would be nice to go through it with a pair of objective eyes. But to start, Sasuke and I were assigned to the same genin team. Our relationship was rocky at best. He saw me as useless, and any time I demonstrated otherwise he became insecure in his own abilities, which he proceeded to take out on me. Our Jonan sensei, Kakashi, never saw fit to curb this behavior. I suspect he always wanted to use me and Sasuke's reaction to me to Sasuke's benefit while neglecting my personal development. With that said, will all combatants except Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto exit to the waiting area, stated the new proctor. Sasuke, wearing a black one-piece with his right arm bandaged, was wearing a smirk. What kind of smirk can be debated? Most likely didn't know there were variations of smirks because they were blessed to never have to encounter this particular Uchiha. Naruto, wearing black A&BU style pants and a black shirt with a red Uzumaki crest on the back, appears unsure, potentially nervous. Attempting to take a moment to calm himself, he is caught unaware when Genma announces, "Hi Jame." The Uchiha shoots off like a cannon, demonstrating much improved speed since the preliminaries, nearly too fast for Naruto to track. Only his reflexes keeps Naruto from taking a right hook flush on the jaw, managing to roll with the strike at the last moment. However, this is just the opening salvo of the Uchiha's onslaught. The initial right hook is followed by a left straight, that is narrowly dodged, but the action leaves Naruto out of position for the kick to the body, which he takes the full force of. Using the momentum of the strike, Naruto rolls and dashes away from Sasuke to create some space, hoping for the moment affords him time to strategize. Seeing a small break in the action, the crowd erupts over the initial exchange. The pause in the action doesn't last long as Sasuke rushes towards Naruto once again. This time, however, Naruto is ready. Every strike Sasuke throws awards him a small nick or cut from Naruto's swiftly drawn kunai. Small wounds across his arms may not have concerned the nascent Avenger, but the deeper cuts on his right leg, right above the knee, may limit his mobility, at least Naruto hopes. Preparing for another rush, Sasuke starts to speak. Why so quiet, though? Normally, we can't get you to shut up for a moment. You love attention, right? So why so silent? You can't be worried about losing, that was always assured, so what is it? Embarrassment in how bad you're going to lose. You've always been an embarrassment, so that can't be it. Come on, Naruto, speak up. Maybe it's because you realize no one gives a damn about you. To this, Naruto flinches. Yes, that must be it. Hey, can I tell you a secret, Dobe? Some of us knew. We knew the academy instructors used to screw with you. I knew, and if I did, then you have to assume Shikamaru knew as well, and yet no one ever did anything on your behalf but mock you. Hell, you think of the Hokage as a grandfather, and yet has he ever offered to train you, to help you be a better shinobi in any way? No? Why would he? It was decided that you would be the dead last, and no one bothered to challenge it. Hell, even you gave up and filled the position. No one believes you have talent, no one believes you can succeed. Hell, why would the Hokage put you on a team with people that actively hate you? During Sasuke's diatribe, Naruto fights back the tears. While having considered these points, having it called out in the view of hundreds still stings, but for some reason he can't bring himself to react. Face it, everything you want, I have or readily discarded. You so crave bonds and honestly have no real ones. And if there is something that you want in your future or someone, just know there would always be someone superior, someone more acceptable, to make sure you never get it. Quit now, though. Don't make me expose you any further. Don't assume that what you tried too hard to keep secret actually is. Naruto instantly knows Sasuke is now talking about Hinata, but how? They've always been careful. But beyond that, this arrogant prick has crossed the line. Before he can even ask, Naruto is covered in Biju chakra. I guess foxes don't like arrogant Uchihas either, and immediately closes the distance between Sasuke and he. Without his Sharingan active, Sasuke can't handle the barrage of strikes Naruto unleashes, and coupled with the kunai wounds, Sasuke knows he has to end this quickly. Using a shunsen, Sasuke stands atop an arena wall. Blazing through hand signs, the arena hears the sounds of birds chirping. He's using Kakashi's jutsu. He's planning to kill me. At seeing the jutsu, Naruto steels himself and withdraws a different kunai from his holster. A split second later, and Sasuke darts down the wall and immediately heads toward Naruto. 50 feet out, Naruto tosses his kunai, appearing to miss Sasuke entirely. Closing the distance, Sasuke rears his hand back, prepared to stab Naruto, and just as he is about to touch the blonde, he is greeted with an explosion. Wait, how? How did you cause the explosion? Tsunade asks. The kunai I threw, that I used a kawarimi with it, answered Naruto. So, he ran past an explosive note and didn't know? Tsunade questioned. No, I've been practicing Fuinjutsu, and while not advanced I can do an explosive note. I spoke with a local ninja supply store and asked if there was a way to apply the seal directly on the kunai, something akin to what the yandame used. After a few attempts we got it right, and that's what I used. Best thing is, the chakra used for the kawarimi was enough to trigger it, and the kunai acts as shrapnel. Some of it severed an artery, and Sasuke bled out. That's pretty smart, kiddo. Thanks, Tsunade. Hey, Jiraiya, why are you so quiet? Something about that fight doesn't quite add up. Jiraiya takes a long pause, as if narrowing in on his answer. That kid's diatribe. It feels wrong, almost too honed for a genin. What do you mean? It was Sasuke being his normal dickish self, stated Naruto. Immediately Tsunade shows recognition. No, I think Jiraiya has a point. Naruto, you likely wouldn't know this, but a basic interrogation tactic has 3 steps. 1. You undermine the subject's view of themselves. Secondly, you undermine their belief in close ties or bonds. Finally, you reveal a secret, something they'd swear you have no way of knowing. Jiraiya continues. It gives the illusion of control, that you have no way of hiding anything from said person. It is rarely used in direct combat because people don't stand around talking, but something artificial like the Chunin exams, it becomes a more realistic tool. He likely didn't just learn this, someone taught it to him, most likely. Kakashi, they say in unison. Naruto trying, and failing to control his temper. He used to be my bodyguard. There's no way Sasuke could know or even care to know anything about me. Kakashi was trying to get him to break me while arming him with an assassination jutsu. That goddamn son of a bitch. This goes past picking favorites. He crossed the line this time. The yandame's prize pupil will pay for this, even if I have to go down with him to assure it. Gaki, calm down. You just get started on your training for the day. I'll get in touch with sensei and have him question Kakashi, stated Jiraiya, trying to reassure his student. I highly doubt that'll do much good, but okay. Naruto quickly changes and heads out for the day. This is the village you want me to return to? Why would I ever do that? Since when do Jonan instructors sabotage their students with interrogation techniques? I don't know, but this is a sign the village needs a change. You could be that change, at least that's what I'm hoping. And that's all for now. Our NR's feedback is always welcomed. You wanted to see me, Hokage-sama? Asked the cycloptic Jonan. Yes, Kakashi, I did. I just got a visit from a messenger toad. Both Jiraiya and Naruto know you gave Sasuke facts and training meant to break Naruto during the Chunin finals. I figured now would be the perfect time to discuss what exactly was going on in that fool mind of yours, stated Sarutobi. I only did as you ordered, Hokage-sama. I assumed you'd relay that to Jiraiya and Naruto to put their minds at ease, Kakashi replied. Sarutobi fixes a fierce glare on his famous Jonan. When did I ever tell you to use that on Naruto? I'd never, especially not with a crowd to watch it. So, please tell me how you came to this conclusion. I'm more than happy to, Hokage-sama. See, when it was time for Naruto to graduate, I asked to take him on as an apprentice, not only to pay back my sensei for all he did for me, but to undo much of the harm your academy instructors no doubt did to his shinobi skills. I speculated that with his mindset and ability to learn through doing, he'd easily be a mid-tier Chunin in 6 months, a year max. You informed me that I had to take a full team, and it had to include that insipid uchiha. Against all my objections, you made it clear the only way I'd have what should have been my little brother on my team is to have Sasuke and Sakura, 2 of his worst tormentors. Kakashi pauses to keep from raising his voice but continues. You then informed me that you felt Sasuke was a flight risk but Naruto was a potential threat to the village, and to neutralize both I should focus more on Sasuke and Sakura while stalling Naruto's development until you deemed he no longer posed a threat. Since I didn't want to continue to stall Naruto, but I saw how Sasuke reacted any time he felt Naruto closing the skill gap, I decided that if Sasuke had a near-permanent mental edge on Naruto, you'd allow me to finally train him properly. Sasuke would always feel he was a step ahead of Naruto regardless of how true it is, and you would have both future issues resolved. Everyone would be happy. Where have I erred in my logic, Hokage-sama? So, you did this to teach me a lesson? You twist my orders and tell me you did so with the hope to eventually ignore them entirely? Sarutobi asked, with mild outrage. I'm sorry, Hokage-sama, I do not see the issue. A method cannot be judged simply by the result. I made Sasuke promise to never use that jutsu, a jutsu I was encouraged to teach him, on a comrade. He did, essentially making the fight a death match, and he lost. When Naruto gets back, I'll explain everything and we'll begin his training in earnest, Kakashi said indifferently. Have you gone mad? No, you will not inform Naruto that I've had you delay him. He must never know I've made such a request. I fail to see why, Hokage-sama. You are retiring, surely you care not for the opinion of a single genin. Besides, I need straighten out my relationship with Naruto. I can't do that unless he knows everything, I'm sure you understand. At this point, the Hokage is weighing the benefits of outright murdering Kakashi, mostly for his casual indifference. Kakashi, I didn't delay Naruto out of a sense of malice. But after everything he has gone through, everything I failed to prevent, I fear he may be a risk to the residents here. I know in the past he never fought back, he always tried to evade the villagers, but his mastery of the Kagebushin coupled with some actual skill. He could have assassinated half the council in a night, and we'd never be able to prove it. Hell, what would happen the next time a Hyuga elder crossed the line with Hinata? This boy could cause a civil war. So yes, I wanted him to find his love for the village, to rekindle his will of fire before he started to untap his potential. Only years of practiced professionalism kept Kakashi from scoffing. I don't think his love for the village is the problem. Amazing how you never seem to get that, Hokage-sama. It's actually understandable to not love people that actively hate you. His reasons for being shinobi of the leaf may not be ideal to you, but he never showed signs of wanting retribution. But you were always so willing to cause him immediate harm to avoid what you thought may happen in the future. More of the same, I suppose? You are dangerously close to insubordination, Kakashi. I'll remind you to watch yourself when speaking to me. And I know you aren't happy about Naruto's life up to this point, but I had an entire village to think about, and with what he contains, Naruto having little to no effective attachment to the village is a problem. The last of his professionalism slips. This has been over a decade in the making, and Kakashi lets loose on the aged Hokage. I didn't have an entire village to think about. Samasean didn't have an entire village to think about. Mikoto didn't either. You kept him away from all those would have happily supported the boy. You left him to the worst this village has to offer and are punishing him for refusing to see the village in a noble light. Any number of people could have given Naruto a loving home. Supposed threats from IWA or Kumo be damned. No, you chose this for him. You chose his misery and acted like buying him ramen made it okay. Sarutobi hangs his head in shame. When you're making this decision one at a time, you're putting out fires and you don't see a pattern. Yes, taking a step back, I see what I've done. I see how having a limited view of Naruto's well-being and weighing it against the good of the village has put us in this situation. I'm not unaware that I've sinned against the boy. And maybe there were times I shouldn't have reacted as the Hokage, but something else. But I've seen 3 shinobi wars and stared into the eyes of a chakra monster as it laid waste to my home. I watched the strongest leaf shinobi since the second have to sacrifice his son in order to stop a massacre beyond understanding. I just couldn't let that happen again. I couldn't let Naruto become a weapon for the clans or a ticking time bomb out for revenge. I couldn't let him be another Orochimaru, and through my duty I watched as the most open boy I've ever met became cold and manipulative. I know his affections for me haven't been sincere for some time now. I just hoped I'd be able to reach him, but the truth is I could never give him the 3 things he wanted most. The reason people hated him, the identity of his parents, or a way to leave the village. With tears in his eyes, Sarutobi continues, when Jiraiya and he return, we'll tell them everything and hopefully Naruto will have a better relationship with my successor. I hope I get to live that long. I'm pretty sure Jiraiya is going to murder me before we have a chance to discuss this, Kakashi states with his signature eye smile. Sarutobi chuckles. I'll make sure to inform him to come straight to my office when he returns so no accidents can occur. And with that, Kakashi shuns away. Moments later Kakashi appears in a par, and takes a seat on the bench. Jiraiya finally figured out the interrogation tactics ploy. Apparently, either he nor Naruto are happy about it. That was a dangerous gamble. I could see how one wouldn't approve. You could have broken the boy, the elderly man stated. Kakashi smiles through his mask. If his life in this village hasn't broke Naruto, being taunted by Sasuke wasn't going to do it. Besides, it was a test of Sasuke's emotional stability. Clearly he failed and I would have had grounds to get him off my team. I guess your no half-measures philosophy really stuck with Naruto. I was expecting hell, I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. Who grafts an exploding seal on a kunai? Speaking of, what exactly did you teach him? The boy is predictably unpredictable. Such an enigma used to make me uncomfortable. Now I just enjoy watching him give Sarutobi headaches. As far as what I taught him, since that fool Jiraiya was supposedly training him, I had to stick to ninjutsu and battle strategy. Best use of his shadow clones. I won't get into specifics, but since he already wants to fight you, I'm sure you can bait him into revealing some of his cards. Just watch out for his kunai. The old man laughed. Hi, Danzo-sama. Have you been waiting long? No, Jiraiya-sama. I've only just arrived myself. Haven't even had time to order a drink, not that I drink. Good. We can keep this one brief. I need to get back to the kid, but if we're going to continue, I'm going to need some assurances. Itachi stays quiet. He understands Jiraiya's implicit threat. Being threatened as a shinobi is just part of the deal, implicit or otherwise. What makes this worthy of note, however, is that Itachi knows Jiraiya doesn't threaten people. It's one of the factors about this man that unnerves the fallen uchiha. While Itachi would never say it, there may be more powerful shinobi than Jiraiya, but none of them makes Itachi as on edge as Jiraiya. For the longest time, Itachi could never pinpoint why that is. Unanswered questions like this can drive a prodigy to distraction, but with this threat, Itachi finally knows why he'd rather have a 2-day conversation with Pain about peace than a 20-minute update with Jiraiya. The Sannin has never treated Itachi like he's an S-rank shinobi. His tone never cautious, just natural. His body language always relaxed, almost insultingly so. While Itachi wasn't arrogant like much of his clan, he still had pride, damn it. Jiraiya just seemed all around unconcerned with Itachi, and this realization that Jiraiya simply had been unconcerned with what Itachi may do would be enough to upset even the ever-stoic Itachi if it weren't coupled immediately with the realization that Jiraiya didn't need to be concerned with Itachi might do. This epiphany finally makes its way around back to the initial insight. Jiraiya letting it be known he may very well kill Itachi if he isn't given adequate reason not to. I don't blame Naruto for what he did. Not fully. So much of what I've done has been for my village and Sasuke. I'm at a loss, but I was informed on his fight. The tactic Sasuke used, if it failed, there was a good chance it would cause Naruto to kill him in a blind rage. Sasuke using Kakashi's damned assassination jutsu didn't help matters. I can't expect anyone to allow themselves to be killed for the sake of my foolish little brother, especially not Naruto. He has nothing to worry about from me outside of my role as a double agent, of this I am sure. Jiraiya stares intently at Itachi as if he's trying to find even the smallest hint of dishonesty in the boy's words. When he is satisfied he cannot, he starts to go but leaves Itachi with this. You know, I hear a certain snake is in town. He surely didn't help with your brother's mental stability. Might be a good outlet to channel some of those feelings toward, after I conclude my business with him. Something to think about. And with that Jiraiya departs. In a clearing just outside of town we find a horde of Naruto clones attempting to complete the final stage of the Rasengan. Tsunade sees the controlled chaos and amongst the clones sees one sitting in the lotus position, assuming that to be the original. She approaches, which Naruto senses. Hello Tsunade-san, is there something I can do for you? Not initially, I just didn't feel like being cooped up at that in all day. Whenever Jiraiya finds me he never allows me to drink or gamble in peace, so I have to find alternative methods to spend my days, until he leaves. Do you know why we haven't left yet? You gave him your answer. I'm not entirely sure what else we're here for. Not that I'm in any rush to head back, mind you. Orochimaru contacted me just a few hours before Jiraiya and you found me. Jiraiya asked me to help him spring a trap on our former teammate and try to deal with him once and for all. I may not want to return to the village, but it doesn't mean I want it to burn, and I haven't had a decent fight in ages, so I figured why not. Ah, is all that Naruto says. So, I see your clones are trying to finish the Rasengan, but what are you doing? When I discovered that my shadow clones could transfer memory, I was elated at the potential, but what I quickly discovered was not only the harms of dispersing too many clones at once, but also I found it hard to retrieve certain bits of information. Facts and figures, mostly as skills or jutsu I'd be using shortly, were easier to recall. I figured since I don't have a photographic memory I'd need to find a way to store this information, and it just so happens the Konoha library had a book on developing a mind palace. It took about a week of my clones experimenting before I got it down, so now, I supercharge fewer clones, allow them to make more clones, and while they are gaining information or training for the day, the initial supercharged clones are store the information for easier recall. Tsunade looked impressed at Naruto's answer, but quickly her thoughts turned to someone else who used to amass a great deal of knowledge and power, scorned by the village, and how he eventually turned on Konoha, bringing an invading force to destroy it. Tsunade hoped Naruto wasn't on the same path. Naruto, why do you train so hard? I know it isn't for the sake of the village, so what drives you? Naruto cocks an eyebrow at Tsunade's seemingly direct question, taking a few beats before answering. I'm not sure, I have just one reason, Tsunade-san. Part of it is so I can protect myself, however I'm more than enough for any group of civilians, and outside of the invasion I doubt a fellow shinobi would attack inside the village. Part of me loves learning about the shinobi arts. I find them fascinating, how the seemingly impossible becomes possible. Another reason is because of my first C-rank mission. What happened? Normal C-ranks are just dealing with bandits and such, nothing major. Naruto laughs. Almost everything that could go wrong on this mission did. Naruto proceeds to tell Tsunade about his time in Wave Country. And people say I have bad luck. That's quite the story, Naruto. It is, but I'm glad it happened. I know that as shinobi we often do questionable things for questionable reasons. Helping the people of Wave likely will never be what shinobi primarily do. But maybe it could be more of what we do. The idea of helping people who can't help themselves and helping them to help themselves appeals to me. Wave is free now. What they become is entirely up to them, and ultimately it's because they found it within themselves to act. You sound like Jiraiya. Ever since we were kids, he spoke about shinobi and our ability to be more, to be heroes. It's funny to see that reflected in his apprentice. I'm guessing without him even knowing it. I suppose so. Although I wonder why he gave up his chance to see that future. Something like what you both talk about can only be accomplished if you become Hokage, and I know Sensei would have asked him first. I may have some insight on this, but I'm pretty sure Jiraiya wouldn't be pleased if I told you. Naruto, that just means you have to tell me, so spill. Okay. When we were traveling to find you, he told me he was offered the position. I asked why he turned it down, and he gave some stock answer about his spy network. Obviously bull, but I let it go. Later that night, we arrive in some small town and check into an inn. Jiraiya immediately leaves and returns a few hours later drunk off his ass but still lucid enough to converse with. Seeing my opportunity, one asked him again why he turned it down. Jiraiya stated that him being Hokage would be of a similar mold. The Kages are always known for their destructive capabilities. He said that you have something no other Kage has. Not only the power to protect your village, but because you are known as a healer you can help people starting seeing shinobi as more. Jiraiya theorized that as long as Kages are chosen primarily on battle capabilities, war is inevitable. Tsunade can only sit there in stunned silence. While she often treats Jiraiya like an annoyance and a pervert, a pattern they established early as a genin team, she knows there are depths to him that people rarely see, but to think he'd place this much faith in her was astounding. Maybe she could. The two blondes sat in silence for a little while longer. Only the sounds of failed Rasengan attempts being heard. It enhances the legend. Wait, he honestly said that? Yes, he looked me dead in the eyes and said that. How did you respond, Jiraiya? How do you respond to something like that? I just stared at him and me and then asked if he really just said that. He replied, with all seriousness, Tsunade-san, when you're going to be the best to ever do it, concerns about sticking out become immaterial. Jiraiya can barely contain his laughter at the exchange between his apprentice and teammate. Jiraiya, himself, had attempted to get the young shinobi to let go of that orange jumpsuit, but to no avail. Naruto actually lectured Jiraiya on the absurdity of criticizing the jumpsuit. Points ranging from, what kind of sense does it make to look like a shinobi if avoiding attention is your goal? 2. I'm having a fight in a stadium full of people, stealth will hardly be an issue, pervy sage. You doubting the orange makes me question your greatness. After that he vowed to just leave the topic alone, guessing everyone who meets Naruto has to learn this particular lesson. Tsuheim, you have to admit that Kushina would have said something similar. Hell, for all I know, she had said something similar at some point. Girl didn't suffer from a lack of confidence. Thinking back on the Uzumaki, Tsunade smiles fondly. No, she really didn't. The room falls silent. Jiraiya notices Tsunade seems to be building up to say something, seeing the internal conflict play out on her face. I was happy in my misery, you know. Then you two show up. Why couldn't you have just left me alone? But no, you and the kid come here and now I'm actually considering going back. Damn it, you always do this, Jiraiya. I always do what? You put ridiculous notions in people's heads, like peace in the elemental nations, and you're so goddamn sure you make people want to believe you. But what does peace for shinobi look like? We order children to slit slightly fewer throats? You don't know, but you filled that kid's head with your nonsense. And he reminds me of Nawaki in so many ways, but also what Nawaki could have been if exposed to the darkness too long. Naruto, he's like afraid of his natural brightness, the sun that prefers cloudy days, and I don't understand how my village, the legacy of my grandfather, could do that to a child. You want me to go back, but I know nothing of the village, so how can I lead it? Why are you sticking me with this? I don't know what Naruto has said to you, but I'm not sticking you with anything. I wouldn't be leaving you alone, but you are the best for the position. You must realize it since you don't claim otherwise. Tsunade, it's time to come home. It's time to give Shizen the option to settle down. And it's time for you to save your family's legacy. Sensei has been consumed with his failures and prevention to focus on positive change. I believe Naruto is a result of that, and my own negligence. I'm his godfather, and I trusted Sensei to take care of my responsibilities because looking at it Chibi Minato was too hard. I replay that conversation he had with you. How much of his life is dictated by fear? I need that to change. I believe he's the child of prophecy. Every time in the past I believed I found him, I trained them but left the hard parts to them and each fell before they could truly make a change. I don't want to do that this time. I can't just give Naruto the weight of the world and tell him to figure it out. I also can't leave it to him if he doesn't see the world as worth saving. Did you notice he never refers to Minato as his father, only his title? I think he resents Minato and his sacrifice. He may very well resent Sensei too. If Naruto remains isolated, he may not be willing to do what is required of him. So you're using us both for your own goals? Yes. If that's really how you see it, then yes, I'm using you. Seriously, Tsunade? You aren't a puppet. I just think you both can make positive changes to the village and the shinobi system if given enough time and support. There isn't any hidden schemes here. I'm pretty open about why I want you to come back, but you aren't with him. Are you going to tell him you believe he's the savior? No, because he's not ready yet. I need him to become more attached to the village, to believe the will of fire is more than the source of his misery. When that changes, then I can tell him about all of this. Tsunade, never known for her patience, is quickly running out. It has been the source of his misery. You needing him to not be aware of it before you reveal your scheme doesn't change that. And what about considering what he needs? You know, like having his opinions validated, someone acknowledging he's gotten a raw deal, that he was denied even the memory of his parents. You may believe he has this grand destiny, but how can you show up after a decade-plus absence, and then just shove this on him? It's not fair. Are you sure you're coming back? Because it doesn't sound like it. As far as Naruto, I'm not going around in circles with you. Sometimes you're called for a larger purpose, regardless of if you want it or not. The kid is meant for more, and I intend to start preparing him for it. Hypocrite. I'm sorry, Tsunade, what was that? I'm pretty sure hearing is important for a spy, so you heard me. I think you're asking me for a justification, which I'm more than happy to oblige. You say people are sometimes called to serve, yes? As you were tasked with looking after a small child with no support network. It seems you had very little issue not answering that call, but you managed to tell others to suck it up and deal with it. That makes you, among other things, a hypocrite. Hypocrite or not doesn't make the argument any less valid. My having failed in the past doesn't give Naruto the right to do so in the future. Oh, so you have his life all planned out now? I'm sure he'll appreciate a heads up. It'll simplify things, not having to make very many choices, and won't conflict at all with his overriding need for freedom. Or in 5 years he'll snap and kill everyone he holds responsible for his enslavement, if he doesn't get himself killed, because there is freedom in death. To this, Jiraiya can only look on, mortified. He knows she isn't wrong, but can only hope Naruto is the child of prophecy, and isn't irreparably harmed to the point of choosing the wrong path. Taking a moment to collect himself, Jiraiya responds, I can't ignore what he may potentially be. It isn't an option. I can try to make it up to him, try to give him now what I couldn't then, but it'll have to be enough. Sometimes not good enough has to be enough. Is it unfair? Yes, it is, and he may resent me for it for the rest of his life, but the world doesn't care. His enemies don't care, and time doesn't stop because he got the short end of the stick. The short end of the stick? You arrogant asshole, that's what you call my life? And Naruto? How long have you been here? Long enough to learn I have a new Hokage, a godfather, and some bullshit destiny that I will bend to or else. So, not that long. Hey, Tsunade-san, congratulations. We should find Shizen-san and celebrate. Naruto, I know this sounded bad, but please let me explain. What is there to explain, sensei? You say I have to do something and I have to do it. If not, you won't train me, and there aren't a lot of people that could train you to fight S-class shinobi, so I either obey, or you leave me to get killed. More of the same, I suppose? So, Tsunade-san, what are you up for, my treat? Although, I guess I should start calling you Tsunade-sama, huh? Both Sannin can only look at the orange-clad ninja, either knowing what to say. Naruto takes note of being studied, hoping they'll say something if he waits long enough. However, a lifetime of glares has left him with a low tolerance for being blankly looked at, so he continues. Why are you staring at me? It feels weird. If you need some time to decide, I can come back in a bit, see what Shizen is up to. Any? Naruto, you've heard some things before you were ready, and I'm sorry for that and for being entirely dismissive of my life, when you made a point to not be a part of. Naruto interrupted. Yes, that. I'm so. No, you aren't. Which is fine. On no grounds can I actively fight a Sannin, so you'll get your way, but don't apologize for failing to manipulate me. It's inherently contradictory. I wasn't going to manipulate you. Yes, you were, Jiraiya. Tsunade chimes in. It seems like you and Sensei both string information along to Naruto when you think he will respond as you want him to. That's manipulation. Be honest, would you have told him about his parents if he didn't already know? Would you have told him you're his godfather anytime soon? I would have when he was ready. This information leaking could be dangerous. To this Naruto could only laugh. So, I'm trusted to be a shinobi. I'm trusted to try to earn a promotion to receive increased security clearance, and keep it a secret but not know about things no one had any right to keep from me? Also, if I'm your student, isn't the very act of being around you dangerous? I hate people who lie to themselves. You were going to string along information when I demonstrated I was sufficiently obedient. Just like Sarutobi, and hell probably Kakashi if his plan wasn't to outright get me killed. What I don't get is the need to be so sneaky about it. I know what you want, I'm going to do it, so why continue to hide things from me? Because Naruto, it doesn't work like that. You aren't doing this out of love for your village or a sense of duty. You need to have those things to accomplish what I believe you can accomplish. As you are now, you're biding your time until presented with a better option. You may insist otherwise, you may even believe it, but I've been around too long to not see it. If people don't have something deeper driving them, something more than acquiescence, they won't have the determination to see it through to the end. Making you more powerful isn't enough. Tell me, Naruto, what do you believe in? That's none of your concern. But it is, and since she's going to be Hokage, it's her concern too. So, answer the question. Or if it is too broad, at least tell me if you believe in the will of fire. I've never seen the will of fire to know if I believe it or not. Nice dodge, Naruto. But conceptually, do you believe in the will of fire? Do you believe it is a viable philosophy? I believe it's a bullshit lie that cost me my parents for trash that wasn't worth their sacrifice. You happy? Can we go eat now? You never talk to me this much. Not even when you're supposedly training me can I hold your attention this long. I'm uncomfortable with the shift in dynamic. This isn't a joke, Naruto. Hi, Sensei. Naruto, for the first time after a long silence, Tsunade speaks up. Do you resent the village? Hi, but what about those you care for? What about what you learned during your mission in Wave? Having precious people in a hostile environment is giving people like Sarutobi and Jiraiya hostages or leverage. They'll eventually find a way to take them away from me because they always do, and since Jiraiya wants me to be a weapon for the village, how can I do that and protect those I care about from them? Blind obedience would seem to be the answer, and yet I'm being told it isn't enough. I need to lie to myself and call it something else. People always call me an idiot. My stupid teammates loved nothing more than to call me dead last, and yet I'm actively punished for demonstrating self-awareness. I can't win. You, Naruto pointing to Jiraiya, probably preferred the little hyperactive idiot that was filled with so much love for his village he'd do anything to earn their approval. As if I have anything to prove to them. Every word of Naruto's answer pierced Jiraiya's heart. Hearing how angry and resentful he is toward not only the village or Sarutobi but him as well hurts the Sannin more than he could ever articulate. Searching desperately for any argument that could sway Naruto, but is coming up empty. The Toad Sage for the first time is truly afraid that all the choices made for Naruto have started him on a dark path, one they won't be able to change. Conversations with his sensei about the threat Naruto poses to the village are swimming in his head. Could sensei have been right, Jiraiya wonders. Tsunade, looking at the young ninja, sees not just her younger brother in Naruto but also sees a lot of herself. The fear of loss and sense of abandonment laced in Naruto's words were the same things that drove her away all those years ago. She understands that while it may take years for him to fully deal with these emotions, if left unchecked or handled improperly right now the harm may be irrevocable. Tsunade decides on a risky gambit. Naruto, how do you feel about your parents? I don't understand the question. I know very little about them. Hell, my mother may as not even exist as much as she's not mentioned in the village. Why do you ask, Tsunade-san? I'll answer that when you answer my question. How do you right now feel about them? Why does it matter? No one cared if I even knew who they were, so why does it matter? I told you I'd answer that when answer my question. Well, I'm not answering it. I'll be back later, I'm going to train. Jiraiya grabs Naruto by the shoulders before he can leave. Naruto, you need to answer the question. To hell with you, Jiraiya? I don't need to answer it, it's not important. It doesn't matter how I feel, it sure didn't matter to them. They left me alone. They chose the village over me and left me with people that were at best indifferent. They left me with no protection, no safeguards, but with an expectation I'd serve the village. They were cowards, they should have killed me, too. But they didn't, and they set the standard that everyone and everything takes priority over me. There, you happy? I hate them. They should have chose me. I needed them and it didn't matter. I need them and it doesn't matter. I'm alone and the people who should be here chose not to be, and if that wasn't enough the yondaime cursed me on his way out the door. Naruto, it wasn't like that. Minato and Kushina, they loved you, and I'm sure he sealed the Kyuubi in you because he believed in you. I don't care. I don't care if they loved me. I don't care if they believed in me. The love of dead people is worthless. If they loved me so much, they would have found a way to stay with me, but they didn't. They chose the village, and I'll always hate them for it. So, are we all happy now? You have even more reason to keep things from me or stall my progress, because I'd rather have your precious village burned to the ground if the cost of saving it was the life I've led. And now, having said this in front of the future Hokage, I get to go back to a potentially openly hostile village and wait for what the old man will do once you report this. God, guess I've given him reason to order that loyalty seal put on me, huh? At the mention of a loyalty seal, Tsunade and Jiraiya both look stunned. Tsunade manages to speak first. Naruto, I get that the village has made you suffer, but you don't honestly think Sensei would do that, do you? Why not? Wouldn't be the first time, would it, Jiraiya? Wonder what you and the Yamanaka would cook up this time to make sure I'm a good boy. Jiraiya, what is he talking about? It's not what you think. Sensei was trying to protect Naruto. Protect me? Bullshit, he was trying to control me and you gave him what he wanted. Tell her, Jiraiya. Tell her how I screamed and begged you to stop, to just leave me be. Only for 5 years later, when I refused to use the very power you all made me afraid of, you threw me off a cliff. So you're in contact with it? Tsunade, what Jiraiya is refusing to tell you is that when I was 8 I managed to meet the Kyuubi while trying to unlock my chakra. I talked to him, and while he was all around unhappy to be sealed in, and I quote, a weak-ass kid, it was nicer to me than the villagers. I was so happy to finally know why they hated me that, like the good little idiot I was, I went to the person I trusted most and told him. Jiraiya, would you like to cover the rest? How you, Sarutobi, and Inoichi snuck into my apartment under the cover of darkness. How I was only awakened because Kyuubi warned me. How the Hokage held me down as I begged him to stop, while he kept saying it was for my own good. Or how much pain the seal caused, how I screamed to make it stop. No? How about the suggestion Inoichi placed in my head after locking away the memory? Fear the Kyuubi. Don't trust it. Be defiant toward it, although I shouldn't be surprised. According to the Kyuubi, Sarutobi had you do the same thing to my mother. Injury is a fact of life for shinobi. You come to accept that breaks, sprains, lacerations, and all manner of trauma will be inflicted upon you. Live long enough and you'll likely have at least one occurrence of every type of injury. Living through this is as much being a shinobi as any jutsu, for shinobi are people who endure. Why, though, did it have to be the ribs? Tsunade could have given him a concussion or even cracked a kneecap. No, she had to break his kami-forsaken ribs. Struggling to get to a bed, Jiraiya realizes his focus on the mind-numbing pain he's currently experiencing may seem a little galling given the discussion he just had with his best friend/teammate and godson, but he can't find it in himself to care. Broke ribs make egoists of us all, a wise man has likely said. Finally making it to the bed, Jiraiya tries to find the least uncomfortable position he can and starts to breathe slowly. Closing his eyes, Jiraiya starts to feel the nature chakra all around him. After several minutes he enters sage mode, and with pain now dulled he starts to digest what just happened. Jiraiya, you didn't. It's not what you think, we were only trying to protect Naruto and the village. We couldn't risk the Kyuubi influencing him. You didn't have that concern during the Chunin finals. It was perfectly safe for me to access it then, because I was there to watch you. I couldn't stay with you when you were young and had no training, so Sensei thought it be. Sensei. Always fucking Sensei with you. You're a grown man. One that hopes to change the shinobi world, but you can't fucking stand up to your sensei? Listen, Tsunade. I argued him down from the loyalty seal to just a memory containment seal. Just a memory containment seal. Okay, Tsunade crosses the room and fires a left hook at Jiraiya before he can act. I just broke several of your ribs. Jiraiya hits the ground like a stone, struggling to get a decent breathe in. It's not her reaction that shocks Jiraiya, although she's clearly been keeping her skills polished, but what's missing from it? Tsunade's anger has always been like a hurricane, no subtlety. You know when she's mad, and it's never been particularly hard to get her to that state, but this is different. She's calm, too calm. She's either keeping a lid on it because she's beyond pissed, and I may actually be in danger, or she's trying to keep calm for Naruto. God, I hope it's the latter, Jiraiya surmises. Fine, poor choice of words. The Kyuubi is wholly unknown. The only people who can really interact with it are the containers. Sensei just wanted some security measures in place to make sure they weren't negatively affected. He only considered the loyalty seal for Naruto due to the differences in the access to the Kyuubi, since Naruto was always meant to eventually access the Kyuubi's chakra. Or Sensei knew how Naruto was treated and decided it was easier to make a small child deal with it than get his village in check. Did Minato know you did this to Kushina? No, he never knew, and given the location of the seal it wouldn't be easily seen. We thought we were giving you the means to fight the Kyuubi, to make sure you were always in control. Naruto, concerning you we've made so many mistakes, but I need you to know I never wanted you to be a weapon. Sensei didn't either, but we had hoped you could be the village's guardian. Its protector, you and the old man. Always with your fucking word games. What's the difference between guardian or weapon if I have no choice in the matter? You both were trying to control something you didn't understand and violated me to do it. Naruto, can you find Shizen and go to the bar we first met? I'll be there shortly. Without responding, Naruto leaves. I don't think I can make this up to him. I've lost my last connection to Minato, haven't I? I have no idea. I don't know if he can forgive you, nor do I know if he should. Jiraiya, I understand why you did it. Sensei was always larger than life to us, and you always had to work harder to gain his approval, but was this worth it? Look, I'll see what I can do as far as the kid, and I'll have Shizen heal you when we get back. We still need to plan what we'll do with our wayward teammate. Don't bother. You said the meet was in 3 days? I initially wanted to face him personally, but we need to get back to the village and Naruto isn't in the right headspace for direct combat. I'll make arrangements, and on the day of the meet we'll just leave. Fine. I'll see you later, Jiraiya. Once he had fully thought about the conversation, Jiraiya is left with 2 questions. How did he allow himself to do these things, and how can he make it up to Naruto? Neither answer came to him that night, nor did any sleep. Jiraiya wasn't the only being kept up by the day's events, as Naruto was also finding sleep elusive. Attempting to clear his mind, Naruto attempts to meditate, and finds himself in his mindscape. You're thinking too loud and I can't get any sleep. Sorry, Kurama, just a lot on my mind, I'm aware. You want to talk about it? Not that I care, but I really want to get some sleep. Heh, if you wouldn't mind. I'd normally go to Shino with this kind of thing, but a 100-year-old chakra beast is just as good. Thanks? Anyway, organize your thoughts and we'll tackle the ones you're struggling with the most first. Honestly, it's what Tsunade said. I can't discount what she said, but I don't know if I have that in me, at least right now. That's understandable. Talking the full measure of a person, acknowledging the good and the bad before you make a decision about them isn't something many of your kind try to do, so even in attempting is noteworthy. Don't expect to master it in a night. You're right, and she is too, but that leads me to my godfather. What about him? I believe he isn't a villain. He's a fuck-up for sure, but I believe Tsunade when she says he likely wasn't operating out of malice. I've never sensed that from him, so fine. He did these things to me with the best of intentions. Does that matter? Does the fact that he was following orders mean he wasn't truly responsible? I don't know. I just don't know, and it's maddening because 3 hours ago I was so clear about it. I hated him. He was just another name in the list of assholes that hurt me for no reason, but now, I don't know. Maybe not knowing is okay. A great deal of harm comes from people making decisions because they couldn't accept the unknown. Apparently your Hokage is extremely uncomfortable with it. Yeah, apparently. So how would you go about accepting not knowing, not being sure? It feels indecisive, but it isn't being indecisive. Whatever you choose to feel about Jiraiya or anyone else is ultimately up to you, but you don't have to form an opinion on forgiving him immediately. And don't make an example out of Jiraiya to prove something to yourself. What the hell do you mean by that? Simply don't force yourself to do something contrary to who you really are. I have access to your internal monologue, remember? Not much you can hide from me. So, I should just be the fool? Forgiveness is neither inherently virtuous nor foolish, it depends on the context. Refusing to forgive and not being able to are entirely different. I'm only suggesting you recognize that fact and don't try to carry resentments you don't actually hold. Hate is as hard for you to hold onto as it is for me to get rid of. You had a perfect opportunity to express your hatred toward the villagers, but you saved many. Even though you were scared, you still helped where you could. It just felt right. Despite most of those villagers treating me like I didn't exist, I just can't watch people die and not act. It's just, your empathy is admirable, Naruto. Instead of wishing you didn't have it, learn to temper it with your experiences. Not everyone can be saved, nor should everyone be condemned. Easier said than done, yes, but once you figure it out it'll only enhance the legend further. Ha! Okay, I think my hour's about up. Anything else, Doc? Just 2 things, and you may not like either. Understand that I don't care before you react. The first is about you using my chakra. Okay, what about it? I want you to stop. The power you pull from me now is corrupted and you'll never control it the way you access it now. Also, the people after you are all S-class shinobi and none of them have a bijou to fall back on. If you're going to be my container, then rely on yourself. Break every limit you have and break them again until you can stand tall against all that oppose you. Once you can do that, you'll fight me for control. Win and you'll have true access to my chakra and we'll be true partners as long as you don't make me a crutch. Fair? I have no problem with that. Good. The second thing is, I think it'll soon be time for you to meet your parents. Wah! 3 days later. Looking toward the sky, Jiraiya laments the silence he is enduring with the once hyperactive ninja, a silence not being helped by the addition of Tsunade and Shizen. Over the last 3 days, Jiraiya has had a lot of time to think about his choices in regards to Naruto and his relationship with his sensei in general. He couldn't help but come to the conclusion that Tsunade was right. For too long he let the dynamic established between the elder Sarutobi and himself when he was a child to dictate how he interacted as an adult. An adult that has loved, lost, and seen 2 wars. The pain of these conclusions is that they are essentially meaningless. Sarutobi is retiring, Jiraiya asserting himself now is entirely hollow, and this Naruto would be able to realize that, making promises to do better in the future utterly meaningless. However, never being able to have a relationship with his godson isn't something he can accept to himself. The irony of having being absent, seeming disinterest in his training and every other thing he's done to or allowed to happen to Naruto is something he is keenly aware of. Finally, B sees the sign and hopes travel will pull him out of this current loop. Guys, that's the signal, we can head out. And with that, the group heads back to Konoha, all wary of the confrontations that await. 5 minutes earlier, in the clearing where Tsunade was to meet Orochimaru, we find 2 figures standing over 2 corpses. One covered in black flames, the other having his head thoroughly smashed. One figure looks over the scene, seeming introspective, and remarks to his partner, "That was kinda cold, don't you think, HN? You know I hate it when you do that, Itachi. Use your words. That's how people communicate, and you're a people." "Fine, Kisame, what in the act of ruthlessly murdering these 2 do you find to be especially repugnant? You didn't let him get any final words." "Well, I am a shinobi. Some may say a pretty good one." "Okay, and I get that, but when you went rogue you kinda agreed to some norms that we missing need follow. Some like Orochimaru deserve some last words, it's simple etiquette." "You cannot be serious." "I'm entirely serious. Look, Itachi, there are certain things that come with this lifestyle and the guys notice when you choose to not fit in. This better not be about that fucking arts, Hal. Kisame, I swear to Kami I'm not having this argument again. It's not art. He blows shit up, what is there to see? You could have shown up to be supportive, be part of the team. You know, most of those guys aren't half bad, and you know that if you wouldn't close yourself off. It wouldn't hurt to try is all I'm saying." "Fine, I'll try, okay? Sensitive-ass criminals, why don't you all just do a hug circle and be done with it? We do it every time we're all in one place, you'd know that if you'd participate." "You can't be. I need to signal Jiraiya and then see if I can somehow make myself forget this conversation." "You're so cold, Itachi-kun." 1 week later, one would find the sight fascinating if it weren't so depressing. For the entire trip Naruto was full of energy, making conversation with Tsunade and Shizen. He reveled in having travel companions that actually valued his company. What a novel concept. However, as the gates of the village came into view, the change was drastic. Naruto became quiet, his body looked as if every step was increasingly weighed down. It appeared as if proximity to the village caused him actual pain. The 3 adults all frowned at the change in body language. Trying to be encouraging, Tsunade places her hand on Naruto's shoulder and gives him a smile. He smiles back, it's small but sincere. He may not have many people that support him, and a part of him wonders for how long he'll be able to have Tsunade's and Shizen's, but he's decided he will appreciate and enjoy it for as long as he does. The 2 guards ask the group to check in, Naruto thinks. They actually sound miles away. His eyes are focused on his final destination. The old monkey and the Cyclops await, and the only question on his mind is how bad he'll burn the bridges between them. Closer and closer the building gets. This building at one time offered solace, as he knew a supportive person was waiting behind its walls. But as time moved on, it became a representation of the false life he was forced to live. Even his Gigi lied to him. How can he trust anyone if he couldn't trust his grandfather? How can he really trust Tsunade? He immediately dismisses the thought, although wondering if his mistrust in the position of Hokage is a final attempt to give the man he once adored an excuse, an out for his actions and inactions, protecting himself from getting too close to these new people, or possibly both. A part of him knows it's too late. He's felt Tsunade a kindred spirit since that discussion at the bar. Not for the first time he wishes he were better at keeping people at arm's length. Some may say that his act was just such a method, but Naruto knows better. When everyone else lies to you, you cannot afford to lie to yourself. Yes, he presented a heightened version of himself, but the rejection from his peers or the village in general still hurt. It still does, and he hates that they have that power. He hates that he cares. At least he wishes he didn't. But caring is what allowed him to connect to Haku, who helped Naruto develop his Nindo. It's what allowed him to talk Gaara out of attacking the village and gaining a new friend. Before he knows it, all 4 are in Sarutobi's office, along with Kakashi. Fuck, guess we're doing this now, then he thinks as he waits for the discussion to unfold. Tsunade-chan, it's so good to see you. I'm glad you agreed to return. I'm glad I got to see you back in the village before my time was up, stated the elderly Hokage. Hi, Tsunade replied. Okay, I know you've been traveling, but we have some things to resolve, so I thought it best we do it now before there are any misunderstandings. First, did you run into any trouble during the retrieval? Orochimaru tried to recruit Tsunade. He's now dead though, so there's that. You managed to kill him? No, I had my top men on it. Who? Top men, okay. So other than that, anything to report? To this, Sarutobi is met with silence. And more silence. Not one for awkward silences. Naruto speaks up. Yes, I know who my parents are. I know you slapped a seal on me and had that Yamanaka bastard mess with my memories. I know Kakashi tried to get the team to break me psychologically, and I know you're one hateful, fearful old man. Startled to say the least, Sarutobi doesn't know how to respond, so he tries to deflect. How do you know these things? At least you aren't denying it, so there's that. Oh, I also know you did the same thing to Kushina, my mother, and Minato never knew. I would wonder what he'd do, but he orphaned his kid on the day of his birth, so I'm leaning towards he'd be fine with it. Village first and all that. Naruto, you need to understand that a shinobi is to have complete loyalty to the village. I could never be sure of that with that thing sealed inside of you. I just never wanted you to fall under its sway, or you didn't want your scapegoat to have the ability to fight back, to be dependent upon you for protection and strength until you decided otherwise. Replied a visibly annoyed Tsunade. It would certainly explain why you ordered me to not train Naruto except for the bare minimum. Sensei, you didn't? Jiraiya, it's not what you think. I couldn't let Naruto increase his abilities without knowing, for certain, that he was loyal to the village above all. The village or you? Damn it, they were right. You wanted him to be your weapon, something no better than a slave. And I helped you do it. I put his life at risk because I trusted you, believed you'd never harm Minato's son. What would you have me do? He's a threat. Why do you all refuse to see it? I see it. Behind those fake smiles and empty boasts, I saw the internal calculations behind his eyes. Cataloging every wrong done to him. How can I have someone that hates the village be put in a position to harm it? I can't make that mistake again. He's not Orochimaru, damn it. You've tortured him and stunted his development because you can't let go of your mistakes. If you were so incapable of letting go of your previous failures, why take the position back for 13 years? That's rich, Tsunade. And who was I to give the position to? You were gone, we needed Jiraiya in the field, and no one else short of Danzo had the qualifications. So, it was up to me to keep the village safe. Maybe some of my methods were extreme, but no matter how you all feel about it, the suffering of one little boy is not more important than the village. You aren't even sorry. You let my life be hell and you aren't even sorry about it. You're so concerned with other people being like Orochimaru you never considered that he was just a lot like you. Watch your mouth, Naruto. Or what? You'll place more seals on me until I behave? Beat me into submission? Is that really how you see me? Am I just a villain to you, Naruto? In the background a poorly stifled chuckle is heard. The room turns in collective shock to see Shizen laughing derisively at the Hokage's question. Is something funny, Shizen? Hi, Hokage-sama. Naruto once said he gets punished for being self-aware, and it's just amazing to see it in action. You emotionally tortured the heir of an Hokage because of you couldn't handle your own failures nor bother to control your village. It was easier to let them hate him. It was easier to punish his alleged lack of loyalty. You never questioned if he had reason to remain loyal. You never tried to give him a reason, but you demand he make you feel better about doing very little to aid him. Naruto, you don't have to stay here for this, it'll just go in circles. Why not escort me home? Okay, Shizen-san. Oh, and Kakashi-sensei, are you free tomorrow? I am. Meet me at our usual training ground at our usual time, I won't be late. And with that the two exit. How soon can I assume my duties? You can start now if you want. Retirement sounds good, fine. Do it, officially or unofficially. Why so eager? Because my first declaration as Hokage is that you are not to approach Genin Uzumaki Naruto nor have any dealings in his affairs unless he initiates it from this day forward. You've done enough, Sarutobi, but your days of harming that boy are over. You can't do that. If you deny me all contact, I'll never be able to make him understand why I did it. It was for the best, for him to discover his will of fire. How can you when you're the reason he doesn't have it? Just stay away from him. Give him some peace while I try to undo the damage you've done. Naruto can be a fine shinobi one day if you don't continue to treat him like an enemy. And while we're at it, I'm going to request you stay away from all shinobi matters. I don't know what happened to you, sensei, but I think you need some time away from all of this. So, you're turning your back on me too? And what about you, Jiraiya? You've always understood I was just doing what any Hokage should. No, not anymore. Following you, blindly, has cost me and I'm not sure I'll ever recover what I've lost. My belief in you has resulted in the last of my family not trusting me in the slightest. Both Sannin exit the office, leaving a once proud leader looking old and defeated. With an unshed tear he wonders, why can't they see? It was all for the greater good. The next morning finds Naruto waiting at Training Ground 7 for Kakashi. Shockingly, Kakashi showed up 5 minutes after Naruto arrived. Yo, Naruto bristled at the casual greeting, in no mood for Kakashi's usual antics. No offense, sensei, but this has been a shit month and given what you tried to do during the Chunin exams I've been sitting on a deep need to punch you in the face. Understandable. So, let me get started. Sandaime-sama ordered me to not train you, after years of not allowing me to adopt you. The only way I saw to show him how absurd he was being was to heighten the contradiction. Did I think Sasuke could break you with the general information I gave him? No, not at all. Did I think the little psycho would try to kill you with my Chidori? No. I only wanted to point out how careless he was being with your life in a way he'd understand. The thing neither of us predicted is the very thing none of us can, you. An explosive sealing array on a kunai? Who does that, you little maniac? Seemed like a good idea at the time. Naruto said with a shrug. Why didn't he let you adopt me? You're nominally part of a clan but not a major one, no offense. Since when do you say things like nominally? I'm smarter than I let on and I have a lot more of those exploding kunai, so let's stay focused. Any? Noted. As for why he didn't let me adopt you, do you recall those 2 worst attacks? Yes. You ever see any of those people again? No, nor would you have. Sandaime was concerned about how I'd react to your mistreatment. How are you still a shinobi then? 1. No one could prove a thing. 2. Even if they could, I'm a borderline S-ranked shinobi. Every village has special rules for shinobi like me. How do you think Tsunade and Jiraiya were allowed to be out of the village for so long? Oh, and don't buy Jiraiya's bullshit about his spy network. No other major village's spymaster runs their network like that. The Hokage allowed it because it's better to do so than have them labeled as missing mean and turn on us. Okay, so a lot of my dissatisfaction can be placed on Sarutobi, as if I need more reason to hate the old monkey. I can accept this. Naruto replies before narrowing his eyes. However, you tried to use Hinata against me. Even if Sasuke didn't know who or what he was referencing, I did, and I don't appreciate you doing it, even to prove a point to Sarutobi. May have went too far, but that play was meant for an audience of one. Had to press it because Sandaime-sama is hard-headed. Okay, but I'd request you never do that again. Shouldn't be a problem. By the way, what is up with you two? We're just friends, pervert. Sure. Kakashi replies, giving his trademark eye smile. Anyway, I know Danzo trained you between the finals, but I didn't get to see in what, nor would he tell me. Mind showing me so I can get an idea on your skills? Sure, Naruto said before creating a dozen shadow clones. 6 surround Kakashi and start to blur through hand signs, shouting in unison, Earth style, Earth wall. Kakashi smirks as the walls reach 12 feet high. As soon as the jutsu is completed, 4 of the remaining clones appear on top of the walls, preparing their own jutsu, water style, wild water wave, overloading the technique with chakra until the clones dispersed. 2 nature releases? Impressive, Kakashi thinks while dodging the brunt of the water attack. Now the real Naruto and the 2 clones that hung back appear atop of the ear walls, wind style, drilling air bullets all called out, forcing Kakashi to dodge and try to escape, but when Kakashi starts to climb the mud wall he feels 2 hands start to pull him into the wall. Impressive, Kakashi thought, having never considered using the double suicide decapitation technique in such a way. Just as Kakashi finished his thought he saw earth dragons emerge from the remaining walls, Earth style. Earth dragon bullet could faintly be heard outside the walls. In the last second Kakashi pulls off a replacement with a log. Darting back to Naruto he sees him and 2 other clones running through an extended series of hand signs and immediately stops in disbelief. Water style, water dragon jutsu, and Kakashi is again impressed with the 3 water dragons headed in his direction. He performs another replacement, and decides to up his level. Darting to the clones he dodges a mudflow river and proceeds to take out the clones before finally kicking the real Naruto off the earth wall trap. However, when Kakashi looks down he sees a kunai embedded in the wall, and does another replacement right before it exploded. The spar went on for another 20 minutes before it stopped. Naruto was left exhausted on the ground, panting, sweating and bruised. Kakashi looked no worse for wear but clearly impressed at how far Naruto managed to progress in a month's time with a dedicated sensei. I think we can call it for the day. Give me a few days to come up with a training regimen, and we'll hit the ground running. But understand, I plan to train you into the ground. Endure it, and you'll be a better ninja for it. Gotcha, sensei. And with that Kakashi shunshins away. Grumbling about bastard senseis, Naruto gets up and leaves the training ground. Kakashi emerges in the Hokage's office and greets Tsunade. Kakashi, I won't waste your time, so let's get to it. Do you think you could get him ready in 6 months' time? Tsunade-sama, I believe I could have him more than ready by then. 3 elemental releases in a genin, especially one without a bloodline limit, is unheard of. Considering he did it in a month with virtually no one knowing, and I'd say making him ANBU ready won't be difficult at all. I should be able to iron out his taijutsu and start on some rudimentary kenjutsu training. Good. And what about your other student? What about her? Kakashi thinks. I don't know, Tsunade-sama. I've tried to get her interested in training. I hoped after the Chunin exams and the invasion she'd be ready to go, but she does the bare minimum, and I get annoyed because I know there's a pupil out there that would love to have a focused sensei, so I leave her to it. And if she can't find her motivation, she might be a decent medine, but honestly I don't know. She's taken the death of Sasuke hard, which was expected, but she's essentially given up. Okay, I'll get her into the medine program and we'll go from there. That means it'll mostly be you and Naruto. I'll assign XNBU to run missions with you guys. We need to get him as strong and experienced as fast as possible. Kakashi, do not fail me. Hi, Hokage-sama, Kakashi says, and then exits the office. Meanwhile, we find Naruto at his home away from home, whispering sweet nothings to his first love. Oh, how I have missed you. Thanks, Naruto, we've missed you as well. I'm talking to the ramen, I am Chan. So, you want that to be your last bowl? Sputtering, Naruto tries to recover but fails miserably, leaving I.M. to laugh at the poor knucklehead. As Naruto dives, a fellow ninja sits in the seat next to him. Whiskers, the girl says. Buns, he replies. Shrimp, panda. The two remain silent for several moments, eyeing each other incredulously before both start laughing. Where have you been? I haven't seen you since before the invasion. I know, I'm sorry. Jiraiya took me on a mission the next day. Speaking of which, you should be nice to me given you're about to fall madly in love with me and forget all about that tight-ass Neji. Pfft. First of all, I'd never fall in love with someone shorter than me. Secondly, who says I have a thing for Neji? Besides, I'm not your type, she said in a huff. It's just so obvious. You're all like, Neji-kun can't be beat. His unnaturally tight ass makes his jukin more powerful than anyone's. It's a shame, you'd really want to know. I was even considering introducing you to, choosing to ignore Naruto, implying she was a fangirl. Tenten asks, oh, and who is this mystery person? Oh, just Tsunade Senju, the Godame Hokage. Naruto. If this is a prank, you know I'll hurt you, right? Like, I'll just hurt you, it'll be my new job. I know, and I'm not. She's who we had to bring back, and she's pretty cool. The two old friends continued to discuss Naruto's mission and what Tenten had been up to since the invasion until they parted ways, agreeing to meet up sometime soon for a training session. Naruto made his way back to his apartment for a much-deserved nap. A few hours later, Naruto was awoken by a knock at his door. Scurrying to the door, he was greeted by an ANBU. Uzumaki-san, the Hokage has requested your presence. Okay, I'll be there as soon as I freshen up. Thank you, Nico-san, and with a curt nod the ANBU officer shined away. Quickly hopping into the shower, Naruto wonders what Tsunade-sama could want. After exiting the shower, Naruto used a lower power wind jutsu to dry himself off, got changed into a black shirt with a red Uzumaki spiral at the center of the front, some black shinobi pants and black shinobi sandals, then ran to Hokage Tower. 10 minutes and one knock on a door later, and Naruto found himself standing in front of the newly appointed Hokage, along with Kakashi, Danzo, and Jiraiya. Hello, Hokage-sama, you summoned me? Yes, Naruto, I wanted to discuss a few things with you. First, would be your actions during the invasion. Sarutobi-sama did a thorough review of the actions taken by every Chunin hopeful since the exam was ruined. According to reports, you provided dozens of shadow clones, mostly focused on getting civilians and academy students to shelter. One report stated that while you were concerned you would be a target for friendly fire, you followed the orders of your superiors and helped one in direct combat, killing 10 combatants and injuring many more. She also states that you demonstrated a proficiency with wind, water, and earth-style ninjutsu. Due to these reports and actions above and beyond the responsibilities of a genin, Uzumaki Naruto I, Tsunade Senju the Godame Hokage award you the rank of Chunin. Naruto was speechless. Of all the reasons he thought he could be called here, gaining a promotion was not one of them. Everyone in the room sees his surprise and all smile. Now, Naruto, you've earned this rank, but things will only get more difficult from here. For the next 6 months you will be training and doing higher-ranked missions with Kakashi and other shinobi of my choosing. Should I deem you ready, you may lead some missions unaccompanied by Jonan. The reason for this focused training is not just to make up for what Sarutobi did but also to get you prepared. Should Kakashi, Danzo, and myself deem you ready, you will be granted an invitation to join the ANBU. Should you pass their trial period, you will be a full member of the ANBU for no less than 3 years. During that time you will have periodic training sessions with Jiraiya at MT Mayaboku, with your final year spent mostly there except for the occasional mission. I don't know what to say, thank you Tsunade-sama. Don't thank me yet, this is going to be hell. I won't lie to you, but we need to get you as powerful as we can so we can face the Akatsuki. I don't plan on being passive where they are concerned. I'd like to use some time to gather information and then proceed to hunt them down. Allowing them to dictate the pace would be a mistake. Now, Naruto, is there any part of this you have a problem with? Please be honest. Hi, I don't know how invested Jiraiya will be as a sensei. I don't believe his teaching style meshes with my learning style, and would only frustrate me when that time could be better spent with someone that desires to teach me. Before Tsunade can say anything, Jiraiya speaks up. Look, Naruto, I know you were less than happy about how I trained you during the Chunin exams, but I was trying to train you to think through problems, not baby you. Case in point, Hokage-sama. A sensei instructs. If my requesting more than the bare minimum in instruction is seen as babying, then our time together won't be fruitful. If Jiraiya would like to curate for me a training program, I would happily accept and find someone more suited to my, apparently, unreasonable preferences. To this exchange, Tsunade can only sign and hold her palm to her face while thinking, damn it, Jiraiya. You claim you want to make it up to the kid and then openly insult him when he expects you to instruct. Naruto, we can decide on that later, but for now take this. Tsunade hands him his Chunin vest and goes celebrate. I'm giving you the next 2 days off. After that, meet Kakashi at your usual training ground at 7 a.m. Hi, Hokage-sama, and thank you again, Naruto says while making his exit. What is wrong with you, Jiraiya? What do you mean? Do you actually want to have a relationship with Naruto, or do you just want to ease your guilty conscience? Tell me now, because I won't stall his progress to make you feel better. I don't want to stall his progress, but I have my way of doing things. Yes, I'm aware of your way. It includes leaving him alone for hours so you can stare at asses and tits. That's not instruction. It worked with Minato. So? No, seriously, so what? It worked with Minato. Minato was a genius and it allowed you to be lazy. Congratulations. Naruto isn't Minato, and since your first impulse is to bring up a man Naruto is conflicted about, at best, I'm inclined to rethink your role in his training. You can't do that. Why can't I? Because he's my godson and he'll need my knowledge. Knowledge you have little interest in imparting. I'm not going to even acknowledge him being your godson. That hasn't seemed to matter to you for most of his life. I've made mistakes, but I'm not going to apologize for them to you. You've known him for 5 minutes and what, you're his defender? Someone has to do it, might as well be me. Although I'm not entirely sure why we're having this discussion. I'm Hokage, you retrieved me for that very reason. I have to do what's best for the shinobi under my command, and stunting Naruto to make you feel better isn't high on my list of concerns. So what, you want me to just hover over him? He's an adult, he has to learn to think for himself and stand on his own 2 feet. Are you situationally deaf or stupid? There is no need for insults, Tsunade. That boy became proficient in 3 elemental releases in a month without you knowing. That didn't happen by magic, and even with proper guidance it is still something one must figure out for themselves. So, what is this insistence of yours that your way is right and true? Because of Minato? You ever been told to not judge a method by a single result? Because you'd probably survive if I punched you out this window, but does that make flight by my fists a safe mode of travel? Danzo, you trained him for the Chunin finals. What can you tell me about Naruto and his learning style? He's a natural kinesthetic learner, which could make him prone to trial and error to solve things. However, that doesn't make him incapable of learning or understanding theory. You just have to explain it in a different way than you would for most people. He has an incredibly creative and inventive mind that almost rejects convention by rote. If your explanations can manage to get on his wavelength, then you'll find a sharp mind that can have an almost unnaturally intuitive grasp on subjects. Admittedly, it took me a few days to get used to it, but once I did, he made incredible gains. Could you give us an example? Yes, Tsunade-sama. He was having trouble with the first exercise for wind release manipulation, but with his determination he would just try to power through. I asked him to stop and take a break so we can try to work through it a different way. So we talked for about 10 minutes. Near the end he asked me how it felt to mold wind chakra. Admittedly, I had no response. I'm an experienced wind user, so I don't think about how it physically feels to do so, so he handed me a leaf to do the exercise. Once I described not how I thought about molding the chakra, but what it physically felt like, a light bulb went off. He had the exercise completed no more than an hour later. He had the first exercises of both water and earth done within the next day. Once I likened the theory to something tangible, that each nature release feels differently, he was able to take that idea and apply it to the needs of other exercises. Once he established a feel for the nature release, molding the chakra for the jutsu seemed almost too easy for him. The second exercises of each release, while more difficult, were still completed by the end of the second week. Oh, the horrors. You had to talk with your student. Oh no. He'll never be self-reliant. Okay, Tsunade, I get your point. Look, I've always been laid back and believed you should allow a student to find their own way, just offering nudges to keep them on the right track. And how many students have you had that have actively been sabotaged? Also, Naruto created an exploding kunai. Kakashi didn't teach him that, and no one made him do it. This idea that he isn't self-directed is you justifying negligence. We're going in circles, you're all dismissed while I think more on your involvement, Jiraiya. Just understand that it isn't your right but my permission that determines it. Oh, before we leave Hokage-sama, Naruto is quite the admirer of your uncle, Tobirama-sama. I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually asked for any notes, or works on his final water manipulation exercises. To this, Tsunade could only smile. Thank you, Danzo. And with that, all three parties exited. As Naruto is taking a stroll through the village, he notices that he isn't receiving as many glares as he normally does, and some are actually smiling at him. Weird, he thinks before his thoughts are interrupted, wondering why they aren't glaring at you as much. I actually was, Anko-san. How'd you know? Because I've experienced it as well. When you're a social pariah but things start to change for you, it can be disorienting, seeing near complete hate, or indifference slightly shift to mostly hate and a little acceptance. Word got around about what you did. Yes, that's what I was afraid of. Oh, you mean the uchiha? He was the golden boy during peacetime. Civilians may be many things, most of them no pleasant, but that short-sighted self-interest worked in your favor. Once the invasion started, caring about some clan they never actually interacted with became significantly less important. It doesn't mean some won't take issue with it, but many more are concerned about their families, businesses, and the like. So, that's all it took? If someone had only told me, "You're funny, kid." Oh, I almost forgot, thank you. It seems I got promoted mostly due to your post-invasion report. I appreciate it. No problem, kid, I just told the truth. We kicked ass, Anko said with a fist pump. Chuckling, Naruto replies, all the same I'd like to do something as a show of gratitude, so how about I buy you some dangos sometime? You sure you aren't trying to get a date out of me? It's not nice to try and trick Anko-chan. Sputtering, Naruto tries to reassure her he's not asking her out, but it comes out as a lot of gibberish, which makes Anko laugh. Seeing she's had her fun, she grabs Naruto and hugs him tightly, enveloping him in her boobs, and accepts his offer. As she dashes off, she faintly hears Naruto muttering, "Arrow Snake Lady," trying desperately to get his blush under control. Naruto continues his walk as he sees two people he had really hoped to not have to deal with. Exiting Yakinikuku was Team 10 and most of Team 8. She may not have been the first to notice him, but she'd, of course, be the first to say something. "Naruto, what are you doing with that Chunin vest?" Rolling his eyes, as he hates obvious questions, showing I can pull off anything, Ino. "Dobe, did you get promoted?" Sighing, "Yes, Kiba, I did get promoted, and how are you?" "Why did you get promoted?" "The exam results were cancelled. For my actions during the invasion, Ino." "Congratulations, Naruto-san." "Thank you, Shino. I still can't believe you got promoted when no one else did." "That's utter crap. You weren't even in the finals, Kiba." "Why are you so emotionally invested in this?" "Because you're the dead last." "God, you're fucking useless." "Our academy rankings mean shit. We aren't in school anymore, dipshit, so get over it, Jonan. You will not pull rank on me. I'll still kick your ass." "Troublesome. Yes, Kiba, assault a superior officer. I'm sure that'll work out well for you." "Shut it, lazy ass. Kiba has a point. You aren't better than us, Naruto. Especially not after what you did to Sasuke." "Ino, I'd say you're an embarrassment to your clan, but your whole clan is trash. If you saw the fight between Sasuke and I, then you know I did nothing wrong, so I suggest you find a way to deal with it, because I won't be apologizing nor discussing it with you. Your prince is dead but can continue to ignore you from the afterlife, so what changed, really? Naruto, you bastard. How could you insult my clan and say that?" "Easy, ask your dad his policy on forcibly altering the memories of children as they beg him to stop. Tell him Naruto told you to ask." "Now, I'm done talking to you. I'm not finished yet," Kiba replied as he attempts to grab Naruto before being stopped by Choji. "Kiba, if you don't shut your fucking mouth, I'll shut it for you. I'm sick of you, mediocre talent but always running your mouth. You couldn't beat me when I had a seal suppressing my chakra on me. What makes you think you'd be a challenge now?" Just as things were about to escalate, the Jonan sensei for both teams arrive. "Enough," barked Asuma. "What the hell is going on here?" "Simple, someone needs to put a muzzle on that bitch." "Oh, and Ino should talk less too," Naruto replied. "Uzumaki, since you've clearly been promoted, you should do better." "Are you fucking serious?" "Look, I was minding my business when Kiba insulted and threatened me, and after being reminded to not assault a superior officer, he attempted to attack me anyway. So, how am I now responsible for his actions? Also, Uzumaki? You refer to no one else by their last names but me. What's your problem with me? What have I ever do to you?" "I'd like an answer to that as well." Everyone turns to see Kakashi, face in his orange book. "I'll deal with Kiba, but you should still walk away." Now, the other two Jonan are looking at her like she's grown a second head. No, a superior officer does not walk away nor turn the other cheek. Subordinates stand down, and everyone knows this. Seeing that her response wouldn't fly, she relents. Okay, you're right. Kiba was in the wrong and will be punished. As for the other thing, can we talk over there? Kurenai says while pointing to an alley. Fine. The two relocate to the alley and Kurenai takes a deep breath before speaking. I do owe you an apology, Naruto-san. I'm sorry for my rudeness. While I know you are not the fox, I did lose some family that day and had never been more terrified before or since. I've let that affect how I treat you and I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me. No, excuse me? I don't forgive you. I don't care what the fox did to you. If that's your reason for acting the way you have towards me, I don't forgive you. You don't deserve it. Naruto, you have to understand. I don't have to understand a damn thing. All of you are the same. You just put shit on a child endlessly and demand he understand you. Understand your pain and your experiences. Who bothers to understand me? Bothers to understand that you don't get to punish me for something that was forced on me? Do you think I was an orphan by accident? I lost people, too, but I'll never get to know them. I'll never have memories of outings, of conversations around the dinner table, of not feeling like I'm universally hated on my birthday. And yet most of you have all of that. And on top of it you get to take out your frustration and redirect your sense of loss onto a defenseless kid. So, no forgiveness for you, you hateful bitch. You stay away from me and I'll do the same for you. Before she can respond, Naruto runs off, leaving Kurenai speechless and shamed. As Kurenai walks back to the group, she sees only Kakashi and Asuma still there. Kurenai, are you okay? What happened? I tried to apologize for how I've treated him, and he declined it. I tried to justify myself and it didn't go over too well. He called me hateful and I can't even disagree. I've always been cold to him, telling myself I was being professional, but that wasn't true. I acted like his mere presence was corruptive. Kakashi, I'm sorry. I never considered how I'm just one of many, how my actions don't occur in a vacuum. I hope he can forgive me one day, as I will do better. Honestly, Kurenai, I don't know. He may have just been keyed up and let his temper get away from him, but once he cools down things may change. There's a lot that's been revealed to him over the past month, so any hint of unfairness will set him off for the near future. We have the Sand Name to thank for that. What did my dad do? I thought he and Naruto were close. Fighting back a scoff, Kakashi answers, Asuma, you should really talk to him about the decisions he's made. Naruto didn't have to be an orphan, nor did his skills have to languish as they have. What Sasuke said at the exams was true. Teachers did actively sabotage him at the academy, but the rest was the doing of your father. If you ask and he won't tell you, I will. But in the meantime, you both need to get your genins in line. Trust me when I say none of them individually are a match for Naruto, and the next time one attacks him he'll know he has my permission to zealously defend himself. Open season on Naruto Uzumaki is officially closed. Do with that as you may. Damn it! He shouted internally. Why did I let them get to me? All that work to control my temper and I still fly off the handle like an idiot. Naruto admonishes himself before attempting to meditate in a hidden cave inside the village. One he uses to get away from the villagers quite often. As Naruto slows his breathing, he feels a familiar presence approach him, and can't help but smile. Hinata-chan, he says barely above a whisper. Naruto-kun. Naruto-kun, he heard her say. He's never had a strong attachment to his name. People assuming it's referring to a ramen topping doesn't help, but more or less he's just okay with it. However, spoken by her? Poetry. And with that simple utterance his annoyance is immediately reduced as he welcomes the company of his best friend. Shino-kun told me you were back, said you had a run-in with the fellow rookies and Kurenai-sensei. Hinata said while sitting beside him. Shino would be correct. Your sensei isn't likely to be a very big fan of me for the near future. Hope that doesn't cause any problems for you. She shrugs in a very un-Hyuga-like manner. If it does, it does. No sense worrying about the rains of tomorrow today. Very sage-like, Hinata-chan. If this kick-ass shinobi/clan heiress thing doesn't work out, you may want to look into motivational speaking. I'd roll my eyes, but seeing as how you aren't looking at me, the effort would be wasted. If you had called it troublesome, I'd have to check for a hinge. Baka, she said through a giggle. So, it's been a while. Too long. So, are you going to tell me what happened today, and where you've been for the past month? Okay, but settle in. It's a long story. Naruto then proceeds to tell her all the new developments, including him getting confirmation about his parents, Sarutobi's plots, and his promotion. Hearing all the things Naruto discovered during his time away makes Hinata immediately pull him into a hug. How are you handling all of this? If today's events are any indication, not well, but Kurama gave me some good advice, so I'll make peace with it eventually. And what of Tsunade-sama? She asked, releasing the hug. I'm cautiously optimistic. She's been incredibly fair and supportive, but she hasn't been Hokage long, so who knows? She might surprise you, she might. But on to other things. Since I'm a Chunin now, how would you feel about not sneaking around anymore? Just being normal friends that do things in the public? Well, I never wanted to do it in the first place, she said, narrowing her eyes. I know, and we don't have to rehash the fight. Besides, I don't know how often I'll be able to see you, Tenten or Shino in the next few years, so no need to further diminish it. I'd like that. I'm sure they would as well. Okay, so enough about the ever-evolving drama that is my life. How have you been? Well, Hayashi now sees me as a worthy heir, who knew all I had to do is tie Niji in the prelims and beat on my younger sister. Idiot. Oh, and Niji walks around like fate betrayed him, except it's gotten worse since the invasion. I think he thought you losing to Sasuke would somehow right the cosmic wrong he endured, regardless of how contradictory that thinking is. Now he glares at me even more than he used to. He might stalk me just to have something to glare at. I used to love my cousin. I wanted to free him from his seal, not only because it's wrong but so we could be a family for once, but I realized something. What's that? I'm related to jerks. The branch members, rightly, resent the seal, but they revel in the Hyuga arrogance when dealing with non-clan members, and I hate it. Sometimes I just want to wash my hands of the whole damn thing. Leave it to Hanabi and live my life. What stops you? I'd kill Hayashi and the elders before I let them seal me, and murder is frowned upon amongst clan members. Surely you jest. I do not, and don't call me Shirley. Biting back a laugh, she continues, outside of not wanting the seal, I doubt Hanabi's commitment to change, and being a Hyuga heir is mostly a thankless position. I wouldn't feel right giving her my responsibilities. Ah, I see. You should be a selfish bastard like me. I only think about what's good for me. Naruto replies, you rarely see people advocate hedonism. I think your willingness to do so deserves to be acknowledged. What can I say? Naruto Uzumaki is one of a kind. That's why I can get away wearing orange. I laugh in the face of convention. Some might call you a weirdo. You still haven't let that go, have you? And I never will. Who calls a 9-year-old a weirdo? Hinata says with a fake pout. Hate to pull the poor lonely orphan card, but… Poor lonely orphan. I had a better understanding of physics than I did shyness back then. I also recall saying I like people like you. Ignoring the latter statement, Hinata shoots back. You still have no understanding of physics. Things don't float. Some stuff moves until stopped by other stuff. I have the basics down. Laughing outright, Hinata says, if I didn't know you only pretended to be an idiot, I'd be so concerned that my best friend was mentally unrefined. That's Eris for dumb, isn't it? So, you finally got that translation dictionary I sent you? I started to wonder. The two continue to laugh until Naruto speaks up. It's getting late. Would you like me to walk you home? I believe I would. As Naruto was walking Hinata home, there were some uncomfortable conversations happening at the Sarutobi and Yamanaka households. At the Sarutobi compound, Asuma was waiting patiently for his father to answer his question. It's felt like an eternity since he asked it, and Asuma remembers that this caginess was one of the reasons he left in the first place. The only time he seemed to get a straight answer out of his father is when he's being given an order. Hiruzen takes notice of Asuma staring at him, and frankly is too tired to give his son the usual runaround. Asuma-kun, I won't tell you everything and you have no right to ask, but I've made decisions regarding Naruto because I was concerned he may be a threat to the village. Naruto Uzumaki? The kid always running around saying he's going to be Hokage? Hiruzen sighs. His shinobi don't seem to pay attention very well. Asuma, that was an act. He wants to be Hokage about as much as you do. He didn't show his true personality during the academy. Shinobi keep secrets. Why does that make him a threat? Because the secret he was hiding was how much he resents the villagers. He likely hates them outright, and given what is in him, my not being sure of his loyalty was a problem. Asuma now became worried. He knew that his dad had been haunted by Orochimaru's actions and also handled the unknown poorly. What did you do? I ordered Kakashi not to focus on Naruto's training when he was assigned to his team. I also ordered Jiraiya to just focus on him molding the Bijou Chakra during the Chunin finals. I didn't believe he'd beat Sasuke, but there was no point in laying a foundation and risking it. You could have gotten him killed. It's morally reprehensible to send someone out on missions while refusing to train him. What was your end goal? Enough, Asuma. I will discuss this no more. I've already had this discussion with Tsunade and Jiraiya. I will not be admonished by my own son. I did what I thought best, and for someone who never paid the boy the least bit of attention, your outrage rings hollow. Asuma bristled at this. I'm not saying I was the kid's biggest fan, but he is a fellow Leaf Nin and deserved better. He did deserve better. He deserved to be raised by Minato and Kushina. Asuma's eyes go wide when Hiruzen says this, but Hiruzen continues on. Or if that didn't happen, he deserved to not have the fox sealed in him. After those two things weren't going to happen, he deserved to be acknowledged as a hero, someone who has been in service to this village since he was born. He deserved to know who his parents were and to grow up safe and loved. Don't dare lecture me on what that boy deserved. As someone tasked with often not allowing it, I'm well aware. Do you think I did this for fun? There was no pleasure in it. I lead a village of fools. Shinobi are those who endure, and most of mine seem to ignore that. In regards to Fox, the civilians were even worse. What was I to do? Make people be nice to Naruto? Make them not hate him, make them allow their children to be friends, or should I have let Kakashi take the boy only to have him disappear anyone that looked at Naruto wrong? Couldn't let Sam do it either. Sure, she's trustworthy, but what about every member of her clan? What about other clans causing a stir because of what Naruto contained? And so I did what I could do. I tried to control one person instead of thousands of people. I tried to be an anchor for Naruto so he'd see that the entire village didn't hate him. But I could never give him the things he really wanted, and apparently he knew I wasn't being honest with him, so he resented me. If I had to guess, he likely saw it as me being on their side, the villagers, and that's the heart of the problem. Naruto defines the villagers as antagonists to his wants and desires. You didn't exactly help in turning him away from that assessment, Pop. No, I didn't, and if I could do it over again, I'm not sure I'd change a thing. Because as Hokage, that's the job. The village must come first. Even when it hurts people you care about, even if it isn't remotely fair. That's what none of my critics seem to understand. I know what I'm asking of Naruto isn't fair, but he doesn't have the luxury of fairness. Whether Minato knew it or not, he drafted his son into a lifetime of service to the village. Unlike when Kushina was around, we don't have a handful of S-rank shinobi on hand to offset never officially having a container. Would you have been this cold to Konohamaru? No. And you see nothing wrong with that? No, I see it and I know what it makes me. Cruel is what it makes you. Also, a hypocrite. Naruto was vulnerable, and you decided to keep him that way because that's what you wanted. I need to leave. We've had our disagreements in the past, but this is not the will of fire. As Asuma leaves, the former Hokage looks a decade older than he actually is as he thinks about all the decisions he's made regarding Naruto. As if trying to convince himself, Hiruzen thinks, cruelty or not, what I did was what is best for the village. But even he is starting to lose faith in that. At the Yamanaka residence, Inoichi is having a much shorter but no less uncomfortable discussion with Ino, wondering how to sate the girl's curiosity without committing a capital offense. Look, Ino, I really can't go into specifics about this. Naruto experienced something possibly tragic, and the Hokage felt it was safer to suppress the memory. But you always told me that kind of manipulation on an underdeveloped mind was dangerous. And it is, but not acting was more so. What happened then? Sighing for the 5th time, I can't tell you that. I'm guessing Naruto regained his memory I suppressed, and the night I suppressed it. If he hates me or the clan for it, I can't blame him. For the time being, Ino, just avoid Naruto if you can. His feelings toward me is not without reason, but I don't want him to take it out on you. This also means you can't provoke him because he may take any opening to act against you. This is Naruto, the class idiot. I doubt he'll remember by tomorrow. It'll be fine. If you really believe he's an idiot, then I need to up your training. Your observation skills are lacking. Walking back to his apartment, Naruto can't help but smile. Today was largely a good day, capped off by catching up with Hinata. Even the guards at the Hyuga compound didn't try to stare holes into me. As Naruto continues on, he notes the slip crispness in the air, which signals the upcoming change in seasons. He's always enjoyed nights like this, cool but not cold, something just approaching a slight chill in the air and a gentle breeze to accompany it. Taking the long way back to his apartment, Naruto decides to train his sensory ability a bit, extending his senses to test his range. He has about a 1-mile range now, and even then it's weaker near the limit. He continues to extend his senses until he is within range of his apartment, where he notices a familiar chakra signature. Damn it, I don't think I'm in the mood for this tonight. Shit, Naruto thinks as he tries to come up with a plan to avoid this particular argument, but seeing no way out of it, he increases his pace and soon arrives at the stairs of his apartment. Taking each step at a deliberate pace, he attempts to mentally prepare himself to talk to her. Hey Sakura, have you been here long? He asks as he opens his door. No, not long, I just wanted to talk to you, we haven't since before the invasion. Sure, come in, he says, and she follows him into his small apartment. What Sakura notices is that the apartment is much cleaner than she expected from Naruto. While his furniture isn't new nor expensive, it is well maintained, and except for some scrolls and notes on his 2-person dining table, there isn't any messiness to be found. Interrupting her thoughts, Naruto asks, so what did you want to talk about? Nothing in particular, it's just been a while is all. Naruto narrows his eyes. She never wanted to have a friendly chat before, so why the act, Sakura? Please just tell me. It's getting late, so let's not drag this out. Sighing at his bluntness, Sakura starts. I don't know what to say. I've been recommended to the Medine program by Kakashi-sensei and been told that Team 7 is finished. What happened? How did we end up like this, with Sasuke dead? We were all friends. Before he can choke it back, Naruto lets slip a laugh, which did not go unnoticed nor appreciated by Sakura. Before she can comment, Naruto interjects, "We were never friends, Sakura. You never wanted to be my friend, and I highly doubt you'd be this broken up if the team had managed to kill me with Kakashi's jutsu." "That's not true," Sakura says at a near shout. "We were becoming closer." "No, we weren't. You two mocking me over every little thing is not what friends would do. You trying to hit me isn't what friends would do. You never wanted me on your team, and your only concern was Sasuke. Don't rewrite history now, Sakura." "Fine, Naruto, we weren't friends but we were teammates. Don't you care that you killed your teammate?" "Not in the slightest." Sakura goes wide-eyed at Naruto's response. "You were always jealous of his skill and of his status. I bet you felt vindicated, which if you don't know vindicat, you defining it for me makes you a bitch." "Yes, I was jealous of Sasuke. I was an orphan that people enjoyed humiliating and no one wanted to help. Sasuke had everything and didn't value it. He didn't value you, although I've long since come to the conclusion he wasn't wrong in that assessment. But that isn't why I don't feel bad for killing Sasuke. I don't feel bad because Sasuke was actively trying to kill me. We both know what the Chidori can do. He meant to end my life because it was the better alternative than losing a match to me. He just lost his temper. You avoided it so clearly you didn't have to kill him. I didn't, but if I can now kill anyone who attempts to kill me, regardless of the difficulty of my avoiding said attempt." When Sasuke activated the Chidori, he sealed his fate, and I refuse to apologize for valuing my life more than his, even if you feel I should. It isn't like that, you're twisting things around. Why can't you understand? Sasuke wasn't perfect, he'd had a hard life, but he needed understanding. You were always picking at him, trying to show you were better. Was I never supposed to attempt to improve myself? Where is this law that states I have to always be inferior to Sasuke?" Naruto said while rolling his eyes, completely ignoring her words about Sasuke's hard life. "No, but you didn't have to antagonize him like you did, and I was alone in that. He was just some saint that never had a bad word about me. What he did doesn't matter, Naruto, he's dead. He's dead and you don't even care," Sakura said with tears running down her cheeks. "I refuse to apologize for protecting myself. What do you want from me? To be all broken up? To say I share your pain? I don't. Sasuke always thought he was above us, and you always thought I was beneath the both of you. I'm glad we're no longer teammates. When did you become heartless? Was your daily insults supposed to endear me to you? What reality do you live in? Neither of you made the slightest effort to get to know me. Both of you treated my mere presence as a taint upon you. Because you were loud and annoying. You're loud and annoying, but I still put forth the effort. Every time I invited you to lunch you swung on me and screeched about not wanting to date me, as if I'd want a relationship with you. Now who's rewriting history? You were always asking me out. No, I asked you out once and I wasn't fully aware of what I was asking. At that point I thought a date was simply an outing between male and female friends, no romantic context included. When it was explained to me what it actually meant, I tried inviting you to lunch platonically, and you attacked me before I could ever finish. How cruel! How could I not know? I've been on my own for most of my life with no one to teach me the finer points of a lot of things other people assume comes naturally to them. Thankfully I had some really patient friends that helped me because they understood I wasn't dense. I wasn't an idiot, I just simply had no way of knowing certain things. You'd know that true if you gave half a damn about me. This isn't getting us anywhere. Good luck in your training, Sakura, but I think it's time for you to leave. Without a word of protest, Sakura heads for the door and promptly exits. Well, if that isn't just the ideal ending to my day, well, about that. You can't be serious. I can't do this tonight, I'm too agitated as is. That sounds like you're confusing your problems with my problems. A shinobi endures, so stop avoiding this and talk to your parents. How did you do this anyway? The fuck does it matter how I did it? I did it, and you're doing this tonight because I'm sick of the tomato asking me when she'll get to talk to you. You seem extra pissy today. Your mother knows how to annoy better than anyone outside of that one-tails whelp. Naruto laughs at Kurama's plight and prepares for bed. Lying down, Naruto clears his mind and feels the familiar tug on his consciousness. Once in his mindscape he is immediately unhappy at what he sees. Yandere-sama, where's my mother? We thought it best we meet you for the first time individually. Oh, no consideration for how I might feel about that. Seems about right. What can I do for you, Yandere-sama? Please, Naruto, I know you're angry, but please try to understand I had no choice. No, I had no choice. You had choices. You could have protected your family, but you chose the village and damned me. That was a choice. Fine, but it was the best of bad options. Why was it the best? It saved the most number of lives? Would you have sealed Kurama and me to save IWA? I don't know. Bullshit, you don't know. You wouldn't have. Guess it's good you're dead. The village would have always been more important to you than I was. Oh, and thanks for leaving me to the whims of Sarutobi. I've seen your memories, Naruto. I didn't know Sarutobi would behave this way. I'm so. Would you have still sealed Kurama in me? Knowing everything they did to me, would you still condemn me? Yes. Naruto, I know they've wronged you, but there's good in them, and not all are guilty. You know, ever since I was told why they hated me, I've wanted to hurt you. I used to think about how I could. I even considered releasing Kurama and letting this place burn to the ground. One of only things that stopped me is the fact that you wouldn't know. Sealed away in the stomach of a death god, I can't even get justice from you, and you stand there and say you'd send me to hell knowing what would happen to me. I really wish I had a way to harm. Do you hate me that much? Asked Minato, wide-eyed. I hate you more than anyone or anything. Are you surprised? Did you think I'd love and admire you? Wow, Dad, you're so brave, abandoning me to people that hate and fear me with no enforceable protections. You freely admit you choose my tormentors over saving me. What else am I supposed to feel for you? It was the only way. You have to realize that. Kurama would not have stopped his rampage until the village is gone. All those you cared about would have been dead or never existed. Could you have lived with that? I have to take on the burden of an entire village's scorn, and my reward is a handful of friends. Sounds even to me. Besides, your question is illogical. I couldn't have missed something I never had. Like parents, for instance. Wincing at that, Minato resigns himself to the fact that Naruto, at least for the time being, truly hates him. Naruto, I don't have much time left, so let me at least tell you about the events the night you were born. You panicked. I'm sorry, what was that? Minato asked, not believing what he just heard. You panicked, Yondaime-sama. Frowning slightly, Minato replies, what makes you say I panicked? You, a seal master, managed to touch someone who could become intangible twice and never thought to slap a chakra suppression seal on him? I think you panicked. You might be right. I did have a village and my family to save. Interesting you said village first. Well, this has been just a delight, but I'd like to speak to my mother now, Yondaime-sama. Naruto, please, can't you call me something else? It's either Yondaime or Prick, I'll let you choose. You can tell me next time. By Yondaime-sama. As Minato's chakra presence fades, Naruto takes a moment to think about what his father told him of Kurama's release, feeling uneasy about the details of the first few hours of life. Before Naruto can dwell on the new information for long, another presence greets him. Hi, Sochi. The redhead says. Hi, Kaa-chan. Naruto replies. In another part of Naruto's mindscape, Minato is with Kurama. Poor little Hokage looks sad. I'd take more pleasure in your misery if you weren't a construct. That's enough, demon. I won't be mocked by you. It's bad enough my only son hates me. The fuck you mean, demon? I'm a being of pure chakra. I'm more of the natural world than your foolhardy ass could ever be. Where do you get off calling me a demon, asshole? Especially when I allow you more time with your son? God damn great. At least the tomato appreciates what I'm doing for her. Gomen, Kurama, you're right. It's just hard seeing how much Naruto hates me. You have your village to thank for that, and if you have any hope of Naruto forgiving you, you need to understand the source of his pain. I know he's had a hard life. No, not that. That adds to it, but you've been deified in your accursed village. Naruto grew up looking up to you above all others, the perfect and universally loved Minato Namikaze. He wanted to be you, to be that accepted because of what you've achieved. Then on the same night he finds out why people hate him. He realizes his hero did that to him. Not only that, but his hero is probably his father. This near godlike man not only left him alone but was loved for doing it. It's not rational, but a part of Naruto believes you could have done something else because a childish part of him doesn't believe there was a limit to your abilities. At least he did. He may start to see you as just a man, and if he does you may earn his forgiveness, but not if you insist you were right to leave him. I didn't have a lot of time to plan this, you know? I know he suffered, but what was my option? Let you destroy the village and kill thousands while I run off with my family? I couldn't live with myself, and this is why he'll continue to hate you. You did have an option. You chose the one that saved the most lives but at the expense of your son. You left him unprotected. Minato, approaching a near seethed, wanted to point out he had left protection for Naruto but was cut off. Before you say that you left contingencies in place, you knew your sensei's personality faults. It was entirely predictable he'd leave your boy alone or go along with whatever Sarutobi wanted. He may be a great shinobi, but he's a weak man and has shown his response to turmoil is to run away. So, you left your son with an irresponsible middle-aged adolescent. Minato wanted to defend Jiraiya, but he couldn't. He loved his sensei, but seeing Naruto's memories left him with the impression that while Jiraiya was an excellent sensei for him, that may have been an outlier, and the man never truly intended to be there for his godson. I don't know what to do. How can I apologize for what he's been through when I make the same decision? I couldn't justify sacrificing that many people for my own happiness. That you'll have to figure out yourself. Why do you care if I square things with Naruto? What's in it for you? A matter of self-interest. His emotional stability benefits me, and that's all I'll say on the matter. Now away with you, prick. Kurama finishes with a chuckle. The morning finds Naruto waking up, tears in his eyes but feeling lighter. While he still didn't know how to feel about his father, he adored getting to meet his mom and loved her red hair. Thanks to the conversation, Naruto had someone to meet today, along with his other activities for his last day off before he enters his intensive training period. Looking at the clock, Naruto realizes he's slept in but can meet Tenten at her team's training grounds if he hurries, so he sets off to get ready for the day. After a quick shower and small breakfast, Naruto gets dressed in his signature orange jumpsuit and heads to Training Ground 9, where he sees the team wrapping up their exercises for the day. Walking over to the group, Naruto greets each member. Ohio, Lee, Guy-sensei, Tenten, Niji-chan. Ohio, they all say except Niji, that glares at Naruto noticing the vest. Uzumaki, you were promoted? Niji asks in disbelief. Yes, Niji. I guess it was fated to be, Naruto says with a barely hid smirk. Your flames of youth will surely reach new heights, Naruto. Guy said. Thank you, Guy-sensei. I appreciate that and only hope my youthful flames burn forever brightly. YOSH shouted Lee and Guy as they make their exit. Tenten, I do not understand how you have befriended this moronic boy, stated Niji. Tenten, not wanting to be in the middle of Naruto, and Niji again tries to deflect the comment but is interrupted by Naruto. Niji, why don't we get along? I see us both as strivers, trying to fight against the stacked deck, so why are we so acrimonious toward each other? Now, I know you believe in fate, but you believe that if things were fair and positions decided by merit, you'd be in Hinata's position, yes? Now, Niji has been around Naruto enough to be cautious. He thinks for a moment, trying to find the trap but cannot see it, so answers honestly. You are correct, Uzumaki. If clan head was decided by merit, then I would be the heir, not that failure. Now, Niji, I recall a double elimination during the prelims, so she isn't really a failure, but I take your point. How about I make you a deal? I will treat you how you believe a fair and just universe would operate. I acknowledge you, Niji, as the most talented Hyuga of your generation. Taken aback, Niji can only nod at Naruto's pronouncement. Hey, Tenten, you busy? No mission today, and I don't have to work at the shop. Why? Oh, I figured it'd be a good time to meet your idol. Both Niji and Naruto were temporarily deafened by her squeal. As they depart, Naruto bids Niji a good day. Bye, Niji-heim, he says, leaving the boy irate. Why do you always have to poke at him, Naruto? Tenten asks, trying not to laugh. Honestly? It hurts knowing I'm not first in your heart, Tenny. Did our love mean nothing? You just cast me aside for fancy bloodline limit and a perma scowl. I thought we had something. Tenten gains a tick mark over her brow and proceeds to draw a kunai, which doesn't go unnoticed by Naruto because he immediately takes off. Shouting, Tenten says, Why are you running, Naruto? I'm not gonna hurt you, you lie. I won't be taken in by your sweet words anymore, vile temptress. This response causes Tenten to throw her kunai at a retreating Naruto, barely missing him. The two continue to run until they arrive at Hokage Tower, where Tenten stops and looks visibly nervous. Seeing this, Naruto puts a hand on her shoulder and gave her a reassuring smile. See, she's calmed down. The two enter the building and make their way to Tsunade's office, stopping at Shizen's desk just outside. Hi, Shizen-san, is Tsunade available? Hi, Naruto. You know you don't have to call me San, don't you? Hi. Sorry, force of habit. No worries. And is this who you told me about? Yes, this is my very good friend and Tsunade's biggest fan. Tenten, this is Tsunade's longtime apprentice, Shizen Kato. Hi, it's really nice to meet you, Tenten. It's nice to meet you as well. Now, Tsunade-sama doesn't have a lot of time, but I did make a little room in her schedule for you, so go right on in. Walking to the door, Naruto knocks and waits for permission to enter. Once given, he walks in and introduces Tenten to her personal hero. While this is happening, Kakashi is having discussion with the Suma, who is overseeing the training of Team 10. I talked to Pop last night. I'm beginning to think the old man has lost his mind. Holding back a scoff, Kakashi responds, If only we were so lucky. No, he knew exactly what he was doing. He also let it slip whose Naruto's parents were. Can't tell you how stupid I felt not putting that together. Taking a long drag of his cigarette, Asuma continues, I know it is late in the game, but I'd like to make it up to Naruto. I understand he's entering some intense training for the next few years, so any help I can be, let me know. I appreciate the offer, but if it is out of pity, he won't accept it. It's not. It's just. Most shinobi understand the boy isn't what he contains and pat ourselves on the back for treating him neutrally. It's so easy to forget how he's actively saving the village and what he lost in order to do it. We owe him a lot and far too few people acknowledge it, content to write him off. I know I did, but I'd like to change that. Okay, I'll let him know. He has a futon affinity, but Danzo is training him on that. At the mention of Danzo, Asuma quirks a single eyebrow. I know what you're thinking, but he's actually changed. Don't know when or how, but him and Naruto have a previous relationship, and now he isn't all darkness, is my ally. And world domination, why, like he was. But I'm sure we can figure something out. Naruto isn't likely to turn down training. Asuma responds with a single nod and Kakashi shins away. Naruto made his exit shortly after introducing Tenten to Tsunade. While he didn't have a lot to do today, there was one important visit he needed to make as prompted by his mother. Before going, however, he needed to pick up something, which is why he is in this market right outside of the clan compound district. Making his way to the liquor aisle, he finds what he was looking for and heads to the cashier. Preparing himself for an incident, Naruto is shocked when the cashier rings him up, smiles and tells him to have a good day. He says the same to her and continues to his destination. Finally, making it to the Inuzuka compound, Naruto heads to meet Sum, his godmother. He takes a minute, remembering how animated his mom was when talking about the clan head. Sochi, I'm guessing Sarutobi never told you Sum was supposed to look after you if something happened to me, did he? No, he didn't. I've never even spoken with her. I know her son and he's an asshole. She was too, Kushina said, laughing. We used to fight all the time at the academy. The day we became friends, it's because we got stinking drunk on some cheap sake she lifted from her parents. Watching his mom act out her drunken hijinks with Sum delights Naruto and brings a tear to one eye. He can't help but think of how much he missed out on, and how many things he isn't even aware he's missing by losing his parents. Kushina's story reaching its climax refocuses Naruto. So, her parents find us on the Inuzuka training grounds. Every time they try to scold one of us, the other one speaks up in defense. At some point I yell that I will lower the drinking age when I become Hokage, databang. And then pass out. We had to clean the kennels for a month but had been inseparable ever since. Earth to Dobe, what are you doing here? Naruto snaps back to attention when he hears Kiba address him. Oh hey. You. I'm here to speak with Sum-san, so if you'd excuse me. This only serves to irritate Kiba, who has no issue letting it be known. First of all, don't pretend you don't know my name, dead last. Secondly, what do you want with my mom? Look. Kira, Naruto said while narrowing his eyes, feigning as if he's struggling to remember. What I have to speak to your mother about doesn't concern you, so if you would please either announce me or get out of the way, I'd appreciate it. Now, this would seem an entirely weak effort to annoy someone. And it is, but Kiba is just easy like that, much to Naruto's amusement. Especially now that the boy seems to really want to hit Naruto. But after a strongly worded warning from Kurinai-sensei, Kiba knows he can't attack the dobe, so instead he screams in frustration, which alerts Sum. What the hell is going on out here? Hello, Sum-san. I don't know what's wrong with Kiba. I just asked to speak with you, and he seemed greatly upset by the request. Oh. That's odd. Deciding to not investigate it further, Sum moves on. What can I do for you, Naruto? I was hoping to talk to you and I wanted to give you this, he said, handing her the bottle of sake. Looking at the bottle, Sum instantly tears up, remembering her lost friend. Before she can even ask the question, Naruto speaks. I know. And that is enough for Sum to invite Naruto in while sending Kiba off to run an errand. Sitting in her kitchen, Sum looks at the boy that was supposed to have such a different life than the one he's led. Never has her loyalty been tested as when Sarutobi denied her permission to adopt Naruto, and later forbade he from having any contact with the boy for fear she'd reveal his heritage or make him grow too attached. She can't help but wonder how Naruto knows and if he resents her. While not raised as one, Sum knows from Kushina that Uzumaki's our family first, and she would have ignored her reason entirely to be there for Kiba and Hana. Getting lost in her grief and guilt, she almost doesn't hear Naruto speak. So, how should we do this? We can start with what you know and how you know it. I've suspected the Yondaime is my father since the night I became a genin. I had that confirmed and learned of my mother's identity while retrieving Tsunade-sama. As for how I know about you, the night the Yondaime and my mother sealed the kyubi inside of me, they both left a chakra imprint in the seal which I managed to access last night. If I didn't know them, I'd think that impossible. Sum said in between chuckles. After her laughter died down, things became quiet once more, as either party knows exactly how to have this conversation. Reaching her breaking point, not that she ever had much tolerance for inaction, Sum starts. Naruto, I'm sorry. Please don't apologize. I'm assuming Sarutobi told you to stay away from. Probably some deep-seated need to torture me. Naruto said with a mirthless laugh, but the comment seemed enough to break the ice as the two found conversing came naturally from then on. The two talked at length, Naruto asking about his mom, asking about Sum herself. Sum followed suit while congratulating Naruto on his promotion. It had been a few hours, but it felt like minutes when Naruto saw the time and took his leave, promising to stay in touch. On his way back to his apartment, Naruto is filled with an optimism he hasn't allowed himself to indulge in quite some time. He is actually looking forward to the future. Training begins in earnest tomorrow, and he'll have no excuses. He'll either show he has what it takes to be an excellent shinobi, or he won't. The chance to live on his own accomplishments and effort, unencumbered, is almost intoxicating. But this new hope isn't just related to being a shinobi, as Naruto also enjoys the idea that he doesn't have to fear the villagers as much, not having to hide his friendships for fear his very presence will taint their reputations. Not only that, but he has new people he can potentially rely on. While it is too soon to say he fully trusts Tsunade or Shizen, he has to admit that there does seem to be an ease to which they understand each other, but time will tell and he'll enjoy the relations while he can. Thinking back on that night in the bar with Tsunade, Naruto can't help but think about Sasuke. For so long Sasuke was an outsized presence in Naruto's life, the tragic genius the villagers loved but whom he could never bother to love in return. Naruto would never lie and say he wasn't jealous of Sasuke, but it was never because of his so-called talent, or how things came easier, which is remarkable when you have dedicated senseis, but people believe as they wish. No, Naruto's jealous was that Sasuke knew loneliness but chose to stay that way. In a way, Sasuke was no better than Inari. He did nothing to help himself, instead chasing after his own personal boogeyman because it was easier than grieving his losses, and so much of the village enabled him to do so. Tsunade lost her family too, but she had spent years serving others. Her two greatest losses were stacked on top of numerous others. Sasuke could never reach out, not because he was traumatized but because he simply didn't value anyone to the degree he valued his clan. And if Naruto was being honest, that too fueled his resentment. The simple fact of the matter is that loneliness cannot be cured by purely yourself. It takes others, and that means that on some level Naruto was dependent upon the very people who cursed his existence. He needed them, and he hated it. He didn't have the framework of clan-bred arrogance to universally diminish all those not of his name. Sasuke did, and while it only continued his suffering, he never had to feel the true torment Naruto did. Some bastards have all the luck. But luck eventually runs out. Quickly moving off the topic of his dead teammate, his first kill that no one was there to actually help him through, Naruto instead focuses back on his hopes for the future. If nothing else, the next few years should be interesting. But interesting isn't always good. Was the next day, and what appeared to be a habit, Kakashi had shown up on time. Naruto, I have 6 months to get you into shape, and this will be the hardest thing you've ever done. We've got some areas we have to focus on: conditioning, taijutsu, and kenjutsu mainly. I already know your ninjutsu is good, so we likely won't be expanding it just yet, more refining it so you've mastered the ones you know. We'll also be developing your tactical thinking. Any questions? Well, I'm trying to develop a new style of combat fuinjutsu with a friend. Will I have time to do that? Yes, that shouldn't be a problem, but for now I want you to run around the village wall, and then get back here. Also, don't use chakra. Once I get a sense of your baseline, I may add resistance seals to your training. Now get going. Several hours later we find an exhausted and pained Chunin on the ground getting a nice smile from his sensei. You know, sensei, you don't have to look like you enjoy my misery so much, but I do. I love breaking new recruits. It was my favorite activity in ANBU. Anyway, I'm impressed with what I've seen and we have a good place to start building. I'll see you tomorrow bright and early, Kakashi says before leaving in a swirl of leaves. Cursing his bastard sensei, Naruto picks himself up and starts home. On his way he gets an alert from a security seal. Someone had breached his apartment. Close enough to his place when he got his alert, Naruto extends his senses, and while not familiar with the chakra signature, he can tell they are likely Jonan level. Not wanting to foolish rush in, he tries and successfully locates Kakashi and makes his way there. An unsuspected knock interrupted Kakashi and his reading time. He opens the door to see his student, confused as he's never revealed where he lives to his students. Sorry for bothering you, sensei. I got an alert from a security seal that someone is in my apartment, and I sensed it was someone of Jonan level. Oh, and that's how I found you, if you're wondering. I'm a sensor, I sense things. Anywho, I'd normally handle it myself, but I've yet to recover from your assessment, and was wondering if I could get a bit of help. Kakashi's single eye darkens before he gives Naruto his eye smile. We're going to discuss this sensor ability you failed to mention. As far as the intruder, I'll check it out. Why don't you go get something to eat and I'll find you when it's over? No problem, thanks sensei. Kakashi only nods before he shins away. Inoichi Yamanaka is not an unreasonable man. He understands that he might not be Naruto's favorite person. While following orders, he's earned the blonde's ire. However, coming between a man and his only daughter is crossing a bit of a major line. Doing so while boxing him in with S-class secrets is just downright dickish, in this veteran shinobi's estimation. So yes, Inoichi is a little hot right now. Enough so to invite himself in as to guarantee an audience? It appears so. It's just going to be a civilized chat, so there's no issue. Just a calm exchanging of ideas between two rational adu. You know, he keeps some really good tea in his cupboard. A nice, soothing blend. You'd never expect the knucklehead to have such good taste, and yet there it is. May I make you some tea, Inoichi-san? I doubt Naruto would mind. Hiding his surprise that Kakashi managed to sneak up on him, Inoichi declines the tea. Where is Naruto? Ma, Inoichi-san, that's not important right now. I'm much more interested in where you are and why. What business could you have with my cute little Chunin? I believe that's best left between Naruto and I, Kakashi, and yet that's not going to happen. I think it'd be better to accept your current reality instead of clinging to what you'd prefer. Fine, Kakashi. Naruto revealed something to my daughter that is driving a wedge between us. I wanted to discuss this with him and advise he be more mindful of his words in the future. You know, Inoichi, that sounds uncomfortably close to a threat. I'd really hate for you to threaten my student. It'd upset me ever so, and your emotional state would be my problem? No, see, if you're threatening Naruto you won't have any more problems. Your clan will. Like, what happened to Inoichi? Who is going to be clan head? Who will comfort poor Ino? You know, things of that nature. But since you aren't threatening my student, this is all rather moot, wouldn't you agree? Kakashi said, as if rather bored by the topic. I believe I would. Said with a sneer. Good. Oh, and Inoichi? Yes, Kakashi, we won't have this discussion again. Take that however you like. Any. 3 months later. 3 months as a Chunin. 3 months of intensive training, and Naruto's progress was satisfactory according to Kakashi, who only says satisfactory to get on Naruto's nerves. Anyone else would be extremely impressed with how far Naruto has come in solidifying his basics and expanding upon them, not to mention his conditioning. Even if Naruto promised to send 100 exploding kunai up your bastard ass should Kakashi make him climb up the cliff of a mountain single-handedly again. In the middle of the second month, Asuma joined to help Naruto develop his wind-enabled kenjutsu, especially helpful as Naruto decided to go with dual kodachi. Things are also going well in his personal life. Naruto interacts with his friends in public and has yet to have a single incident with the villagers. He has also been able to help them in their training for the upcoming Chunin exams in Suna. He's even resolved his issues with Kurenai, figuring that while she was in the wrong he took out previously held frustrations on her. Now the two are perfectly cordial to each other, which just fine for him. Naruto is still trying to crack his new combat Fuinjutsu but hasn't quite gotten it, though Tenten is hoping as it'd help augment her style. Naruto had the idea soon after he managed to graft the explosive array on a kunai. Naruto theorizes that he can get elemental barrier seals with kunai operating as the points of creation. If he can get the array right, he won't need specific kunai for each element. Instead, he could use hand signs and the equivalent chakra for AD or C rank jutsu to erect the barriers. If he can get the barriers to work, then other arrays should work as well. This would mean being able to prepare the battlefield on the spot if ever ambushed, and the liability of writing seals during combat is removed. Naruto has also been learning to write seals with his chakra, but that has been slow going. Not just because of the difficulty. It requires the seal to be perfectly memorized instead of Naruto's process of feeling how the seal is made and above average chakra control. Never one to quit, he is having his close work on both those issues, getting some insight about sealing from his parents. He has managed to upgrade Minato from prick to bastard, and has gotten some chakra control exercises from Tsunade. Speaking of which, Tsunade-sama, why are you here? Oh, that's hurtful. Naruto, not happy to see me? Of course I am. I was just expecting Kakashi-sensei, but he seems to be running late. Well, that's why I'm here. Kakashi was just assigned a last-minute mission and I agreed to handle your taijutsu lesson for the day. Naruto doesn't have the words for how much he really doesn't want to do this. Tsunade isn't known for restraint. He's seen her break Jiraiya's ribs and say what you want about his failure of a godfather, but the man isn't exactly weak. However, he has no way to get out of this, so his only hope is to minimize the damage. 1 hour later. You could have hit me less, you know, grinning from ear to ear. But then how would you have learned? Learn what, Tsunade-sama? 1. I have a long memory. 2. She says, narrowing her eyes at Naruto, don't ever call me Bachan again. Naruto takes a minute to think. That was months ago. Also, I didn't even mean it. I couldn't take the risk. She says, laughing as they separate. When she is comfortably out of earshot, Naruto starts to mutter, don't call you Bachan, I'll call you Bachan if I want. Abusive Hokages attacking loyal shinobi. You shouldn't talk to yourself, it makes you seem crazy. Crazy is attractive, gives the impression of hidden depths. Who told you that? I told it to myself. I need a new best friend. I wonder if Ino or Tenten are free. So cruel, Hinata-chan, so very cruel. Besides, I'm irreplaceable. Well, I won't know until I try. You wound me. I had something to ask you and now I'm not sure if you just ruthlessly cast me aside. I could just beat it out of you. Nah, not your style. I could tell everyone you're afraid of ghosts. Everyone should be, they shouldn't exist. Both walk quietly for a moment until Naruto notices a devious smile on Hinata's face which makes him feel hot and cold simultaneously. Please, Tell me, Naruto-kun, she says in a meek voice with a bit of blush. Feeling flustered and not knowing why Naruto can only stare at his friend before managing to get out. You can do that on command? Yep. Why, I like it, I reserve comment. Anyway, he looks away and Hinata notices his seemingly forced lack of eye contact. I was wondering, if you're free or whatever, if you'd like to go on a date with me. I suppose I could do that, she answered neutrally while internally freaking out. Of course you'll have to speak with Hayashi because Kami forbid I not be treated like property. Yeah, I know. When do you think I could get in to see him? He can make time now, no point in delaying. There actually is. I've just been dodging mountain-crushing fists, and need a shower and a change of clothes. That didn't matter when you asked me, because you already like me. Hell, you've probably seen me naked. To this Hinata can only blush. Just come to the compound in 2 hours, okay? Sure, Hinata-chan, see you then. The two head to their respective residences, Hinata grateful he didn't acknowledge her lack of denial. Arriving to the compound wearing a semi-formal outfit of black slacks, a dark blue long-sleeve shirt and black loafers, Naruto greets the guards who promptly retrieve Hinata, who has also changed into a lavender kimono. You nervous? She asks. No, he lies. Liar. She knows. I prefer artistic interpretation of real-time events. He replies with a smile. Most liars would. She offers with a smile to match, as if most liars could be as great as me. Both snicker but stop when they arrive to the study of Hayashi, awaiting permission to enter. Once received, Hinata enters first, followed by Naruto. Good evening, Otosama/Hayashi-sama, they greet the clan head. Daughter Uzumaki, why have you requested to speak with me today, he says without a hint of emotion. Thank you for your time, Hayashi-sama. I am here today to request permission to date your daughter. I see, he says and then leaves the room quiet. I will allow it on the condition Hinata relinquishes her title as heiress of the clan. Both are shocked, even if a small part of each teen realizes they shouldn't be. May I ask why she'd have to give up being clan head to date me? First, because to be a leader one must be able to sacrifice for their ambitions, and Hinata's quest to uproot generations of Hyuga tradition is quite ambitious. That cannot be achieved without cost, she should learn that now. In exchange for breaking off all non-professional contact, however, she would get my full backing to remove the caged bird seal when I transition to the Elder Council. Secondly, she is an heiress. You offer nothing that benefits the clan. My benefit to your clan is not kill most of the man branch. Asshole, Naruto thought but dared not let it show on his face. Finally, said asshole continued, the Sandaime does not trust you. He has considered you a possible threat, and I have no reason to question his judgment, and as such, I will not trust you with my daughter. Why do I have to break off all contact? We have been friends for years. Hinata said, refusing to cry in front of him. Yes, you have, and it benefited you, but I think it has long since stopped aiding in your development. As such, there is no real reason to continue seeing this boy. The choice, however, is yours. Both leave the study, shocked at what has just happened. Making their way to the front gate, Hinata hugs Naruto and starts to weep as he hugs her back. I'm sorry, she whispers. Why are you apologizing? Because he's making me be like them, making it a choice of your happiness or the general welfare of others. It's not fair. It's not, but I couldn't ask you to give up on your goal, nor risk getting sealed for me. I need you to do something for me. Anything, just name it. Move on. If I accept this, he's likely going to start accepting offers to court me, and I don't want you to miss out on being with someone else. So please, promise me. Hesitating initially, Naruto relents. I promise. Neither of them had the courage to say goodbye, so they separate at his promise. She heads to her room, he off the compound. It would be 3 days before Naruto revealed what happened to anyone, finally opening up to Kakashi after he saw his pupil seeming distraught. While he had no advice for his student, he did express sympathy, knowing that the boy rarely seems to catch a break, and the Sandaime's misguided notions have once again negatively affected Naruto. 6 weeks later, as he watched his apartment burn, his thoughts go to his history there. The day the then kind old man showed him his own space. The day his first friend gave him practice kunai because he complained the ones at the academy felt wrong. The day the second most quiet person in class came to check on him after a particular rough day of bullying, how he stayed for dinner, and the two just talked. About everything. Hobbies, dreams, what his clan was like, just anything. The feeling of going to sleep knowing he made another friend, someone else who cared. But mostly his thoughts certain around a certain girl. So shy, so outwardly delicate, and yet she made the first step, likely summoning every ounce of courage she had, and came to his door on his birthday. She came into herself in that apartment. It became a safe space for both of them, and sometimes Naruto thought of it as their place, their sanctuary from all those that doubted and dismissed them. More thoughts about the meals shared, the stupid jokes. How she helped him study, and how just by talking with her she came out of her shell and lost her stutter, something it took her bastard father months to notice. He was to some extent likely will always be hyperactive, but she always invoked a sense of calm within him. He remembers the exact day he knew he had fallen in love with her. It scared him like nothing else but excited him all the same. A thrill like no other, and while the emotion was so unfamiliar to him he knew he never wished to give it up. Even if she never felt the same he'd cherish it. The ability to feel this way about someone else was so many things. He'd happily give himself over to it, so overwhelming it was somehow innately realizing the freedom in submitting to it. That last thought caused Naruto to do something he hadn't done in years, something he promised himself he'd never do again. As he watched the flames dance in the apartment complex and give an ethereal glow to the night sky, Naruto started to let his tears fall. First a single, followed up a second, and soon a steady stream. He couldn't even focus on how his body was betraying his will. He couldn't muster the fight to cut the tears as he watched, almost in a trance. Naruto's tears were not for the apartment as such. He had money and could find a new place to live. It wasn't for the mementos, as he had his most precious items protected in a fireproof storage seal. No any physical item lost could be replaced. It wasn't even the memories. Those had become so essential to him that he didn't need physical cues to spur them. They were always readily accessible. No, Naruto's tears signified his loss of hope. He had hoped that there was a way around Hayashi's pronouncement, his irrational stipulation. The burning of the apartment felt like he was losing her again, only this time it was final. There would be no clever last-minute ploy, and she would never agree to an undercover affair at the risk of her oppressed family. He couldn't be that selfish to even tempt her with the offer. No, this is just one of the many things this village has taken from him. His parents, his development, at times even his sanity, but he had always had to back down, to put those fights off, understanding that he'd have to survive the injustices done to him before he could start to fight back, but no longer. No, this is the last thing they take from him without losing something in return, he thought, trying to hold on to his rage as it was the only thing keeping the all-consuming despair at bay. Until it failed completely. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't help but think of all he had lost. Never would they share a quiet dinner together again, just happy in each other's presence. Never would he get to take her on a romantic date for her birthday, as he'd debate whether the pink in her cheeks were due to the chill in the air or her reaction to him. Never would they share a first kiss, a first dance, a first time. Never would his dream come true, a dream that many nights had been a source of comfort. Not that he expected the dream to stop, but now the meaning would change. The warmth of optimism would now be replaced by the cold rebuke, a cosmic punishment for his hubris. How dare he think he'd be allowed to be the least bit happy, to even have the simplest of wishes for his future? Weapons shouldn't dream, demons shouldn't hope. But there are things weapons and demons can do, and they are things he's been becoming increasingly adept at. Whoever levied this most grievous insult would be dealt with in the harshest of ways. That's a promise of a lifetime. Believe it, too. Me? Sama. You, a distant voice said. Naruto couldn't tear his vision from the fire to even begin to acknowledge someone was talking to him. Figuring whoever it was got tired of trying to gain his attention, Naruto felt a hand on his shoulder, immediately followed by the sensation of a shunshin, and then a hug. So disoriented it took him several moments to realize he was in the Hokage tower, and it was Tsunade hugging him. Finally regaining his awareness, he managed to hear the end of her question. Yes, Tsunade-sama, I'm fine. Looking at the boy, Tsunade can tell he's anything but fine. She becomes concerned for the boy, his eyes looking like they did the night they spoke at that bar. Damn it, and he was making progress, she thinks. Trying to come up with a tangible way to reassure Naruto, she says, Naruto, we will launch a full investigation into the fire no matter where it leads, you have my word. Taking some comfort that someone cares enough to do something, Naruto thanks Tsunade for that and her concern. If that's all, Tsunade-sama, I need to arrange for a place to stay for the night. Why not stay at the Senju compound with Shizen and I? We have plenty of rooms, so you'd have privacy, and it'd be good company. I truly appreciate the offer, but I couldn't impose. You've done enough for me as is, and I wouldn't want to take advantage of your generosity. Naruto, believe me, it wouldn't be an imposition. Besides, I could just always order you to do it, she said, narrowing her eyes. Aware enough to know when he's lost, and to feel a bit of fear, Naruto accepts her offer and heads out to grab some essentials until he is allowed back into his apartment. Kakashi follow him to make sure nothing happens and escort him to the compound. We don't know if the fire was an attack, but we can assume he thinks it is, and with everything else he's likely to lash out at any perceived act of hostility. Hi, Hokage-sama. As Kakashi exists via Shunshin, Tsunade hears the signature tapping of Danzo's cane as the elder enters her office. Evening, Tsunade-sama. I understand my student has met with some misfortune. Sighing, Tsunade can only nod at the statement. And what will you do? I will have it investigated. There isn't much I can do until we have the facts. Forgive me, I don't mean about the fire, I am referring to my student. I cannot imagine he has taken it well. What will you do? He'll be staying at the Senju compound for the time being, but outside of that, what can I do? He looked at his limit, and I'm worried that if anything else happens, he'll attack. So, why not let him? Seeing Tsunade go wide-eyed, Danzo continues, not in the village, of course. Give him and Kakashi a mission that guarantees combat. Let him direct that energy at safe targets instead of sitting on it. I guess that's better than him going after Hayashi. That could be debated. Danzo says as he leaves her office. After the initial shock, Tsunade can only laugh at Danzo's parting remark. At the Hokage monument, sitting on top of his father's head, Naruto looks out onto the village. So lost in his head he nearly didn't sense his visitor. I'd really rather be alone with my thoughts. Humor an old man, would you? I thought my humoring you was one of the reasons you turned on me, Sandaime-sama. Naruto replied. Maybe you have a point, maybe. What can I do for, Sandaime-sama? I heard about your apartment. I just wanted to see if you were alright. I am just great. Will that be all? Naruto, it doesn't have to be like this. I know I've made mistakes. I tried to make up for past failures by saddling you with baggage you didn't deserve. You'll never know how much I regret it, and its consequences. Great, just great. You regret the consequences? Well, I have to still live with them. Everyone's so fucking sorry after the fact. What good is your sorry? Hayashi coerces Hinata to break off all ties with me because of your opinion of me. I lose the person I love, but hey, at least you regret your actions. What a fair trade that is. Naruto, I didn't know. Let me speak with Hayashi, see if I can fix this. You can't. You know what kind of person he is. I'd have to hold a kunai to his throat before he'd ever admit he was wrong, nor would he pass up this chance to keep Hinata under his thumb. For all I know, your irrational fear of me was only a pretense, and he would have always had a reason to pull this. Naruto, I'm sorry. For everything, for not trying harder. I'm sorry. I believe you. I'm just not sure how much it matters. Naruto says before he departs, leaving Hiruzen alone. I will make this up to you, Naruto, I promise. The next day. Naruto, do you understand the mission? Yes, we're about to make some assholes have a really bad day, and then no days after that. That's a way of putting it. The encampment should be within your sensory range. What can you tell me? About 30 chakra signatures, only 2 significant, so missing Nin. So, how would you like to handle this? Kakashi asks as he signals for his pupil to stop. I have an idea. It should handle most of them while driving the missing Nin in a controlled direction if they get out. And how do you plan to drive them to my direction? To this, Naruto only smirks before creating 15 Kage Bushins. You'll see, sensei. They should be in position in 15 minutes. Nodding to the blonde, Kakashi and Naruto continue on to the camp. Getting the feedback from 4 of his clones, Naruto informs Kakashi that they are in position and he'll be back to help with the missing Nin. Kakashi only has to wait 2 minutes longer when he feels a large, coordinated chakra spike. Fire style, dragon flame bullet, wind style, great breakthrough. After that, all that was heard were screams as the white-hot flames raged through the unsuspecting encampment. Naruto had predicted the 2 missing Nins would make it out of the ambush, but he had underestimated himself. Only one did. Kakashi Hatake? What do I owe the pleasure? Iwa's diamond dog. Oh, Naruto was right. I am about to give this asshole the worst day of his life, Kakashi thought with a bit of glee. However, his fun was not to be. As the two were squaring FF, Iwa's diamond dog suddenly found himself with a slit throat courtesy one blue-eyed Uzumaki. Naruto, what has Uncle Kakashi told you about ruining his fun? Not to, precisely. Although, sensei, that reminds me, we need to talk. Yes, I believe we do given all of this, Kakashi said, pointing to the funeral pyre still burning. Oh no, that can wait. Sensei, you're a high-rank shinobi, yes? Flatterer. Yes, I am. So, why is it every time we come across an enemy ninja none of them consider running from you? Zabuza I somewhat get, but the rest of them? It can't just be pride. What are you getting at? Sensei, are you some legendary dick? It's the only thing that makes sense. Kakashi can only laugh. Yes, Naruto, I am. I go out of my way to antagonize enemy ninja. I figure if they feel some type of way about it, they can fight me. It usually ends poorly for them when they do, and I get a workout. Fun for everyone. Until they end up dead, I suppose. Now wrap him up so we can head back. You're weird, sensei. I've seen you have full-on debates with 20 copies of yourself. Let's not judge. Fair enough. Naruto says as he finishes sealing the body. The mission report in itself is mildly disturbing. Maybe she's being hypocritical since the mission was wholesale slaughter but killing 29 people with 3 jutsu. That's not normally. The effortless killing of AB rank IWA Nin to top off the night, and Tsunade doesn't know whether to be concerned, proud, or relieved. Concerned because a 13-year-old has shown the ability to bring a lot of death very quickly without much effort. Chakra, am I right? Proud, because he's only been serious trained for less than a year, counting the Chunin exams, and this kid can bring a lot of death quickly and without much effort. He's what a ninjutsu specialist should be, not those idiots that exchange ninjutsu like it's a game, but knowing what jutsu to use and when to end the fight. If they were on better terms, Sarutobi-sensei would likely have an ideal apprentice in Naruto. Chakra for days and an intuitive grasp of ninjutsu. It's a shame, really. Oh, and finally relief. Why would Tsunade be relieved? Because he didn't bring that death in the village, on say a certain clan of arrogant bastards. Yeah, she's going to go with relief on this one. BT, what was truly disturbing was Danzo's giggle. He was giggling like a pervert reading porn. It was unsettling. If that's all, Naruto, you are dismissed. And with a nod, her favorite blonde leaves, turning to the Jonan in the room. Kakashi, I've asked you to keep me abreast of his progress. You never mentioned he was learning fire release. That's because I didn't know, Tsunade-sama. I just thought he'd throw a lot of those exploding kunai he's fond of. Danzo, do you have something to contribute? I didn't know he knew any katan jutsu. I attempted to get him to complete the nature manipulation exercises, but when he started them he said, and I quote, I don't like fire style. It feels like mindless destruction. No wonder it fit the team so well. So, I assumed he had stopped developing it. Apparently I was mistaken. Danzo said with a shrug. Okay, I need you both to impress upon him he can't keep his abilities a secret from us. We need to know what he can do so we can plan for the Akatsuki. Also, you really let him stop learning something because of that? I never learned Doton Jutsu because I thought Hiruzen was a bit of a bastard, so I could relate. I'm surrounded by widows, Tsunade said, more to herself than anything, in AME. Alright, gang, good to have you all here. I know these quarterly meetings can be a bit dry, but they are important. So, I'm going to get the most pressing news out of the way. We've had a bit of a setback. It has been confirmed. The standby is currently out of play. It'll take at least 3 years for it to form, so we're going to be switching plans a little. We'll be taking more missions while Zetsu keeps tabs on the other containers. Now, I know this is disappointing, but things happen and this is no one's fault. With that out of the way, Kakuza, how are we financially? Good, Leader-sama. If we keep our current mission intake, we'll have some nice reserves when we start collecting containers again. Excellent. So, with the major things out of the way, does anyone have anything to say? Issues needing addressing? I have one, Leader-sama. Then Daidara-kun, you have the floor. I'm concerned. I feel like we've formed a bond here, but that is threatened when one of us seems to not want to contribute. And by one of us you mean me? Yes, Itachi, I mean you. And what hurts the most is you're the one that recruited me. I thought we had such a good time, but after that you just can't be bothered. He's right, Itachi. When I try to discuss Jashin with you, I can tell you aren't even listening. Being a criminal is one thing, but no need to be a dick. Use your words, Tachi-kun. I hate you so much, Kisame. So very much. Love you too, Tachi-kun. Look, guys, I know I'm not the warmest person. I tend to keep my own counsel. I don't know why, it's just my inclination, but I understand how that can be disharmonious to the group and our aims. I can't promise to change overnight, but I can try. So why not start now? Tell us something about yourself. Let's see. My name is Itachi Uchiha. I like Paki, Genjutsu. I loved my little brother. I hate war and arrogance. My hobbies are training, people watching, and breakdancing. I seek peace. You breakdance? Kisame asked. Yes, we need proof. The rest of the group chorused. What followed was Itachi pulling off an impressive series of moves. Alright, well, that was entertaining. Thanks, Itachi. Now if there is nothing more, why don't we bring it? Group hug. Shouts Haiden. The training period had come to an end. Now was the time to see if he would be accepted to the elite of the village's shinobi forces. If he succeeds, there will be no more saving princesses, which he's done twice since becoming a Chunin, but embracing the darkness of his chosen profession. The darkness that molded Itachi and in some respect broke Danzo. He had been concerned if he could really do it, keep up with the ANBU forces, but like so much of his life, the decided lack of choice makes the concern moot. Right now, that lack of choice is represented by 4 ANBU agents attempting to take his head in the middle of this forest at night. I need to create some space and regroup. Naruto thought as he dodged a series of kunai barely perceivable in the darkness of the night. Knowing the goal of the kunai was to herd him into a trap, Naruto instead darts to the source, immediately creating 2 Kage Bunshin and having them disperse to blind his assailant. Using the temporary distraction, Naruto hurriedly runs deeper into the forest. Same report, commanded Tora. He distracted me with chakra smoke, Taicho, and is currently running deep into the forest. He's likely setting up traps. We've lost the element of surprise. Damn it, how did we let a recruit slip past us? You underestimated him, Tori. We all did. How do we proceed? Carefully said Tora. 4 shadowy figures give pursuit in a diamond formation, looking for the potential new recruit. In their haste, they missed the kunai positioned in a triangular fashion until it was too late. Uzumaki style. Try flame formation barrier Fuin, Naruto calls out, ensnaring the 4ANBU in his trap. Naruto emerges from the tree, breathing a visible sigh of relief that his trap worked, until he sees one of the figures disperse into mud and is immediately on guard, narrowly ducking the odachi aimed for his head. Steadying himself, Naruto puts his hands on the kodachi, sharing a scabbard on his lower back, awaiting the charge. The two shinobi don't move, waiting for the other to give them the smallest of openings, and feeling confident he found one, Rayon attacks. Quickly closing the distance, Rayon performs a vertical slash on Naruto, who blocks the attack with one of his kodachi while taking a swipe at Rayon's neck with the other. Tilting backward, Rayon avoids the attack and creates space between the two. Seeing the first light of dawn, Naruto knows the test is almost coming to a close and fights back a grin with the utmost effort. Seeing time is almost up, Rayon dashes toward Naruto, hoping to subdue the potential recruit, and begins a relentless assault. While practiced, Naruto is not as skilled with his blades as his attacker is and is being overwhelmed by the superior kenjutsu artist. Soon enough, Rayon has his blade to Naruto's neck, forcing him to drop his weapons. Do you yield? Why would I do that? You're a good kid, but don't get cocky. Yield before I hurt you to prove a point. Do what you must, but you should be more mindful of your surroundings, Naruto says as he disperses into a cloud of smoke. Earth style. Swamp of the underworld is all Rayon hears before he sinks into the ground. Clapping was the first sign someone else was there, someone capable to slip past his sensory ability. When he looks up to see where the sound is coming from, he sees the ANBU commander, Dragon. You did very well, Naruto, and I would like to personally welcome you into ANBU. We take the most dangerous missions, often unseen and unheard. This is not the place for personal glory but service to your village and the Hokage. From henceforth you will be known as Gamma. Congratulations. Be at ANBU HQ in 1 hour, Dragon said, immediately leaving by Shunshin afterward. As the shadow clone maintaining the barrier dispersed and Gamma helped up Rayon, he can't help but wonder what the next 3 years of his life will entail. Hokage-sama, Dragon, how'd he do? Better than expected. We always tell recruits they must make it to dawn, but truthfully they rarely do. He accomplished all he needed 2 hours within to the test. Allowing herself a small smile, Tsunade speaks. Who were the recruits that managed to last the entire night? Beside Uzumaki-san, only Anko Mitarashi and Itachi Uchiha. It's been 1.5 years since Naruto's entrance into ANBU, and the blonde shinobi has taken to his assignment like a fish to water. While Kakashi had done an excellent job training him, the truth of the ANBU is that you simply cannot be prepared for what they do to new recruits by design. Whatever your level may be, they simply go beyond it, so you do not get complacent. The training and the missions are hard, but Naruto has never felt more powerful. Every skill has improved. This is not to say that the entire time there has been smooth. His first assassination mission did not go off as cleanly as one would hope. Gamma, you will be paired with Sane for this mission. We believe one of our brokers is leaking information to IWA. We've had an increasing number of skirmishes with their shinobi, and the pattern lead us to him. The order is to remove him, but it cannot look like an assassination. Hi, Tora Taicho. When and where should I carry this out? Gamma asked, trying to hide his nervousness. The target is paranoid and has a security system that makes his house nearly impenetrable without notice. However, it only activates at night given how sensitive and cumbersome it is, and has a timed release for the morning. You'll need to sneak in before nightfall, carry out your mission and wait until dawn to slip out unnoticed. Tora said. Does the target live alone? Asked Same. No, he has a wife and 3 kids, but she takes the children on an annual trip around this time every year. That's when you'll strike. If there are no further questions, I want you two to leave immediately. Hi, both subordinates said. It took 3 days of travel to get to the town in Earth Country, and just like Tora said, the wife had taken the kids. Gamma found an accessible entry point. It being unseasonably warm made their target keep a window open. A simple hinge, and Gamma snuck through the window with no problem and stowed away in a cellar. Shortly after gaining entrance, the target left, returning almost an hour later with an unforeseen complication. Apparently, the target had or was continuing to have an affair, one that produced a child. That child was currently in the residence. A sense of dread overcame Gamma as he debated whether he should continue the mission or put it off for later. Each option carried risks, but if this man was supplying IWA with information on our missions, therefore movement of our forces, a delay could result in fatalities among Leaf Nin. Steeling himself, Gamma continued to wait until 3 a.m. when he created a shadow clone and snuck into the target's room. That shadow clone immediately blurred the hand signs for a privacy seal, while the original Gamma put a paralysis seal on the target. Reaching into his waistband, Gamma pulled out a syringe filled with potassium chloride. Forcibly opening the target's mouth, Gamma injected the poison under the target's tongue. The effect was near instantaneous as the target eyes became wide, but the paralysis seal prevented him from moving. Not even a minute later the target was dead from heart failure. Given the man's age and size, no one should ask too many questions, and given the potential scandal of his love child, the focus may be on elsewhere. Just as Gamma dispersed his clone and dropped the privacy seal, he heard footsteps coming down the hall. Quickly entering the bedroom closet, Gamma waited for the child to enter the room, praying he would just go to the bathroom. "Dad, I had bad dream, can I sleep in here?" the child asked. "Dad?" the child said as he shook his father. "Dad," he said a little more desperately as the man continued to be unresponsive. "Dad, wake up. Please," he screamed as the child broke down. He pleaded with his father to awake, hoping this an elaborate prank, or if not, he'd be granted a miracle. Gamma assumed, but neither of those happened. What made it worse was that the kid, likely not a frequent visitor, didn't know how to deactivate the security in case of emergency, so was locked in a house with his dead father and his father's murderer. Around 6 am the security system disabled for the morning, and the kid ran out of the house toward the neighbors. Gamma took this opportunity to leave and meet up with Same. After a few days of traveling and mostly silence, Same asked Gamma, "Why didn't you just send in a shadow clone? Shadow clones can only do what the original can do." "I didn't know if I could kill a civilian like that, so sending a shadow clone was too big a risk given they can think for themselves and choose not to follow my directives." Nothing more was said until they arrived back into Konoha. It took a few days and a lot of talking with Tsunade to get Naruto out of his funk. The talk helped with the nightmares he was having. Because the two were often paired up on their mission, Naruto became closer to Same than his other squad members, which is saying something because the squad as a whole were pretty close. This is the team dynamic Naruto wished he had while on Team 7, but it was nice to have it now. Naruto helped Same with his ninjutsu, and Same taught Naruto kenjutsu with a katana. While he'd likely always prefer his dual kodachi, he was never one to turn down training. Besides, it made his mom incredibly happy. My Sochi is finally learning to fight with a proper blade. Once you get adept at the basics, maybe I can show you a few katas, any?" Kushina said as she stroked Naruto's hair as his head lay in her lap. "I'd like that, although I think my dual kodachi are proper blades. They seem to cut through everything I need them to." Pfft. Why have 2 blades when one can do? Katanas rule all, databang. Naruto could only snicker in response and nod in agreement. If it made her happy, he'd learn as much about wielding a katana as he could. His time in the ANBU was not without lose, as a mission in Rice Country saw Same fall to one of Orochimaru's former followers. Due to his fall, Oto had been in disarray and ANBU teams were tasked with handling the most dangerous elements there. It had been a routine mission with the squad until they had to separate. There were 4 large chakra signatures in the area. Same and Gamma got stuck with 2 with interesting and lethal Kekai Genkai. One had Shoton, the other Shikatsumiyaku. Both were a bad matchup for Same, but seeing as how the bone guy looked sickly, it was decided Gamma would take the crystal girl and hurry back to him as fast as he could. The fight between Gamma and the Shoton user lasted longer than he would have liked, as the crystals offered powerful offensive and defensive options, managing to wound Gamma with a crystal spike. However, he managed to catch her off guard with a wind-empowered exploding kunai. While he wasn't enough to kill her, the blast threw her back and left her unprepared for the kunai that was sunk into her skull to the ring on the handle, killing her instantly. As Gamma raced off to help Same, he saw his comrade and friend being run through with a bone sword, as the bone user appeared to have an advanced form of the cursed seal. Trying to keep calm, Gamma created 4 Kage Bunshin and each charged toward his final opponent. One clone removed Same from the vicinity of the fight, while the others went on the attack. Even with wind chakra coating their blades, the cuts didn't do significant damage to the Oto Nin, which was fine. The attack was just a misdirection anyway. The Oto Nin didn't notice the 3 kunai surrounding him in a triangular fashion, nor was he fast enough to escape the fire barrier, the same barrier Gamma used in his entrance test. Gamma could tell the bone user looked smug, and it was all confirmed when he spoke. "You can trap me, little ANBU, but the barrier will eventually fall, and when it does I'll kill you like I did your comrade. You'll..." He didn't finish his diatribe as he was engulfed in white-hot flames, flames hot enough to melt steel or incinerate a body. Had this been 6 months previous, the now pile of ashes may have had a reason to be confident. But not being satisfied with just making a barrier, Naruto improved his technique so each elemental barrier offered a form of attack. Wind barriers offered a perfect vacuum in which to suffocate those entrapped. The lightning barrier could shock someone with increasing levels of intensity, and the fire barrier would burn someone alive. It was cold comfort, however, as even avenging his friend did little to dull the pain of having lost him. The trip back to Konoha was quiet for the squad as they mourned the fallen. It was, once again, Tsunade who helped Naruto through his grief, as she had experienced what not mourning properly could do to a person. Speaking of Tsunade, Naruto still lived at the Senju compound with her and Shizen. The investigation into the fire was completed shortly after he was inducted into ANBU, the duration caused by the thoroughness of the investigation. While Naruto was incredulous that the fire was caused by faulty wiring, the fact that the fire started on a level below his gave credence to the results. Deciding not to let his history override facts, he accepted the fire as an unfortunate accident off a poorly maintained building, one that got the building manager and owner into some serious trouble over. Tsunade is scary when she wants to be. Her ability to invoke terror is how she managed to make Naruto promise he'd have dinner with her at least twice a week if he were in town. When he initially moved into the compound, he attempted to stay out of Tsunade and Shizen's way, which lead to some faulty assumptions, namely, that he wasn't comfortable around them. After an awkward conversation, Naruto admitted that he had lived alone for so long he simply didn't know how to live with someone else, or be a proper guest, so he just tried to be as out of the way as possible. The two ladies reassured Naruto that he was more than just a guest and should think of the compound as his home. It took a while, but they all eventually settled into a nice groove. Naruto particularly loved the training grounds. They were serene, and it was a remote one where he was trying to take his Doton and Suiton manipulation to the next level after seeing the level Toritaicho was at the releases. It took a few months, mainly because he simply couldn't use his clones for this, but he eventually able to perfect the earth style, rampart of flowing soil, and the water style, waterfall basin jutsu, to the point he was able to create a 30-foot waterfall with only minimal chakra exhaustion. With some help from Toritaicho, adding a wooden water wheel and Jiraiya aiding in seals, Naruto was not only able to keep the waterfall a secret but make it a permanent part of the property. Both Tsunade and Shizen loved surprise. Naruto had taken to climbing up the waterfall with his hands as a chakra control exercise once he got used to running up it. He eventually asked Tsunade for some more strenuous exercises as the intensity of the ANBU training and his continued studies in Fuinjutsu, politics of elemental nations, and anything else that struck his fancy meant his already massive chakra reserves were continuing to expand, so he had to perform hard control exercises to keep up. Speaking of Jiraiya, the two have adopted something of a strained, yet professional, relationship. Jiraiya offers his input on Naruto's Fuinjutsu projects and spars when he's in town. He also introduced Naruto to Fukasaku-sama, one of the elder toads Naruto will be training with in year 3. The two got along well enough. Apparently, as long as you mind your manners, the old toad isn't so bad. Naruto's training time with Danzo had been limited the first year, not only getting adjusted to the demands of the ANBU lifestyle, but Danzo wanted to see how Naruto would develop without his guidance. He was impressed that his young pupil had not only sought to master every jutsu in his arsenal, but had begun experimenting with creating his own. This led to something of an uncomfortable meeting about 3 months ago on the Senju training grounds. "Sensei, what is the Sandame doing here?" "Naruto, for your ninjutsu studies to progress as far as they can, you need training from the greatest ninjutsu mind in the elemental nations, and Hiruzen has graciously offered to help. You may have reservations, but please know you are going to accept his help, like an adult, or I'll cane you and won't help you learn the vacuum release nor request Tsunadeheim let you see the Nidame's notes on his Suiton jutsu." "Ah, come on, sensei, no complaining." "Fine. I'll gladly accept your help, Sandame sensei." "Good, my boy. First, I need to see what you can do, so we'll have a spar," Hiruzen said with a gleam in his eyes. The spar was really more of a beating, with Naruto wasting chakra in between. The old man didn't even seem to be trying, which made Naruto revert back to some of his younger behavior. You could at least pretend to breathe hard, GG. Mean old Hokages, picking on teenagers." Hiruzen had to fight back his smile as Naruto continued to rant and rave. Time under Danzo or even Naruto's own attempts can only suppress the Uzumaki temper so much. Since Hiruzen began helping Naruto become a master of ninjutsu, there had been a slow thaw between the two, and while Naruto may never trust him like he did as a child, he hoped the boy could forgive an old fool before he departed for the pure world. Naruto had also begun to establish better relationships with much of his graduating class and Team Guy, with 2 exceptions. While Naruto had already started to develop a friendship with Team 10 due to his training with Asuma Sensei, he also found a great sparring partner in Lee during his off days with the ANBU. Him and Shino still got along well, though it took them some time to navigate the Hinata issues since neither wanted to betray her privacy, but Naruto still wanted to know she was doing okay. Speaking of Hinata, she had made Chunin shortly after Naruto entered the ANBU, and while he couldn't have direct contact with her, sneaking into the Hyuga compound and her room to leave her a gift, a necklace with a star-shaped charm with sapphire and amethyst gems in it. He also left her a scroll on creating privacy seals with just hand signs. He had the brightest smile when he saw her wearing her gift at the dinner the senseis threw for the new Chunins. He hadn't seen much of her, but he was aware she was being pushed to start accepting dates from potential suitors. As much as it hurt, he realized that this was going to happen. She requested he not wait for her, and it appeared she wouldn't have the choice to wait for him, and while he wasn't dating anyone he wasn't exactly alone, which brings us to the present. I really wish you wouldn't sneak out the window like we're doing something wrong or shameful. I know we aren't, it's just weird, being in my idol's house and you know. Why don't you explain it to me? Naruto said, fighting off a smirk. Ugh, you're insufferable. It's weird having sex with my best friend in my idol's house, okay? Is that what you want to hear? I heard what I wanted to hear last night. A whole lot of yes, oh, and my name's so I'm good. You're a bastard. Tenten said, now fighting off her own smirk and a bit of blush. That may be, Tenchan, that may be, but this bastard managed to snag you an awesome birthday present. Oh, really? Of course, it's in that black-rimmed scroll on the desk, but that's only part of it. Reaching for the storage scroll, Tenten unseals the content and is initially rendered speechless. Rushing over to Naruto, she plants a kiss on his lips and proceeds to thank him. How did you get these? It was during a mission about a month or so ago. We were tasked with removing this element in a mining town, and Raiga was there. You have to tell me about it. There really isn't much to tell, it wasn't much of fight. I had to seal off the chakra of this kid he was working with though. Anyway, after we dealt with him and freed the town, the squad agreed to let me keep the swords to give to a friend, and here we are. You, Tenten, are the proud owners of the Kiba blades. You sure do know how to spoil a girl, Uzumaki. I do what I do. I think I'm going to be late for training today. Tenten said as she starts to undress. Oh my, you said the Kiba were only part of my present, Tenten says. Oh, you remembered that, did you? Yes, while I was in the shower. Now what's the other part? I asked Kakashi-sensei to help you mold Raita chakra. Thank you, Naruto. She replied with a 1,000-watt smile. Of course, you've always been there for me and I can never truly thank you, so I figured, why not a legendary weapon? I can't fault your logic. Well, I need to get out of here. I'm incredibly late. Just tell Guy-sensei you were stoking your flames of you. I'd really rather not. You're coming to my party tonight, yes? Let me rephrase. Uzumaki, you will be at my part tonight, and if I have to come find you, you won't be happy. God, fine Panda-chan, I'll be there. Good, and no fighting. What the hell kind of thing is that to say? I don't just go around fighting people, you know. I can think of 2 specific instances where that was not the case. They were both being assholes. Also, we never actually fought, if you recall. Yes, because you were stopped. Or do you not remember breaking Shino's hand? He should have just let me deck Kiba and I felt crappy that I hurt him. But no one got hurt the other time, because I stopped you. Look, I don't have time for this. They'll both be there. Just make polite for me. Fine for you. Thank you, now I'm off. Tenten says as she hops out the window and leaves via Shunshin. Deciding to start his day, Naruto showers and changes into some casual clothing before heading to the kitchen where he finds Shizen with the unsettling grin. Ohio, Naruto-kun. Ohio, Shizen. What's with the grin? Oh, nothing, I just heard the most peculiar sounds last night. And this morning, I saw someone make a hasty exit from your bedroom window. Really? I may have to look into the security seals then. We shouldn't have intruders where the Hokage resides. Is that how you want to play this? I don't have the foggiest as to what you mean, Shizen-chan. Okay, but remember, you wanted this. Anyway, what's on the agenda today? I have to meet the new member of my squad today and Tenten has her party tonight, but other than that my day is pretty open, so who knows. Alright, well, I've got to get to the hospital, but I'll be seeing you later, stud. Oh, Tenten, glad you could make it. Sorry, sensei, I had a late start. It's fine, Lee and Niji are sparring so we have a bit. Oh, my rival informed me that Naruto got you a most youthful present. Kakashi said he'd be by before training ended it to set up a schedule. The two walk over to where Lee and Niji were concluding their spar. Hi Tenten, happy birthday. Thanks Lee. Guy and Lee soon depart to stoke their youthful flames, leaving Tenten and Niji alone. Tenten, I noticed you were coming from the opposite direction of your apartment. Good morning to you too, Niji. I see you're still consorting with the Uzumaki. I don't see how that's any of your business. You had the opportunity to be the one I consort with and you turned me down. It isn't that simple. There are clan matters to consider. I'm not free to simply do as I wish without consequence. So you've said, and yet you didn't even take a chance. At least Hinata and Naruto were brave enough to try to be together. You won't even see if it's possible. So now what? You won't be with me but no one else can either? What do you want me to do? I've been cursed, fated to serve and be controlled by the main branch, and you do nothing to change it. Do you ally yourself with Hinata? Do you try learning Fuinjutsu? Do you even try to get me information on the seals so I or Naruto could begin to help you? No, you just sulk and bitch while laying down and taking it. You do nothing to improve your situation, and yet you have the nerve to judge me? To shame me, you arrogant prick, Tenten. I've apologized about that, and yet you always feel free to offer a snide comment about one of my oldest friends, someone who was there for me when you rejected me. Who was willing to defend me, to hell with the consequences. Look, I can accept you don't want to be with me. I was hoping you'd either take a chance or if not we could still be friends, but now I'm not sure I even want to remain on the team. I won't be a perpetual target for your disrespect. I'm not Hinata and I don't feel like I owe you a damn thing. Before Niji could respond, Tenten leaves via Shunshin. Niji's feelings of guilt quickly turn to anger, as he deems the source of his rift with Tenten to be caused not by his actions nor, ironically, by fate but by Naruto himself. Having selecting a sufficient target, Niji heads off to find the Uzumaki to confront him once and for all. Back at the Senju compound, we find Naruto currently sitting by the Senju waterfall, as he called it, entertaining company. So, why am I here again? Because I want to bro down with my favorite summons. You're just bored, aren't you? I'm so incredibly bored, Gamakichi. Why not train? I have something to do later on, so no getting sweaty before then. Garden? I've seen to it. Daikons are nearly ready to be picked. Ooh, awesome, you'll have to send me a few. Of course. What about working on some seals? Considered it. I don't want to lose time because I'm too involved. Besides, I need some non-shinobi hobbies. Well, you're in quite the pickle, bro. That's what I've been saying. Before Naruto finishes his statement, he lets out a hard sigh as he senses someone approaching. Looks like I won't be bored for long. Kami must want to teach me a lesson. What's that now? There's someone on his way here and this person isn't a fan of me nor I him. I should have enjoyed the lull. Oh well, let's get ready to greet our guest, any? I'm down. Think you'll fight? Hopefully not. It would upset Tenten and Hinata if I hurt him. Well, I got your back. Thanks, Kichi. Moments later, a seething, for a Hyuga anyway, Niji arrives. Yuzu, do you often come on clan compounds uninvited? I hope you have a good justification for this lapse in decorum. You realize the Hokage resides, yes? Since when do you care about decorum? Logical fallacies won't save you. Now, why have you disturbed my toad friend and I? Whatever your relationship with Tenten is, it needs to end. Niji, we've done this before. I'm not interested in doing it again. Leave the grounds and never attempt to bring this up again. Naruto says as he turns his back to Niji toward the waterfall. I will not be dismissed by you, Uzumaki. You will cease this unsorted relationship even if I have to make you. Naruto can only laugh at this foolish boy, angering Niji further. Niji, we've done this before. What Tenten and I do is none of your business. If you want it to be your business, then find your backbone, coward. Now reaching his breaking point, Niji dashes toward Naruto, causing him to turn and face him just as Niji lashes out with a palm strike directly to Naruto's heart. A potentially fatal blow if this Naruto weren't a shadow clone. Before Niji can process what he just attempted to do, he feels a hand grab his right calf, and then everything goes black. When Niji regains consciousness, he sees that he is on a couch in Hayashi's office, with Hayashi, Naruto, and Hinata looking at him expectantly. Now that he's awake, we can resolve this. Your member entered the Senju clan grounds uninvited and proceeded to attack me. The Hokage will have to be informed about this as it is her clan grounds and I am her guest. I hope you and she can resolve this issue without too much hassle, Hayashi-san. Naruto said before dispersing. Bristling at the lack of proper honorific, Hayashi glares at Niji. Niji, because of your foolhardy actions you have likely shamed the clan. I don't know what I'll have to do to resolve this, but it will likely leave me on even shakier ground with the Hokage. Someone, I might add, who is not exactly fond of me. If it were Sarutobi-sama we could have come to an understanding, but with Tsunade? She will want a pound of flesh, so you need to explain to me what was worth you attempting to kill a fellow Leaf Nin on the Hokage's familial land. It was a personal matter, Hayashi-sama. The Uzumaki has a way of infuriating me and I lost my composure. It will not happen again. No, that is not good enough. This is the second time I have heard about you attempting to attack him, only this time you got your ass handed to you. Hayashi-sama, he used tricks. The Uzumaki could never defeat me in combat. Are you really this foolish? Niji, he brought you here, knocked out and tied up with ninja wire. If that had been any enemy he'd have killed you, possibly after having removed your eyes. You are not a child, you insisting that tricks do not count could get you killed someday. Hi, Hayashi-sama. Will that be all? For now. As Niji exits, Hayashi turns to address Hinata. You were awfully quiet on this issue. I'm sorry, what was I to say? Hinata asks, adopting an emotionless mask. As the heiress, you are expected to have opinions on matters that affect the clan. I'm not sure what opinion there is to be had. Niji's error is on you to fix. Seems pretty straightforward. Will you be present at this meeting? No, I have other matters to attend to. If I may be excused. Yes, Hinata, go on. Thank you. Hayashi can only slouch in an unhyuga-like manner as he thinks. She doesn't even refer to me as father anymore. Allow for the moment to pass. Hayashi prepares to meet Tsunade and hopes she's not out for blood. Entering ANBU HQ, Naruto sees his squad has already gathered. Am I late? He asks. No, Gamma, we've actually all just got here early. Let me formally introduce you to our new permanent squad member, Hibi. Hello Hebe, nice to have you on board. Thank you, Gamma-san. So Gamma, since you weren't here for your entry test, why not show her around and familiarize her with our schedule? Hi Taicho. Hebe, if you can follow me. As the two walk around the HQ, Naruto informs her of their training schedule and primary responsibilities as a squad along with the specializations of each squad member. So, what would be your specialty, Hebe? Taijutsu, poisons and interrogation. Excellent, with those you should fit right in. How about ninjutsu? What are your affinities? Primarily Suiton with a weaker right on secondary. Awesome. If you ever want help with your Suiton jutsu, let me know. You have a Suiton affinity? Yes, but I've completed the nature manipulation exercises for every element but lightning. That's impressive. No wonder you're the ninjutsu specialist on the team. Scratching the back of his head at the praise, Naruto can only nod at the compliment as he finishes the tour. Do you know what kind of weapon you'll be wielding for your kenjutsu requirement? I was thinking a ninjado. Cool. Rayon will be the biggest aide in the squad, Nico Taicho in the entire ANBU. What about you? Primarily, I use dual kodachi, but I have been learning forms with the katana as well. Bit of a jack of all trades, I take it, I guess. More than likely I just need hobbies that don't revolve around the shinobi arts. You could get a girlfriend. My, so forward, Hebe-chan, and we've only just met. Why, I don't even know what you look like out of your mask. First, if you must use an honorific, I will be called Hebeheim. Secondly, I didn't say it'd be me, Gamma-chan. Wait. If I can't call you Hebe-chan, then there is no way you'll be calling me Gamma-chan. Why not? It fits. Something about you just says Gamma-chan. As your senpai, I will have to insist you not call me that, and as your Taicho, I must insist she does. Tora said from behind the pair. Ah, that's mean, Taicho. Naruto says as Hebe and Tora laugh at his predicament. Tsunade-sama, Hayashi-sama is here to see you. Thank you, Shizen, escort him in. Shizen left and promptly returned with Hayashi, who had been dreading this meeting. Times have not been great for the Hyuga clan head for the year or so. The clan has been stagnating. New business ventures have been drying up, going to competing concerns, and if that weren't bad enough, it is starting to filter through the nation that Hayashi does not have the influence with the Godame that he had with the Sandame. This, of course, has angered the elders of his clan and has only increased the pressure upon him. His only saving grace is that these same elders are in no rush to see Hinata take over as clan head, fearing the changes she would instill, but that doesn't mean they can be a perpetual pain in Hayashi's ass. Tsunade-sama, Hayashi says with a polite bow. Thank you for coming, Hayashi. It appears we have some issues to discuss. Yes, one of my clansmen attacked a guest on your estate. How can we remedy this before things escalate? Oh, there won't be any need for that. Naruto explained what happened. Said it was just poor little boy with unresolved feelings. Asked me to just let the issue lie, which I've agreed to. Thank you, Tsunade-sama. Don't. I also issued Naruto an order. If Niji should attack him again, Naruto is to treat him as a threat and respond to any acts of violence with extreme prejudice. Tsunade-sama, you can't be serious. Why can't I? Naruto isn't Niji's punching bag, and I'm not going to let his attachments get him hurt. All of this is moot as long as Niji never attempts to attack him again. I won't stand for this. You're telling me you've ordered my nephew's death and you expect me to be okay with it? Hayashi, look at me. What makes you think I'm concerned about what you will and won't stand for? I've shown you mercy, I expect gratitude. As far as your nephew is concerned, it's my understanding that you're partially the reason he's wound so tightly to begin with. He hates the main branch but can't lash out at you, so he picks weaker targets. Hurt people, Hayashi. I will not be discussing internal clan issues with you, but it strikes me that you've issued this order specifically because it's against the Hyuga clan. Think what you wish, it matters not. So is this how it's going to be between us, Tsunade-sama? Needlessly antagonistic? How have I antagonized you, Hayashi? How have I harmed you? You've ordered a seasoned ANBU to murder my clansman should he step out of line. I've ordered an honored guest of the Senju to defend himself against a known threat. You make it sound like Niji will, no matter what, attack Naruto again. He may. I've impressed upon him how bad it would be, but he may. I don't think he deserves to have his life ended if he should. Are you serious? I know you don't value Naruto, but that stupid boy tried to turn his heart to mush. You keep this up and I'll execute the little fuckhead myself. Hayashi, don't test my patience. He isn't being charged with anything. Your clan isn't being sanctioned. Nothing has happened, and as long as you keep your clan members under control, nothing will, for now. But what about the next time you have a convenient reason to take action against my clan? Hayashi, can you just say what you want to say? Fine, Hokage-sama. You've never been a fan of my clan, this is well known, but ever since I made Hinata choose, you've all but openly hostile toward me. I know you've taken to the boy, but that doesn't give you the right to try to dictate internal clan matters. How have I tried to interfere in your clan? Give me one specific example. If you can't, stop making things up. And if I happen not to like you because of something you did, actions have consequences for everyone, even the great Hayashi Hyuga. So, you don't even bother to deny it. Deny what? That I don't like you? Sure, not a fan. That's not illegal, Hayashi, and all over that boy. It's absurd. What's absurd is keeping two people who care about each other, who have been nothing but good for each other, away from each other. I have my reasons, not that I need explain myself. Oh yes, I'm aware of your reasons, Hayashi. Can't even bother to form your own opinion, so you base your decision off what you think the Sandane felt, not even checking to see if the man has changed his opinion. A cynical person might assume this was an attempt to rein in an heiress that might be getting a bit uncontrollable, one not so tied to tradition. Start making her make compromises early until you manage to compromise her so nothing has to change. Hayashi looked as if he'd be struck. He couldn't deny that part of his motivation was to make sure Hinata wouldn't uproot too many of the Hyuga traditions, firmly believing that ties to the past is what give a clan substance. He knew he was being unduly cruel when he said Naruto had nothing to offer the clan, and if Minato and Kushina were still alive he'd likely have been run through with either Kushina's katana or those damn chains. But simply keeping Hinata in line wasn't his only motivation. War is on the horizon, Tsunade, he said barely above a whisper. Shocked at how defeated he sounded, Tsunade allowed the breach in decorum. I may be a hard man, some say unbending, but I do love my children. I know how happy those two make each other, but Naruto's burden has made him a marked man and the shinobi world has been at a state of peace for too long. If he manages to survive the Akatsuki threat, what of IWA? Should any senior IWA shinobi ever get a good look at him, they'd likely mobilize a platoon of assassins just at the mere possibility that he is Minato's son. Kumo may do the same. Or they may come after those he cares about. Kumo would think nothing of trying to kidnap Hinata again. I won't tie my daughter to someone who will likely be at the center of the next shinobi war. An upcoming war is mere speculation, and Naruto won't be facing Akatsuki alone, nor will he be underprepared. Oh, I've heard. Some estimates have him as a low A-ranked shinobi. Not even 2 full years of dedicated training and he's lapped everyone in his generation. Did you ever think that a legitimate S-ranked Jinchuriki, one who achieved the ranking without the aid of his bijou, might be enough of a spark? But as you said, Hayashi, this is all speculation. We all lead dangerous lives. Trying to socially engineer Hinata a long-term partner is folly, Hayashi. There is time, don't alienate your heiress over what might happen. If that is all, Hokage-sama. Yes, Hayashi, you're dismissed. Tenten's party was taking place on the roof of her parents' weapons supply shop. Since it's a fairly large retail space, there was plenty of room for all the guests to dance and mingle. Some well-placed seals also ensured it would not be too cold. All of the rookies had already arrived before him, Naruto noticed. How he just wanted to go home, but he knew he had to be here for Tenten, so he sucked it up and sought out the birthday girl and sees she's talking with Lee. Happy birthday, Tenten, he says while giving her a quick hug. Thanks, she said, smiling. The three shinobi continue conversing until Hinata calls everyone around so Tenten may start opening her gifts. The party was undeniably fun, and around midnight everyone starts to clear out. Naruto leaves some shadow clones to clean up the roof while he, Tenten, and teammate make their exit from the building. So, Naruto, I notice you didn't get Tenten a gift. You really are a cheap bastard, said Kiba. Every member of the group save Naruto, and Tenten himself tensed at Kiba's barb. He gave me my present earlier, Kiba, and if he hadn't, it was not your place to mention it. I can defend myself. Oh, I'm sure he did give it to you earlier, Kiba said with a lecherous grin, making both Tenten and Hinata uncomfortable at the barely hid insinuation. Naruto was not uncomfortable. He was not even angry. There was no need. He understood that there was a jaw in need of breaking. The best kind of problems are the ones with immediate solutions. Before he could turn to Kiba and carry out his newly formed plan. Goal of shutting Kiba's mouth, Shino spoke up. I intervened once on your behalf. I felt professional ethics and our burgeoning friendship required as much. However, what I chose to believe as a slip of a brash, loose-lipped but overall decent person was clearly mistaken. You intended to cause harm when you revealed something you had no right to, and while I've never blamed either of you for my broken hand, I had hoped it would forestall future conflict. Not this time, Shino. He needs to learn to watch his fucking mouth, Naruto said, barely restraining his temper. Shino simply raises his hand in an attempt to calm his friend, knowing how quickly things could escalate. Naruto, I don't disagree, but please escort Tenten home while I talk to my teammate. Fine, Shino. If you're free, let's grab some lunch tomorrow. I'll see you there. Waiting for the two to leave, Shino stares at Kiba. You need to grow up, Kiba. Whatever issues you have with Naruto need to be resolved. I have no issues with the dead last. Is it my fault he can't take a joke? Kami, I didn't know it was such a big secret. Maybe not, but let's not play games. You outed Tenten and Naruto in an attempt to embarrass him in front of me, Hinata said. What's sad is that I already knew, while both were attempting to be discreet, I had noticed a change in how they interacted and deduced that while not fully romantic, their relationship had turned physical. No one needed you to announce it, she said before departing herself. That isn't the way to win her, although you've likely lost any chance of that happening. I don't get it. I don't get why you and she are so drawn to him. Hell, even my mother seems to love that useless shinobi. I don't get it. Who says you need to? I do. I need to know what makes him so special. I want someone to explain it to me. He was always a loser, someone who couldn't even throw a proper punch, and now you all act as if he's heads and shoulders above the rest. Why do you care? Naruto's increase in skill does not prevent your own. I find this illogical, because it wasn't supposed to be like this. It was one thing to always be behind Sasuke, to not be as smart as you or Shikamaru. But to be surpassed by that joke of a ninja is a step too far. He isn't as good as he pretends, and I'll prove. When you meet him tomorrow, tell him I want to spar. No restrictions. Fine, Kiba, I will inform him, said a clearly displeased Shino. What? Concerned he won't accept the challenge? No, I'm concerned because I know he will, Shino says and then leaves via Shunshin. At the request of Naruto, this is Lunar Shinobi Spar. While killing and maiming are strictly prohibited, the winner is determined by successfully incapacitating your opponent and bringing them back to me. However, if I get a sense things are getting out of hand, I will step in, understood? Said Kakashi. Hi, both opponents said. Both shinobi walked toward the forest with their companions in tow. Hey Kichi, remember what we talked about? Said Naruto, wearing a midnight blue ensemble with a matching bandana to cover his hair. Instead of his kodachi, he has 2 rattans equipped with earth chakra seals to reinforce the wood sticks. The rattans were Asuma's idea, a way to get used to dual wielding without harming himself or his sparring partner. He enjoyed practicing with the sticks, so he kept it up. Gamakichi is also covered in a midnight blue cloak that hides his orange skin and head. Yeah, I gotcha, bro. You just stay sharp out there and have fun. Naruto can only chuckle in response, remembering when Shino informed him of the challenge. Naruto, he wishes to challenge you to a spar. I heard you, Shino. I'm just amazed how talented Kiba is at making poor choices. I'm guessing you didn't try to talk him out of this. It would have fallen on deaf ears. Kiba is fixated on you, as if every step forward you take causes him to take one back. I think you two need this. Naruto silently considers the offer. He can beat Kiba without much problem. That's not being arrogant, it's just a simple reality. Naruto's skill set, his Doton and Suiton releases along with his Fuinjutsu allows him to control the terrain. Add his ability with shadow clones and he's a one-man assault squad, lethal at any range. But that'd almost be an issue in itself. Beat him too quickly and Kiba won't be humbled. No, he has to give Kiba an apparent advantage and then strip it away from him. Shino could see Naruto's mind at work. The foxy grin adorning the blonde's face is confirmation enough that Naruto is planning something troublesome. I'll do it, Shino, but on one condition. A lunar spar, in 2 days. Naruto sees Shino quirk his eyebrow, but his friend only nods as he exits the table, piecing together what his friend has in store for his teammate. I'd almost pity Kiba if he had not brought this on himself. I wish I could disagree with you. Of course I'll root for my student, but I think Kiba has bitten off more than he can chew. Kurenai said. Yeah, but this is probably for the best. Naruto might play with him a bit and bruise his ego, but it's better than an outright beating, chimed in Asuma before taking a drag of his cigarette. Troublesome blonde. What chica? Asked Ino. Given the phase of the moon, there is very little visibility tonight. That would appear to give Kiba a definite advantage, so why would Naruto be the one to request a nighttime spar? If this was the Naruto from the academy, I would just call it poor planning, answered Choji. Yes, but that Naruto is long gone, if he was ever real. It means he either has a way to neutralize Kiba's advantage, or he's saying they wouldn't be enough to improve his chances anyway, countered Shikamaru. Okay, gentlemen, you have 1 hour or until there is a victor. Hajime. And with Kakashi's signal, Naruto and Gamakichi disappear with a burst of speed. As soon as the entry to the forest is out of sight, Naruto and Gamakichi separate. Naruto starts flooding the area with his chakra, making it near impossible to locate him with by non-visual means. After 15 seconds of flooding the forest with his presence, he cuts it off and hides his chakra signature completely, one of the first things Kakashi taught him to do. Naruto's gambit affected Kiba and Akamaru as both failed to pinpoint his specific location. Coming to the conclusion that tracking by smell would do them no good, they duo focus on sound. Hearing movement, both head in that direction. Once they arrive, both attempt to extend their senses to locate any movement but sense nothing. The duo would only have to look up in a tree behind them to see Naruto, perfectly masking his presence until it is time to strike. As fast as he finished the thought, he sees Gamakichi descend upon Akamaru, placing a knockout seal on the Niken. As Kiba turns to defend Akamaru, he is struck in his left knee by one of Naruto's rattan, giving Gamakichi time to abscond with the hound. Kiba barely has time to think as Naruto plants a roundhouse on the distracted Inuzuka's jaw, sending him to the forest floor as Naruto heads to atop the trees once again. If this was going to be the sum total of your challenge, why even bother? Naruto said, his voice projected, not giving away his location. What did you do to Akamaru, bastard? The Inuzuka yelled but received no response. Rubbing his jaw and trying to shake off the effects of the kick, Kiba tries, again, to pinpoint where Naruto could be, but had no success until he felt a quick chakra spike. Turning to the direction of the spike, Kiba is met with a cloud of ash. Naruto had performed the fire style, ash pile burning, but did not ignite the ash cloud, instead removing sight and smell from the Inuzuka. Kiba instantly begins to cough due to the unexpected cloud. Attempting to ready himself for an assault, he is instantly struck in the neck, then the heart, followed by the lungs and finished with the liver. Once the final attack is delivered, Naruto returns atop the trees, slashing the carotid artery, stabbing the heart, lungs, or liver. Had I used a bladed weapon, you'd be worse off than just a little pain. That's twice now I could have finished this, and if we were enemies, twice now I would have taken your life. Potentially moved on to your teammates and killed them too. All because of you, Kiba. As much as he wants to respond, Kiba is simply in too much pain. The liver shot left him gasping for air, which only made him inhale more of the ash cloud. Retreating to another part of the forest, Kiba hopes to buy himself some time and maybe think of a strategy for Naruto. His hope was for naught, as he soon found himself with a noose of ninja wire around his neck, with Naruto descending from a branch above until the two-leaf knee met in the middle of the air. Kiba, all I would have to do is focus some wind chakra into this wire, and I'd have beheaded you. Trust me, I've done it before. Naruto whispered, recalling a particularly gruesome moment of inspiration. Poor Oto-ni never saw it coming. Seeing that there wasn't much more to be done, Naruto hits Kiba in the back of his head, knocking him out. He then drops to the ground, catching Kiba as he falls and removing the ninja wire from his neck. He then shunsins to Kakashi so he can call it. Not even 10 minutes, you get bored too easily, stated Kakashi, looking at the heap known as Kiba on the ground and his student scratching the back of his head. You know I'm not one to play with my food. Besides, I could have ended it at 3 different times. Figured the point was proven. Besides, it's getting late and I want to get to bed. As the two continued talking, Kiba began to stir. Looking to see everyone he realizes he lost. Feeling utterly humiliated, Kiba does the only thing he could think of. He lashes out at Naruto. I thought you wanted to fight like a man, not run and hide like a bitch. You're still the dead last, couldn't fight me straight up, so you had to play games and cheat shot me. Coward. He all but roared, which earned him a shrug from Naruto. No point in arguing when there is sleep to be had. Yeah, turn and walk away. Maybe that's why Heishi forbade her from seeing you. Hyugas prefer their women to be with real me, real shinobi, Kiba said with a smirk. Everyone tensed as Naruto stopped moving, his head down and eyes closed. You're going to at least cripple him, yes? I'll even lend some of my chakra, said Kurama. No, I promised Sam I wouldn't hurt him too bad, but I will hurt him, replied Naruto. As the exchange with Kiba was taking place, Asuma and Kurenai hurried over to Kakashi and the pair of Chunin. Kiba, how dare you? You've embarrassed yourself and this team. Apologize right now. I refuse. Nothing I've said is wrong. It's okay, Kurenai-san. I wouldn't want an insincere apology anyway, Naruto said, still with his back turned to Kiba and his head down. Kiba, you requested a shinobi spar and were given just that. Am I to include what you truly wanted was a simple fight? Of course, dope. No hiding, no bitch shit. Just us going at it. You want to have a go at me? Man, I used to think you wanted Hinata. This is so awkward. Sensei, I'm sure you've been in this situation before. How do you handle it? I want to be supportive but not lead him on. Kakashi and Asuma both laugh, which only infuriates Kiba all the more as he begins to move toward Naruto before being stopped by Kurenai. Sensei, if you would referee one final spar, I think I can humor Kiba. And since he took a bit of a beating while I'm still fresh, I'll only use Swate Unjutsu. Does this sound fair to everyone? The 3 Jonin look at each other, all recognizing this as a bad idea. Kurenai tries to reason with Kiba. Kiba, you've had your spar and you lost. Just leave it be and move on. Besides, Akamaru is still unconscious. Sensei, I can't. I won't let Naruto look down on me. I'd have to care to look down on you. I'd be more than happy to be indifferent toward you if you knew how to shut up. I thought the humiliation in the forest would humble you, but you clearly need an audience. Screw you. I accept. Kiba says, which causes Naruto to smile. A true smile. Oh, how he loves to unleash his Suite Unjutsu. Kakashi has the two separate before signaling for them to begin. Hajime, he says, and the two stay perfectly still. Kiba looks calculating, Naruto looks unconcerned. Having enough of the inaction, Kiba launches forward with a Gotsuga, assuming he's too close for Naruto to dodge. Water style, water formation wall, Naruto whispers as a massive all of water emerges from his mouth, causing Kiba to run into it head first, knocking him out again. Ah, damn it, I had a whole thing planned and he's already knocked out. Oh well, I'm going to bed, good night all. Yo, Kichi, let's bounce. He's been knocked out twice, I've got to get him to the hospital. As Kurenai and Shino leave with Kiba in tow, Team 10 also departs, leaving on Kakashi and Asuma. That was embarrassing, said Kakashi, completely. Agreed Asuma. Walking into his room, Naruto notices something wrong. Turning on his light, he sees his bedroom covered in pink. Pink bedsheets, pink pillows. He goes into his closet and sees nothing but women's clothing. He then comes across a note on his desk, also in pink. Hi Naruto-chan, do you like how I redecorated your room? Pretty bitchin', right? Let this be a lesson to you, don't obfuscate with your Nei-chan. Nah, I like Nei-sama. Yes, that'll do. Now, I know you considered yourself something of a prankster in your youth, but if you retaliate I'll make you take a full physical with that old guy with the creepy ghost hands you tried to drown that one time. For a week. Yep, a whole week of some creepy dude fondling your junk. Anyway, tomorrow during breakfast you and we are going to gab like girlfriends. Dress appropriately or there will be consequences. Sincerely, Shizen-isama. You win this round, you psychotic spinster, but there will be payback. Over the final 6 months before Naruto left with Jiraiya, his squad's directive had changed from primarily neutralizing Oto bases to focusing on supports within the Akatsuki network. By focusing on their sources of income, the hope was to either delay them or to make the organization get sloppy and start making mistakes. The information provided by Jiraiya's network, and unbeknownst to most everyone Itachi and Kisame, helped tremendously. Through investigation, what the team discovered is that while the organization has done missions for smaller villages in the past, and even a few for Suna, their primary source for major work is IWA. Tsunade reasoned that IWA may be using the Akatsuki so they don't have to send their best Jonan on high-risk missions while preparing for war, with the added benefit of having the Akatsuki be a distraction from what IWA is planning. Danzo and Hiruzen counseled that it would be a mistake to focus too much on IWA contacts, as it may give away that Konoha knows what Onoki is planning. Agreeing with logic, Tsunade informed Dragon to only move on a single high-value target within Earth Country but sow dissent and distrust with other links in Akatsuki's support chain. So, that is what his squad has been doing, more subterfuge than direct combat, though there was plenty of that. Due to the more delicate infiltration missions required, the squad was paired off and Naruto got assigned Hibi. She was good at information retrieval, no denying that, but he was ambivalent about his ANBU partner. He'd have to admit that training with her has been a fun and unique experience, but Hibi is weird. For one, she insists they need a theme song. That in itself is fine, but she also says she deserves top billing. Over her senpai, no less. Everyone knows Gamma puts the asses in the seats. When he pointed out that ain't nobody came to see you Hibi, he had to dodge poison Saban for an hour. Not just because he thought he was the star of the show, which she vigorously denies he is, but also because he called her Hibi when she is to be addressed as Hibiheim. Every time, she was quite insistent on that. She also criticizes his on-the-field performance. Hey, Gamma-chan? Yes, Hibi. She glares at him. Even through the mask he can feel the glare. Heim. You're our ninjutsu specialist, yes? Yes, I am. We were just in a combat situation, yes? The dead bodies would suggestion that, yes. So why don't you ever use any freaking ninjutsu? You always finish things with your kodachi, maybe a seal of some sort, but no ninjutsu. Do you even have any ninjutsu? I'm starting to wonder. We've yet to be in a situation that required me to use any. I could just fling them about like those, pointing to the fallen rain Nin, amateurs, but I am a refined ninjutsu practitioner, and as such my standards are different. He said, and then felt her eyes roll. He felt it. How is an eye roll that powerful, he wondered. Whatever, we're having a spar when we get back to HQ, ninjutsu only. Fine, but when I son you don't complain. I heard you once did a spar restricting yourself to nothing but Suitan. How about we do that? Oh, does Hibiheim want Gamma to get her wet? Naruto asks and is immediately hit in his side. Shut up. She yelled through laughs. Just grab the Raijin no Ken so we can leave. Oh, I'm the senpai here. All in all, the two work incredibly well together, and have yet to fail a mission, and were gaining a reputation within ANBU as quite the fearsome duo. It had taken 4 months to identify that high-valued IWA target, and another month to get adequate information to plan his assassination, which had been assigned to Naruto. While researching the guy, who owned several mines throughout Earth Country, which while profitable were a Weiso front for IWA Black Ops. That meant that his security team were actually IWA Jonan, or at the very least High Chunin. By most conventional analysis, he was most vulnerable at his office building, but that was only in a relative sense. He always had 2 guards posted outside his door, with a squad of 8 within the other floors of the building and 4 more posted outside. Naruto was never one for conventional means, and thanks to his gender-changing transformation, he didn't need them. It was almost disappointing how easy it was to lead the target around by his dick. Gamma gained access to his secure compound in a matter of days with just a little flirting. It just goes to show that the best security in the world can't save someone from themselves. As soon as the target and Gamma, hinged as a naive and innocent blonde named Ani, were alone, said target found himself with a sebin coated with a neurotoxin in his neck. He'd have to thank Hebe for that someday. After placing the target's body in a scroll, Gamma created a shadow clone and had it hinge as the blonde while Gamma transformed into his now dead target. Gamma could have escaped, but Hiro Saido, the target's name, however, was the entirety of the mission. If possible, Gamma was to eliminate his guardian detail, which Gamma figured would be easier in the building once it had cleared out for the day. While waiting for that, Gamma managed to copy secure documents. Very little of it regarded the Akatsuki, but there was some information regarding IWA that Commander Dragon and Tsunade-sama might be interested in. Gamma was also able to pilfer some funds from Hiro's secret accounts. It'd take a team of forensic accountants weeks to pull apart where the money ended up. A boring but useful lesson from Danzo-sensei. The end of the business day came, and it was time to put his plan in motion. Hiro called out to his guards, and the 2 immediately entered the office only to be greeted with kunai coming for them. The 2 experienced shinobi easily dodged the projectiles and promptly went to attack, failing to realize the kunai were hinged shadow clones. The oversight cost them, as both had kunai plunged into their brain stem before they could carry out the assault. Naruto had his shadow clones hinge into one of the fallen guards each and sealed the originals. He then made a shallow wound to his side and burst a blood pack over it to make it look more severe. With a nod, one of the clones jumped out the window while the other propped the wounded hero as the final part of the operation began. One Naruto and the guard made it down to another pair of the detail. The clone killed one immediately. Hiro, what the fuck is going on? We've been betrayed. I've suspected for a while now. The Tsuchikage told me to look into it, and I just came across the financial proof. Half the detail has been compromised. Nero attempted to kill me in my office and is likely informing his accomplices. They can't let us leave alive, so they'll likely storm the building. We need to weed out the traitors still inside as fast as we can. Okay, what do you want me to do? Who can we trust? None of the outside guard. They were likely meant to be the extraction team. With him gone, that leaves 3 more we have to take care of. They likely have been alerted yet, so can I trust you to handle Kiko and Jean? Yes, they should be on the 2nd floor now. Go, and Godspeed. Outside the building. Nero, what was that? What's going on? Hiro, he's betrayed us. He tried to have me killed. The detail has been compromised. He has at least 4 working with him. We have to storm the building. You know how much sensitive information he has access to. Go get the others. Meet back here. Go, now. Inside the building. Naruto didn't have to extend his senses to tell the IWA drone, what's his name, had finished his mission, while he and his shadow clone had successfully killed 3 more, leaving 5 in total ready to defend the building. They gathered on the 2nd floor. Hiro, you don't look too good. A mere flesh wound, boy. They are coming to take the building. We don't know if they have additional forces waiting for us, so dragging this out is a bad idea. We need to meet them on the ground floor and end this. They all nodded in agreement. Why? There's no point to this fight. For Jonan, even with an injured person in tow, could evade capture. They wouldn't have had that many more men stationed to buttress the extraction if things went pear-shaped. This is just a failure of shinobi tactics, Naruto thinks as his team makes its way to fend off the traitors. Close quarters makes for crappy conditions for Doton Jutsu, so the rival shinobi decide to all engage in close quarter combat. Naruto rolled his eyes. They aren't even attempting to make this difficult. He draws 2 kunai and launches them. Kunai Shadow Clone Jutsu, he said, and the 2 kunai became 10. As soon as they reached the IWA Nin, Naruto flared his chakra and let off a mighty explosion, killing the rivals, including his 2 shadow clones. Using a burst of wind chakra, Naruto clears the debris to make sure all targets have been eliminated. Once confirming this is the case, Naruto summons 10 shadow clones and gives them a nod, subsequently vanishing without a trace. Boss finally did it. Why are you excited? We already know he can do it. It's still damn cool to see. Take that, Minato team. Whatever, can we just collapse the damn building already? High 9 clones said in unison before running through the hand signs for Naruto's first original Doton Jutsu. Earth-style, seismic collapse jutsu, they stated while slamming their hands onto the ground. Moments later, an earthquake ripped through the foundation of the building, leaving the supporting structure unstable. The shadow clones disperses just as the building started to collapse in on itself. Getting the memory from his clones, Naruto can only smile at a job well done. 3 days later, Naruto is in the Hokage office with Tsunade, Jiraiya, Danzo, Hiruzen, Kakashi, and Shizen. Tsunade was reading over a report with a slight smile. Chunin Uzumaki, do you know why you've been called here today? No, Hokage-sama, Naruto replies, and is sincere. While he leaves tomorrow, he didn't think he had any official business left before his departure. As I'm sure you've been told, there are no training wheels in the ANBU. Everything is a trial by fire, including the Jonan exam. To become a Jonan in the ANBU, the agent must successfully complete an S-ranked mission alone, flawlessly, which you did. It is my great honor to bestow upon you the rank of Jonan, Naruto Uzumaki. May you continue to serve with honor. Tsunade said as she gave Naruto a Jonan vest. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Naruto said, with a face-splitting grin. After receiving congratulations from all in the office, Naruto left to prepare for his departure and promotion, dinner later tonight wearing his Jonan vest. In IWA, I've had the nation's best forensic accounts pull apart the transfers. Tell me, why did money from my Black Ops front make its way into shell companies that can be traced back to Rain? I don't know, Tsuchikage-sama. We've been being hit pretty hard. Someone is setting us up. Maybe, Daidarakun, maybe. Or your leader is preparing to turn on IWA. All I know is what I've told you. He is pretty tight-lipped about his ultimate goal. But we will start moving in a year's time, hard and fast. You really should pull Han and Rashi back to the village. They need the protection. They will be fine. You just keep yourself safe so you can come back home when this is all over and take this accursed hat from me. All in due time, Onoki-sama. Besides, I'd rarely have time for my art if I were a Kage-an. In Suna, we'll be moving in a year. Gaara will be the first we target. Will he be ready? Don't worry about Gaara. Even if he should fall, I have a way to get him back. How are you? You look tired. I look like a 14-year-old, Chiyoba-chan, but I am tired. Being a rogue nin is exhausting, and I really don't want to harm another Kazekage. You understand why that had to be done, don't you? Yes, but apparently Raza was even worse. I just want to be done with this. I know, Sasori-kun, I know. The day has finally come for Naruto to depart for his training with Jiraiya. He had already said his goodbyes to his friends, senseis, and ANBU squad, so now it's just Jiraiya and Tsunade. Naruto noticed Tsunade looked nervous about something, and was concerned as he's never seen her nervous about anything. Tsunade-sama, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. Here I have something for you to read while away with the toads. Just know, no matter what you decide, nothing will change, okay? Sure. Okay, that's enough of the sappy stuff. Let's get out of here. Shut up, Jiraiya. Tsunade yells as she cock-backs her fist. Please don't break Jiraiya. It's hard enough getting the pervert to focus on training. A concussion will just make it impossible. Fine. Well, have a good trip and stay safe. I will, thanks, Naruto said as he gives Tsunade a hug. Jiraiya summons Fukasaku to request they be reverse summoned, and moments later Naruto finds himself in the land of the toads. 1 year, Naruto thinks to himself. While he has grown strong, he knows he isn't at the level of the Akatsuki. Not yet, but with the tasks left to him by Danzo and Hiruzen paired with the training from Jiraiya and the toads, Naruto is confident he'll get there. 2 figures slowly make their way toward the gates of Konoha. One, a tall, middle-aged man with long, spiky silver hair. The other, about a head shorter, dressed in all black with spiky blonde hair, walked beside him. We could have just flashed here, you know, the blonde said in a huff. Then we wouldn't have gotten to enjoy all this natural beauty. Besides, what's the rush? You're about to be knee-deep in missions. Enjoy this last bit of freedom. The older man responded. I enjoyed the scenery enough. I'm not an old. Besides, I'd like to see everyone again, unless you want me to tell Tsunade you delayed us to look at some trees. The blonde retorted. Paling at the thought, the older man decides to hurry along to the checkpoint, not wanting to anger Tsunade in the slightest. Names and reason for 6. Oh, it's you. Welcome back, Jiraiya-sama, Naruto-sama, said the guard. Naruto-sama? Naruto asks while quirking an eyebrow. Naruto will do just fine. Sure, Naruto, no problem. Hokage-sama is expecting you both and left instructs to go straight there, no delays. Said if you stopped for ramen she'd make a law that they could only sell you salads. What? I'd raise an army in revolt. I'd cast off the yoke of tyranny with like-minded people that understand the importance of the noodle and the broth. Naruto said, shaking his fist. You're the most selectively stupid person I've ever met, said Jiraiya through chuckles. No one threatens the ramen, sensei. Anyway, let's go check in before she makes good on that threat. Naruto then places his hand on Jiraiya's shoulder, and both vanish without a trace. The duo appear in Tsunade's office, making not a sound, and see her hard at work. Both stand there waiting for her to notice, After a few seconds an ANBU guard coughs to alert her. Both Naruto and Jiraiya barely manage to duck the paperweight tossed at impossible speeds, and it embeds itself into the wall behind them. Damn it, Tsunade, that could have hurt. Good, what have I told you about sneaking up on me, Jiraiya? Not to. Damn right. And what about you? Trying to give me a heart attack? Sensei told me to do it. I tried to talk him out of it, but he said I either do it, or he'd use me as a character in one of his books. Did he now? Tsunade said with a tick mark. Jiraiya, has one too, not believing Naruto just lied to save himself. He'd be impressed if Naruto had done this to someone else. Jiraiya, after the briefing we need to talk. Shit, I'm going to get you back, Gaki. Her annoyance forgotten, she rushes over and embraces Naruto in a bone-crushing hug. Kacchan can't breathe. He wheezed. Tsunade releases him, blushing a little at the new name. She had grown increasingly fond of the blonde but was anxious when she proposed formally adopting him, so anxious she had to do so in a letter. She was beyond shocked when she received the documents signed 3 days later. For Naruto, he was beyond stunned. He had come to cherish the makeshift family he had with Tsunade and Shizen, but was conflicted about the adoption. Accepting Tsunade doesn't mean you're rejecting me, you know? Said Kushina. I know, it's just, I don't want you to be forgotten. It's bad enough that no one speaks of how you were instrumental in sealing Kurama. Sensitive subject. I know. Sorry, Kurama, but still, I just don't want to erase you. You wouldn't be Sochi. I can't be there for you like Tsunade can, and I know you've come to love her, but that doesn't diminish what you feel for me. Don't do this for my sake. Embrace all the family you can. That'll make me happy. And with her reassurance, Naruto sent Gamakichi with the papers and became Naruto Uzumaki Senju. While the trio were getting caught up, there was a knock on the door. Gaining permission, Shizen walks in with Sakura. Sakura, a name Naruto hasn't much thought about since that night in his apartment. He hadn't seen her since then, not even in the outings with fellow rookies, and up until now he never even considered it odd. Did he just delete her from his memory along with anything related to Team 7? Naruto wonders. So deep in thought he almost missed Shizen speaking to him. You've grown, shorty. Taller than you, spinster Nichin. Shizen immediately activates her chakra scalpels and Naruto forms a Rasengan. You remember what happened the last time you tried that, Neishan? Yeah, you ran to Tsunade and jumped into her arms like a bitch. Tactical retreat, important for a shinobi to know. Don't worry, I'll teach you the tricks of the trade. Stick with me and you can stop shaming Kacchan. Enough, you two. Naruto, you can go, but be here early tomorrow for your assessment. Okay. Sensei. Sakura. Old maid. Naruto says in goodbye with a grin, Shizen narrowly missing with a swipe of her chakra scalpel as he vanishes. When did he learn the Haraishin? Shizen asks in amazement. Apparently before he left, and unless you want a 20-minute rant, just don't bother to ask him about it. Why not? Asked by the women in the office. Jiraiya sighs before answers. You know the kid had major issues with his father, right? Sakura and Tsunade go wide-eyed for different reasons. Seeing this, Jiraiya continues. Naruto doesn't care. He said as much. If people know, they know, and trust me, any assassin Iwa or Kumo-sen would meet a swift end. Kid was good when he left, he's a monster now. Anyway, apparently he's been working on the Haraishin since the start of his 3-year training period. Had Minato's version down fast enough and had the conditioning for it, but felt a shinobi technique known for being flashy was incomplete, no matter how effective, so he spent the next year creating a shiki that not only removes the flash but suppresses any chakra spike. Kid went on and on about Minato team needing his son to complete all his work. So please, just leave it be. Okay, before we continue, Sakura, you're dismissed. Waiting for the pinkette to leave, Tsunade begins. I was thinking of having Kakashi do his assessment. Figured that'd be a good test of his abilities. No, it wouldn't. If he were serious, he'd kill Kakashi, and I'm not sure if he'd require Sage Mode to do it. He's a Toad Sage? No, he has access to Senjutsu, but it's different from what the Toads taught me because he mixes it with Biju Chakra. Are there any negative affects? Asked Tsunade. No, and it's really similar to how I do it with Ma and Pa, since he's not the one channeling the nature chakra. The duration and activation issues are removed. So, how is he? Better. He only talks to me so much, but he seems to have resolved, to some degree, whatever was bothering him. Feeling relieved by Jiraiya's assurance, Tsunade continues. So who should do his assessment? Sensei and Danzo should be an adequate test. I'll tell him to leave all of his S-rank jutsu out of it. All? Tsunade and Shizen ask. Yeah, he has 5, I think. More or less. So, is he ready? Yes. On top of the Hokage monument, Naruto sits atop his father's head, appreciating a view he hasn't seen in a year, awaiting for the presents he sends to arrive. It's good to see you, Naruto. Same here. Congrats on the promotion. I know you deserved it. I appreciate that. How long have you been back? Just got back, actually. Checked in with Tsunade and came here. And how are you? Your letters were distressing, my friend. I didn't think they were that bad, Shino. But you've never been one to miss subtext, so I'll defer to your judgment on the issue. Hey Shino, I hope all is well. I recently had a breakthrough with my training. Learning senjutsu is unlike anything I've ever felt. It was like a new form of consciousness, a form of pure power, and I am left wondering if I will only waste it. Shinobi kill, steal, and everything else. I've accepted this reality, but I used to dream of more. I haven't even considered the nature of shinobi as a force of good since I've been training for these upcoming trials, and now that I've reached this threshold I feel adrift. I've become an extremely efficient killer and a powerful combatant, but am I no more? I can pull water out the atmosphere, but do I use it to irrigate land? No, I use it to attack. I can create a 20-foot wall of rock and I use it only to defend myself? Is this the pinnacle of chakra or my abilities with it? I can't heal like Tsunade. My seals are mostly combat-oriented, and at the moment I was most connected with nature I felt utterly disconnected from life. Death can't be my only legacy, but I fear I may not have a choice. And Uzumaki, Naruto, while I understand your position, I find myself at a loss at how to advise you. I have dedicated myself to logic as a means of problem solving, and while logic is not divorced from concerns of morality, it can often become murky when trying to decide what one should do when the action is revolutionary in nature. I've accepted the way of shinobi, not as perfect but in such a way I can be logically consistent in my actions and my feelings. I see your struggle and grow concerned and anticipatory in equal measure if, and when you resolve this conundrum. The answer may very well lead you to a path you abandoned so many years ago, the desire to be Hokage. To truly change the way of the shinobi would require you to be an excellent one that is acknowledged by all. As you know, the one who is acknowledged by all is the one who will become Hokage, and while becoming Hokage may not be the answer, it may be the final destination of the path you walk. Whatever you decide, you will not face your struggles alone. At least take peace in that. Aburame. And still you avoid the answer. Your letters increasingly had signs of depression until you left for your walkabout, so, how do you feel? I think I'm at peace with it all, at least for now. But enough about me, how are you? The two friends would spend the afternoon catching up for parting ways. As Naruto was watching throughout the village, he sees an all too familiar sight. Quickening his pace while remaining unnoticed, he walks up behind his target and wraps her in a giant hug. Hi Tenchan, he says before the kunoichi had a chance to react. Putting her down, the annoyed girl takes a swing at her friend, which he dodges right into a hug. Hi stupid. Maybe don't sneak up on me next time. Tenten says, YOSH, Naruto-kun, it's great to see your flames of youth still burning brightly. Thank you, Lee. Uzumaki, sighing, hey Niji-chan. How's it going? Oh, it goes well. I'd do better if you wouldn't accost my girlfriend. Looking at Niji and back at Tenten, seeing her nod, he smiles at his friend. So, finally found your courage? Excellent. Well, I'm off. You crazy kids stay out of trouble. Naruto said before narrowing his eyes at Niji. Oh, and Niji, if you hurt her I'll disappear you and everyone will know, but they won't be able to prove a thing. See ya, he finishes with a smile before disappearing without a trace. Did he just teleport / did he mean that? Lee and Niji ask. Yes to both. I wouldn't worry since you aren't going to hurt me, right? Tenten said with an overly sweet smile. Right. Niji says as Tenten heads off. If I may be unyouthful, you're so totally fucked. I am aware, Lee. Moments after leaving, Team 10 found Naruto out of the Hyuga compound. He finds it a little distressing that the most secure compound in the village is so easily infiltrated. Why, if he wanted to, he could visit a certain Heim in the dead of night, and who knows what would happen. Oh, the possibilities. When did I become a pervert? He thinks to himself as he refocuses on the task at hand. Over the wall, avoid a few guards here and there, move in silence, and eventually he finds himself at his destination. Where's Gamakichi? Really? No, hi. No, when did you get back? Just where's Kichi? I think I'm hurt that you like my personal summons more than me, and I think the feeling's mutual. Stop being a baby, we've just had a lot of time to talk since he delivered your messages to me. Also, he can actually pull off orange. I get no respect. When did you turn on me, Hanabi? Naruto said through fake tears. You are so dramatic, you know that, right? She says before giving him a hug. So, how have things been? Tense. The clan's business affairs and relationships have been stagnating for a few years now, and while there are suspicions, there is little in the way of proof. The frustrations have caused some main branch members to take it out on the cadet branch, so tensions are high on that front. And then there is Wanisama. What's wrong with Hinata? Naruto tried to keep his voice steady but failed miserably, causing Hanabi to smirk. What's wrong with Hinata depends on perspective. About 2 months after you left, she had a spar with Niji, not only nearly drowned him with Swate Unjutsu but tried to run him through with her ninjato. When the elders started to complain, she replied, If you don't like it, then do something about it. One of the elders did, and got his arms broken for his trouble. Now she does pretty much what she wants. Outside of Tusama for official business or me, very few main branch members approach her. They're all afraid. Naruto can't help but laugh Hanabi's response. The two visit for a little longer before Naruto excuses himself as to not get caught. Besides, he has one final stop before he heads home for the night, but before he does, "Here, take this," Naruto said, handing Hanabi a tri-pronged kunai. "If you ever need me for anything, just channel some chakra into the kunai and toss it down. I'll be here as soon as I can." "Thank you, Naruto." "No problem, Hanabi-chan." Flashing to a marker he left outside the Hyuga compound, Naruto makes his way to the Inuzuka compound, hoping to not run into Kiba. He proved to be unlucky today. "Why are you here, Dobe? Must we do this every time, Akila?" "You know that's not my name." "Whatever, Kira." "Is your mom home?" "No, go away." "What is your problem with me?" "Oh, where to start? How about the preferential treatment you get?" "I'd laugh at you if this weren't so sad." "Deny it all you want, but you've gotten preferential treatment. Training by a Hokage and a Sannin, adopted by another Sannin, training by the strongest Jonan in the village. You deserve none of it, and if anyone else had been given that, they'd be just as ahead as you are now." "Oh, poor Kiba doesn't feel special." "I really don't want to hear anything about preferential treatment from a clan ninja, especially the child of a clan head. I was intentionally stunted in my training until the Chunin finals." "That's right, I've had a little under 4 years of real shinobi training while you've had nearly a decade. If I'm further ahead, some of that can be placed with my teachers, the rest is just the difference between us. Recall, I beat you in the prelims with almost no training. Just guts. Also, what are you going to learn from the Sandaime? I'm a ninjutsu specialist, the best since him. Do you even know your elemental affinity? No, then we'll drop that. Besides, even if I didn't earn this preferential treatment, I deserve it for services rendered. Kiba, I'm the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. The 4th Hokage, who is my father by the way, sealed it inside of me. I've been protecting ingrates like you since the day of my birth, hated and isolated for my involuntary service, so I think would make me due for some benefit to balance out the misery." "Why, that's better than I expected. I assumed you'd accuse me of being the Kyuubi or something equally moronic. Whatever, let's say I believe you are this Jinchu. Whatever, and the son of the 4th Hokage, it just makes me dislike you even more. Maybe it came late, but you were still given an easier path. You became a Chunin and a Jonan before any of us in our graduating class when you did the worst. So what, to make up for your crappy life and to pay back the 4th, they give you undeserved promotions, and you do remember how I kicked your ass, right? Twice in one night. You, a tracker, couldn't handle me in the forest. How can you say my promotions are undeserved when you don't know how I got them and I've demonstrated the ability to handle you? You just don't. You have Shino and Hinata snowed, but I know the truth. You got lucky a few times, but you don't deserve he. Wow, so this is about a girl I can't even be with. You're so very sad, Kiba. Jealous over a non-existent relationship. It doesn't matter, because of you our team broke up. Because of you Hinata won't even speak to me and never noticed that I'm better for her. I'm betting high she would agree with me. Hinata leaving the team likely had very little to do with you. Her not speaking to you, however, is entirely because of you. You tried to hurt her and embarrass Tenten by outing us, and since you're dumb you think no one else would notice your malicious intent. We all did, and you couldn't even be a man and own it. Whatever, Kiba. I'm done, but one last thing, I'm a censor, dumbass. I know your mom is home. My asking was me being polite, so if you'll excuse me, Naruto says as he walks past Kiba to knock on the door. Trying not to lose his temper in front of his mother, Kiba storms off. Naruto proceeds to visit Sim, telling her about his time away from the village. The next morning finds Naruto arriving to Training Ground 29 with the Sannin, the Sandaime, Danzo and Kakashi waiting. Greeting everyone, he takes his place. Okay, the rules are anything goes outside of crippling attacks and S-rank ninjutsu. Begin. Jiraiya says, and all 3 participants blur through hand signs. The battle of masters versus student had begun. Thanks a ton for watching, Shinobi Squad. I hope you had as much fun as I did putting this epic what if together. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a single twist in the story. Drop your thoughts, theories, or even wild ideas in the comments. I read every single one. And hey, if you're craving more awesome Naruto content, go check out the other videos on the channel. I've got plenty of heat waiting for you. Until next time, stay sharp, stay awesome, and remember, even a shadow clone needs love. Peace out, Shinobi.